Hi, everyone. Welcome back for day 1/2 for the Melody Farris trial. As you guys know, we are watching it. This trial happened around the Sarah Boone trial. I didn't cover it. Honestly, I slept on it. But because I watched her sentencing and I thought that her speech that she gave was very, very passionate and convincing almost, I was very curious about this case. And we don't really have any, hearings or anything happening this month. So I wanted to cover it and just see what I thought about it. Yesterday, we covered opening statements, and then most of day one, we got into the crime scene, get a good look of the property. Again, Melody Farris, Gary Farris, they were married. They were married for, I think, over 20, 30 years. They lived on a farm together. And then their son, Scott, also lived on the farm. Now, around the 4th of July time, they found Gary's body in the burn pit. Melody said she didn't do it, that her son Scott did. And she didn't testify during the trial. However, I heard this trial was very wild, juicy, crazy because of all the other testimonies that we hear and all the wild stuff, the jailhouse calls, the affairs, and the things that Melody may have not said, and all the finger pointing that was happening to the son, Scott. So yesterday I did have to end a little bit early because I got interrupted midstream, which is okay. We have a little bit of day one left, and then we'll jump into day two. However, I didn't get to recap day one yesterday because I was quickly kicked off. So we'll do the recap today. I do apologize for that. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Aaron. How are you doing today? Shaniko, hello, hello. Lemon Baked, it's a pleasure seeing you all. And I hope we can have a good day today, which should be okay because I don't have anyone coming to my house. We've been having people doing maintenance stuff and doing some other work, and it was loud, crazy, and chaotic. But today I was supposed to have the AC people come, but they didn't show up. I don't know. I think they just forgot. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna stream today, because I wanted to do this trial. So recap from the opening statements. Again, Gary and Melody Farris, they were a couple that were married. They have 4 kids, and they lived on the farm together. Gary was a prominent attorney in Georgia. He was the moneymaker of the family. It seems like Melody Farris may have been the homemaker. She stayed home, maybe took care of the kids. And then around the 4th of July weekend, like I mentioned, Gary's body was found in the burn pit. Now, they were trying to say, the state was like, there was a lot of circumstances surrounding this that just really made it look like Melody did it. One of the things they mentioned was like, oh, Melody, for some reason, they had the family over, right? The grandkids were over, and the grandkids thought it was weird that Melody wanted them to sleep early that day. Like that was really weird. The grandmother wanted us to get into bed early. Apparently Melody made a trip to Walmart. And when I heard about that, I was like, ding, 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 ding. Are we going there for cleaning supplies? What are we buying there? I don't think they mentioned in the opening statement. So maybe we'll see receipts to see what Melody purchased, but they did mention a Walmart. So apparently the state did say that Melody told law enforcement when they arrived, like she was trying to prime them, like, oh yeah, Gary had like mental issues, and I think that's what led law enforcement to believe that, oh, maybe Gary had some sort of like mental thing happening, or maybe some sort of like health condition, and maybe he fell into the burn pit. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it was an accident. It wasn't until they found a portion of Gary's ribs and lodged into that was a bullet. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, Gary didn't just fall into the burn pit by himself. He probably got shot at some point. Maybe someone was trying to discard his body. And so it took probably about over a year of investigation until they finally arrested Melody Farris about over a year later. Now, let's talk about Melody and Gary's relationship. There were affairs happening on both sides. However, it has been mentioned on both sides that, in the defense and the state, that it seems like they were both living separate lives. Melody was living in the upstairs portion of the house. Gary had his own separate area in the basement. And the theory that the state had was maybe they got an argument into the kitchen. They were in the kitchen, they got into the argument, and Melody shot Gary. There's drips of blood leading to the staircase, and maybe Gary went downstairs to retreat, and Melody followed him and then shot him afterwards. A lot of people were thinking, well, how does a woman as small as Melody, how does she carry a 300-pound man? He's over 6'3", I think, 6'3" tall. How would she have brought him over to the burn pit? Well, the state was like, Melody, I think he called her like a cowgirl or something. Melody's a farm girl, and she comes from a family. The dad owns a hardware store. And again, they do live in the farm. So Melody had all these tools that she could have used to get Gary to the burn pit if she needed to. But not only that, it seems like, and I want to see the pictures again, but when I heard about this case, I was like, how does a woman get a man that big, that tall? up the staircase from the basement. But here's the thing, there's something about a sliding door. So maybe the basement was ground level. Maybe there was a sliding door where she could have rolled his body and pushed him away and then used some other tools, maybe a tractor at some point to push him into the burn pit. That could be possible. They also mentioned that Melody was having, when they say affair, I'm like, is it really affair if they're having their own separate lives? Maybe it's something they both agreed to. I don't know, but they keep saying affair in the trial, so I'm going to keep saying it, I guess. But Melody was having an affair. This is like a second affair that she had from 2014 to 2018. Again, the murder happened around 2018 time. And she was having an affair with a guy named Rusty. There was a time where Gary apparently, I think, maybe he thought he had, or he did have esophageal cancer. And Melody was plotting with her, lover that when Gary dies, we're going to lay low. And 6 months afterwards, we'll maybe tell the world about a relationship. That's the thought that I had. Something that the state mentioned, which I thought was very important, was that Rusty, again, Melody's lover, Rusty had told law enforcement that Melody told him at 2 a.m. before Gary's body was found, at 2 a.m. that Gary's in the burn pile. And then Rusty's like, oh, don't tell me. I don't want to know anything about that. And so apparently he told law enforcement that. And I'm like thinking, why would he tell law enforcement that? It wasn't until over a year later that he recants that statement. We'll talk about what the defense says about that. They mentioned some jailhouse calls, which I'm sure we're going to listen to. Apparently the jailhouse calls with Melody Farris were pretty bad, and maybe some other recordings. Next, let's talk about the defense. The defense, we had Mr. Ray, the attorney who was doing his opening statement. Again, he mentioned the investigation was over a year, it took them that long. And it wasn't until June 18, 2019 that Melody Farris was arrested. He gets into the history of Melody and Gary, how they met when they were 16. They were probably high school sweethearts. They got married in 1979. And then in the 80s, they had 4 children. We have Chris. We have Scott, the one that Melody's accusing, Emily, and Amanda. I think Amanda's the one that everyone's telling me that supported Melody throughout this. And I think I heard that Melody was staying with Amanda while she was out on bond. So they purchased the Purcell house, the farmhouse, back in 2013. He did mention that, Gary had a lot of debt. And he made a lot of money, yes, because he was an attorney, and all the money that he made, he was spending. That's what he said. And he mentioned that if Gary had died, well, they would lose the house because there was no money that I guess Gary had saved up. Probably showing that Melody didn't have she didn't have an incentive. She didn't do it for financial reasons. They also mentioned that July 13, everyone, it is unequivocal. Unequivocal. What am I trying to say? Unequivocated? An unequivocated fact? Unequivocated? Maybe it's unequivocated. It's unequivocated that Gary started the burn pile. So they're trying to say it wasn't Melody that started the burn pile. It was Gary who started it, It wasn't like she was doing something in premeditation, I guess, maybe. He talks about the grandchildren. Remember, one of the grandchildren said it was weird that grandmother wanted us to go sleep early. Well, apparently one of the grandchildren said it was weird and they slept early, but there was another grandchildren that was it wasn't weird. We actually went out and we got to hang out with the horses. So maybe a conflict of a story there. Again, they're going to Scott, pointing the fingers at Scott. Apparently, Scott was like, where's the gun? And everyone's like, what gun? What gun are you talking about? Scott's like, oh, the gun's gone. Apparently, Scott pointed the finger at his mom pretty quickly. Scott apparently said that he found a gun in the drawer one day when the DirecTV people came over, and he just had no idea where that came from. But the defense also said, well, his wife or his ex-wife, Jenna, also made the same statement. However, her statement didn't come out until 6 years later. So they're trying to say there's something shady about the gun, maybe. They did mention that they had ballistic dummies that were tests shot at in the living room in the basement, probably to show that if someone did shoot Gary, would Melody be able to hear it, maybe? They mentioned that there's a lake that is on the property. Nothing was recovered. Again, they never found the weapon. Autopsy report. Defense mentioned that, the arrest happened 1 year later. Why was it the autopsy report? Why did it take so long for it to be released? It was released 6 days before the arrest had happened. So I think they're trying to say, maybe something weird and ominous is happening with law enforcement. Again, we got into the affairs. Apparently, Gary was having affairs. There was one with the secretary. Melody was having affairs as well. And then they talk about the blood drops because, again, they said that there was blood drops like near the kitchen leading to the staircase. Well, you know, defense was like, well, you don't know when those blood drops happen. It could have happened at a different time because apparently, you know, a couple days before Gary was found murdered, he was bit by the dog and like he was bleeding his ankle. So the blood droplets could have came from there. They did mention that the blood drops, there's never any trails that left the house. They did find one drop of blood on the tractor. However, it was on the step of the tractor. So, which would be like, okay, well, maybe, you know, the blood, you would probably find the blood on like, what is it called? The scooping part of the tractor, the shoveling part of the tractor. I don't know what's the name of it is, but it was found on the step. So maybe it was like Gary was bleeding and then he was like stepping on the tractor. But I kind of have my possible explanation for that, but I'll keep waiting. Again, they said that Scott lives on the property. They found a 38 caliber in Scott's bedside drawer. The 38 was what was found in Gary's rib. And Scott said that, like, well, I don't own any, you know, 38 guns. I only had a 357 mag, and that was stolen. So now we're thinking, okay, was it planted there, or does Scott, you know, we got to wait for Scott's testimony because apparently all 4 children will testify and they will give you the tea on the family drama and all the stuff that's been happening. But yeah, so that's my little mental note right there about Scott and the 38. Apparently there were pictures from the surrounding trail area. They said the photos were deleted, but the defense did say they were recovered, but they're like, well, who deleted them? But I'm saying that, like, if there's nothing crazy ominous on those photos, does it really matter? But I don't know. So, and then we got to the first witness of the day, who was a paramedic. And again, they mentioned that they responded and they thought they were going to expect to see, you know, maybe a patient there with a severe burn or someone who's still alive, or maybe someone who needs to be resuscitated. When they got there, she said she saw a foot, a skull, and some long bones. That's not what she was expecting. At that point, that's out of her purview, right? That's like, go get the crime scene people up in here. And they did mention somewhere in someone's opening statement, I think it was in the state's opening statement, that Gary weighed over 300 pounds, and after they were recovering the rest of his remains, only like 33 pounds was left of him. So that was quite the graphic. The bullet that went through his arm was found by the armchair in the basement. Yes, they did find another one in the basement. That's what I heard. Okay, let me catch up with your guys' chat really quick. And Patty Cake, hello. Excellent. So funny when you had to stop the live. I know, because they were coming into the room to install stuff. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect them to do that. But it's okay. Hi, Michael Pickle, my first Corgi live. Hello, Joseph. Are you ready for Christmas? It's chaotic here. But yeah, sure, I'm ready. Walmart, I just wanted snackies and bleach, you know. The usual. Yeah, the usual. Tracy, hello. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to catch one of your lives. The way she did her son is wrong. The headache in them and the kids were so real and sad. Yeah, I saw their facial expressions of all the people sitting in the background, the gallery behind her. Whew. I think he ran out there himself into the backyard towards the woods. Maybe she shot him, and maybe, just my personal opinion, I mean, she shot him in the arm and went through, and they found that bullet, not the bullet that was in his chest. Yes, I think they're like saying how there was no indications that he could have been shot in the basement or something, but they did find something in the basement. I feel she did something with the barn too, but who will ever know? All right, United for Peace, hello, and is it Angelica? Angelica, how are you doing today? Hello. Forky, go lucky. How is everyone? Guys, say hi to each other. Twitch, say hi to YouTube chat. YouTube, say hi to Twitch chat. All right, y'all. So this is where we were at yesterday. Again, we are at the very end of day 1, and then we'll jump into day 2 where they talk about the crime scene. We get a lot of photos. We get to see the property and, you know, the burn pile and all that stuff. So let's start. If you guys have any questions, feel free. And again, I will have this sped up. If you guys are watching it live or after the fact, you guys can feel free. You know, y'all can click on the cog down there. You can slow it down and put it at whatever pace you want, but I will have it sped up. And sometimes I will have it slowed down if I need to write anything. So let's start with the property. Hi, East Brigade. Man, they got a lot of cool tech in Georgia. We got some good crime scene photos. We got some drone footage. I will say, though, whoever took pictures of the burn pit pile, it did have a little bit of a bluish purple hue to it. I don't know what was up with that. I usually watch my videos on 2x speed. Dave. Oh, did anyone watch the Richard Allen press conference stuff earlier? Holy, that was a wild one. Wild. They are on the defense with the YouTubers, the defense attorney.
Was that area or
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is where we got to the burn pile. Yep, burn pile is over here. Again, he's not really asking her any questions, so that's why I'm just going through it really quickly. Now, this is a nice property. A good amount of land. Again, just an overview of the burn pile. You could do things with that land. I would have a chicken coop, you know, I would have some animals. But then I would have to hire someone to take care of them when I go on vacation. This is a drone that's flying it, right? I wish it would just like stay focused on one area and then move slightly. Oh gosh.
Level station to aerial 16, roughly right 7 minutes. Is this a view showing from the burn pile to the house?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, it's quite of a walk, but you can still see the house from the burn pile. You can see the burn pile from the house probably, because it was probably like, you know, you could probably see the fire going on and all that. And then if there's a tractor to be moving a body there, I mean, I see some clear paths. There's not like a bunch of trees. It's not like super dense.
Next is station exhibit aerial 17, which is 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Another drone video.
Oh, we got another drone video. Yeah, if y'all had this land, what would you do with all this land? Could do like a paintball tournament. All right, so we're getting close. This is that the, I'm trying to find the sliding doors that they're talking about. The American doors. Oh, you could kind of see it just now. Yeah, are those the sliding doors right here? It's a little bit dark. Yeah, beautiful balcony. Wow, it's like a wraparound. Colors are beautiful. There's the lake right there. Wow. I wonder how far this property is from Atlanta. I think that's where Gary worked, right in Atlanta, Georgia. I think he worked in the city. Is that it right there? I mean, are those sliding doors? They look like French doors to me. I mean, if this is the basement, then yeah, you wouldn't have to worry about climbing some staircases in order to get a 300-pound man out.
Yes.
Is that the two doors showing on the side of the house in the basement level? Yes. Okay, so it is. All right. I would plant a huge garden with different native fruits and vegetables. Yes, that'd be so fun. I have a vegetable garden right now, and the aphids are going crazy. I think I need to go to Home Depot and buy me some ladybugs and put them in my garden. But I've been finding these caterpillars, and I was wondering, should I make a caterpillar cage? That way I can see them turning to butterflies and stuff. And I think it'd be really fun. I caught 3 caterpillars so far. They're so fat because they're just... There's like a couple days where I neglected my kale. I came back and they're like huge.
Yes, sir.
Alright, anything?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so now we have the defense.
We playing the video?
There we go.
Alright, flip them back up, please.
So for the defense, we have Mr. Ray and Mr. Weaver. Is this Mr. Weaver? I forgot who did opening statements. Oh yeah, I think this is Mr. Weaver, because I think Mr. Ray had like this very bright white, almost like bleach blonde hair.
Good afternoon, Captain Love. My name is John Luke Weaver, and I represent Melody Farris in this matter. And it is Captain, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So on that day, you responded with who?
Me and my partner, Kenny Holland, were on the ambulance. On the fire truck was Jacob Kenny and Megan Hamilton.
Okay. So you got off of the ambulance.
Yes.
And you get, again, the fire truck could not make it up the driveway.
Correct.
Why was that?
Because of the weight of the fire truck, we don't typically drive the fire truck on driveways. If it's a long driveway, they'll either have to walk or they'll jump in the back of the ambulance with us. And on that call, they jumped in the back of the ambulance.
So you get out, you got your pack, you don't really know what you have at the time, as you testified to earlier, but you walked up the driveway and you encountered Who did you encounter?
So at the end of the driveway, when we stopped and the crew from the fire truck was getting on, there was a gentleman at the end of the driveway telling us that that he could show us where at the time we thought a patient was.
Okay. Now, you stated earlier that he kept saying to you he knew what a burned body looked like.
Correct.
And that's something that's resonated in your memory 6.5 years later.
Yes, sir.
All right. That was Scott Farris, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. What was his demeanor?
He was, I guess the best word is just panic.
Okay. Do you remember anything else? Did he say anything else to you about where the location of this was?
That he would show us. He said it was a pretty good walk. He would show us where it was.
Now, were there any other family members close by as this was happening?
I did not see anyone else.
Did you speak to any of the other family members on the property?
No, sir.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too, because I think the defense was trying to say like, oh, it's weird. It's as if he was trying to already prime in everyone's mind that there's a burned body in there, there's a dead body in there. It's all, badly burned. But him repeating that over and over again, like I know what a burned body looks like. I know what a burned body looks like. To me, I think that does sound like trauma. Like you're kind of like processing it. And she said panic, and I think that kind of that makes sense.
Did he mention to you or to anybody that worked with you that day? Did he ever bring up anything about a missing gun?
No, sir.
Right. But how many times do you think he said he knew what a burned body looked like?
Probably 2-3 times when I was asking questions when we were still in the back of the ambulance.
Right. Do you remember anything else he said?
I don't remember when he said it, but he said his dad had been missing for a couple of days and they'd been looking for him, but that wasn't unusual for him to be missing, I guess.
He said that to you?
Yes.
And that's when he walked you back there himself?
Yes.
And that was just as we saw in the video, back down the house, from behind the house. What would you say the grade on that piece of property was?
It was a little bit of an incline, but not too steep.
All right. And how far behind? I mean, because videos and pictures certainly don't do justice necessarily to being there in person. How far behind the house would you say that burn pile was?
I couldn't tell you. Because, at the time, I'm not thinking about how far I'm walking. I'm just, walking, trying to get some information and thinking about what we're going to do.
This lawyer sounds a lot like Owens. I don't hear it. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of a twang when he speaks.
So generally speaking, the images that we saw...
I would say he's more high-pitched, maybe.
Today, we're taken roughly a year later. You didn't take those pictures, correct?
Correct.
Right. But compare and contrast the state of the burn pile that day, July 5th, 2018.
Just in reference to my report, I estimated it was probably about a 6 foot in diameter. I think 3 feet maybe high.
Was it still smoking? Could you tell? Was it hot?
I don't remember seeing any smoke. And we didn't bring our thermometer down there to check because we were on an EMS call and we were thinking, get the patient, go to the hospital.
And you mentioned that, did you have any gloves or anything like that on?
Yeah, we had medical exam gloves on.
So I imagine that you wouldn't have thought it was a very hot fire if you would reach down and touch it.
No, sir, it wasn't.
Right. When you touched what was a remain, was it hot?
I don't remember it being hot, not like to burn me. It was warm outside, so it wasn't like it was on fire currently or enough to burn me, but it was, I guess, ambient temperature.
There'll be a number of expert witnesses. I expect that the state is going to. I keep thinking there's a map up there, but there's not. There's a number of expert witnesses that I believe the state's going to call, kind of talking about how they have mapped out the burn pile, where certain things were found within the burn pile. But you stated that you picked up what I believe you believe to be the skull of Mr. Farris.
I didn't know who, but yes, it appeared to be a skull.
But you picked it up, yes?
I didn't pick it up.
Okay.
I lifted the corner and let it lay back down where it was.
Immediately.
Jesus. Hi, lady. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for the lurk. I remember her picking up a body piece, but I didn't know it was the skull. I forgot what it was.
You laid it back down.
Yeah, I did not move it.
Okay.
I didn't pick it up to move it.
You didn't pick it up, hold it in your hand.
No, sir.
You just.
I just
rolled
made
it
sure
and
it
put
was.
back.
I just made sure it was not a rock, and there was,
And that would have been when you made the signal 48.
Yes, sir.
Was Scott Farris standing there when you were doing that?
I assume so. He walked us back there, and he was still back there when we were leaving. I don't think he left.
Any other family members around?
I did not remember any other family members.
Do you ever remember speaking with my client, Melody Farris?
No, sir.
And did you see her even?
I did not.
Where was she?
When you walk down there, and I believe this is important, so take your time to answer this question.
Can you guys hear the audio okay, by the way? Hopefully, yes.
Because all of Cherokee County responded following you after your signal 48. Did you ever notice any tractor marks near the fire?
I did not notice, sir.
All right. Did you notice any RTV tire treads? Like a tire tread, a car tread, any kind of a...
I did not notice.
All right. How about, could you see where horse hoof marks would be somewhere around the fire? Could you see any of that?
I didn't notice anything like that.
All right. Any tools or implements for the fire?
I didn't notice. I wasn't looking for stuff like that either,
Yes, ma'am.
but I did not notice.
Okay. Anything else you would remember about that day?
No, sir.
How long did you leave after the signal 48?
Pretty quickly after I called and told them it was a signal 48 and law enforcement was there, we turn the scene over as quickly as possible, especially for the ambulance to get back in service for, the next emergency call. So we left pretty quickly.
What about drag marks? Wait, so I guess why is it state's theory? Oh, is it because they found the blood drip? Is that why? Because why couldn't state's theory just be, oh, she shot him in the basement and then he ran to where the burn pit was and she shot him there and that's where he fell in? Maybe they really think that blood, that driplet of blood that was leading to the basement was a lot fresher. Like, I don't know, can they tell if it's like recent blood or if it's like blood that's been there for years? I don't remember ever hearing about that when we covered cases.
I may have one brief second here on it. That's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Can you read it?
No, you're not.
All right, you sit down.
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear affirm that evidence you about to present in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, witness number 2, another law enforcement.
Have a seat, station name for the record. Tell us where you work and what do you do.
Ben Riley, over Cherokee County Sheriff's Department, UPD. Been there 11 and a half years.
And what do you do at the Sheriff's Department?
Investigate crimes, car crashes, supervise, and road patrol.
I want to turn your attention now to Thursday, July 5th, 2018, probably right around 1 p.m. Did you respond to 2155 Purcell Lane in Alpharetta, Cherokee County, Georgia?
I did.
Tell the jury what you responded for.
I responded for a person down. Essentially, I guess the son of the mother called and said he'd been to Iraq, seen a person burning before, he knows what it looks like, and I responded as the supervisor.
Where'd you come from?
Precinct.
How long did it take you to get there?
It took me quite a while.
And when you respond, what do you remember seeing there?
There was some family outside, and there was another deputy at the front porch.
You got your cell phone with you?
I do.
Is it on?
It's, yeah.
Do me a favor, the Judge Lyles. Can you Google what day of the week is July 5th, 2018?
Did you okay?
Got it. For your name and your one exhibit there, number 1. July 2018, just a portion of your video from your patrol vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair and accurate and describe you pulling up the driveway?
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time I'm tendering to evidence State's Exhibit Riley 2, which is a clip from his patrol vehicle.
Ooh, a clip.
You'll see yourself walking up there.
Yes, sir.
Whose Lexus is that? Is that their car? Bleed, thank you so much for the resale for 45
No
months.
idea. It looked like one of ours. You go around to the left of the house. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm gonna boost the audio. Or, okay, I don't think there was much happening.
When you arrived, where did you go?
I went to the left side of the house,
And where'd you end up?
and inside the house.
Did you go? How did you see the house? Did you see Melody Farris, the defendant, in the house?
Yes, sir.
And I let the record reflect. Is this the defendant that you saw in the house?
You know, I believe so. It's 6 years ago. Yes, sir.
She looked like the person that you saw?
Yes, sir.
When you went in, where was she at?
She was on the outside, and then she came on inside.
Did you clear the house?
I did.
Tell the jury what clearing the house is.
So clearing the house is anytime you go on scene, you need to make sure that nothing else is inside the house, and that's just standard operating procedure. What we do.
When you walked in, did the defendant go and get anything from the house?
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
She asked if she could enter the house. She forgot to get 2 rings that were inside her drawer, and I allowed her to do so. And we went inside the house. She went into a junk drawer and pulled out 2 rings and put them on her ring finger.
Where was this in the house? Do you remember?
It was on the inside the kitchen.
Wait, what?
Kitchen area?
Yes, sir.
And then after that, what happened?
Why?
And then she left. She went back outside.
At any point while you were out there, were you, I guess, tasked with doing security or make sure nothing was getting moved, things like that?
Yes, sir.
And did you ever smell anything?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what you smelled.
Just like cleaning solution, like bleach. It was a very faint odor.
Remember anything about candle?
Yes, the candle was reflected in my report. I can't remember exactly the candle. It was 6 years ago.
But there was a candle burning in the house?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, Sawyer.
Now, you said, are you corporal?
Yes, sir.
Corporal, I'm John Luke Weaver, and I represent.
Okay, so that's what they wanted. The house smelled like bleach and there was a candle burning. This was inside the house. It was in the kitchen. Okay.
Melody Farris. So, what you just summed up, was that, how long were you there that day?
I was there for a while. I mean, if it happened at 1 o'clock, I wasn't relieved until about 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Right, so you were there 4 or 5 hours?
Sure.
All right. And you were the first one to respond with Cherokee County Sheriff's Office?
Incorrect.
Okay. Who was?
I believe it was be on CAD, but I know that I relieved Deputy Moss at the time.
All right. So there had already been a number of people there by the time you got there.
Sure.
All right. And you walk in. Were you the first person to talk to Miss Farris that you know of?
I don't know.
All right. Had anybody else? You walked in the house immediately once you got there.
I don't remember.
All right. And you walked in the house and you immediately smelled. What did you say you smelled?
The odor like a cleaning solution, like bleach.
All right. Did you walk into a laundry room? Did you notice there was a laundry room close by when you walked in the house?
I don't remember.
Okay, you don't remember. And a candle.
Oh, I think we might have a layout of the house. I mean, bleach, yeah, bleach is a strong smell. You know it's bleach when it's bleach. But he's trying to say, like, oh, it could be next to the laundry room. Maybe she used bleach to clean. I don't know. Maybe she used the bleach to clean some bloody sheets, too.
What did you say? You smelled candle burns?
I believe there was reflected in my report that there was a candle. I don't recall.
But you don't recall a candle?
Correct.
Then why would you write in a report that this candle was important to you, but you don't remember what it was?
Probably
Because
it was
that's 6 years ago.
Is it unusual for people to have candle burning in their house?
Sure. Is it unusual?
Yes. Is it unusual? Or is it usual?
Yeah.
It's normal.
Correct.
So why was that unusual to you?
I don't know.
Okay. And is it unusual for people to clean their houses?
Yeah, that's standard.
It was probably unusual because it was a smell of bleach, and then it's also a smell of candle to probably cover up the bleach.
Standard. And when you walk into a house, some of them smell clean, correct?
Sure.
Right. And would this have been any more different than if you walked into anybody's clean house? Yours, for example.
No.
Go ahead. Okay, hold on. All right. And was anybody else with you?
I believe Deputy Moss.
Okay. And when you cleared this house, did you notice anything else out of place?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you notice any blood splatter?
No, sir.
Did you notice any droplets of blood?
No, sir.
Did you notice a bullet surreptitiously placed in the floor in the basement?
No, sir.
Okay. Nothing else. You just noticed maybe the smell of, you say bleach, maybe.
Yeah, cleaning solution, bleach.
And a candle.
Yes, sir.
But you don't remember what the candle smelled like.
No.
Okay. Anything else? Fair.
All right, Chris. Thank you. Be able to look at your report and see what you said and wrote down about the candle.
Yes.
All right, we're back to the state.
Here's my approach. With all this technology now, I have the reports on my laptop. So what I want you to do is take my laptop, just hold it to yourself. Is that your report?
Yes, sir.
Do me a favor, go ahead and just read it to yourself. Don't read it out loud. Go to the section at the bottom there where it talks about the candle. Kitchen, there was a door. Where was the candle at?
I don't remember it was a big house. I don't remember exactly where the candle was.
Okay. You remember what room it is?
No, sir.
What do you now recall what you wrote in your report where the candle was?
Yeah, the candle was being lit in front of the basement door.
And approach on. Basement door.
Yes, sir.
In front basement
Another
door.
door.
Did you take any photos of where this candle was?
No, sir.
Are you aware of any being taken of this candle?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever look in the dining room where the candle was?
Again, I couldn't even tell you where the dining room was.
Right. And you couldn't tell me where the laundry room was either.
Correct.
That's all it is.
All right, anything else?
No, no.
All right, you can sit down.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Just maybe approach this.
All right.
I mean, good question about the laundry room, right? But then it could also be like, oh, if she had bloody sheets, she would have wanted to bleach them to clean the blood stains off. I feel like that one could go either way for her. All right, so I think this is where they dismiss the jury, blah, 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 blah. And then we go into, I just want to see if they say anything else.
In a place for y'all to park when we have hundreds of people here. Ignore it. All those things. And again, if anything significant happens, let it. All right, my fridge. Anything else? All right. About sidebars.
We probably need to put it on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's put that on the record. So I think we talked about it, Miss Farris, but I don't think.
Yeah, to be honest, the first witnesses aren't super interesting, but once the kids start coming on the stand, get ready. I just want to make sure I get like the small, little, tiny details because people who've watched this trial, they're like, man, with all the knowledge that I know now, I kind of want to go back and rewatch it and see if I missed anything. So I just want to make sure I get some of the details in here. I don't think I'll stream everything with you guys, but I think for sure I will probably be listening to maybe the boring stuff on my own time. But we'll see. Like, especially like a lot of the technical stuff. But yeah, the drama, we will definitely be watching it together.
We specifically went on the record with it. We just had a short sidebar. As I indicated to the jury, we're not going to do anything substantive over there. We huddled up over there, and the state said our next witness is going to be lengthy, and we would rather call them tomorrow instead of going forward today. I asked for your attorneys, and they said, that's fine with us. That is most likely going to be the nature of anything that we talk about on the side. You have the right to be present for anything in regard to your trial, and there are a couple of Supreme Court decisions that say that a bench conference is in fact a critical stage and part of the trial, and you have the right to be present. But as a practical matter, sending the jury out to the jury room while we do something like that can be counterproductive and disruptive. So do you agree to waive your presence for those type bench conferences? You need to say yes on the record. All right.
Should she not go up there on the bench too and be like, I want to listen on this?
In case that's okay. As I said, I will do my best. If anything
Is she like shackled or anything like that? I don't think so, right?
substantive comes up, I will stop it, and we will send the jury out and take it up outside their presence. And if there's anything else that we need to take up, we will bring it and give you an opportunity to address it during the next break. But I plan on it just being logistical things like that. All right. Anything?
Okay, that's fair, Judge. All right, that is the end of day one. Let's go to day two. Judge is coming in. He's smiling. I just want to see the beginning stuff, and then we'll go straight into testimony. Again, they'll go into the crime scene. We'll get into the photos, a more layout of the basement area, the kitchen area, and all that. And I want to see where this laundry room is.
All right. Anything we need to take up before we bring the jurors out?
No, Judge, but typically I don't know if you mentioned this to the jurors, typically you do instruct them about if they see us out in public.
Oh, no, I said like the boring stuff, I'll definitely watch on my own. I don't know if I'll watch all of it with you guys, but I'm going to watch all of it on my own. So probably like the technical stuff, the boring stuff. But I don't know. We'll see. Because I don't know how much time I'll have to stream. Because usually what I do when I listen to cases, I will play them while I'm like multitasking. So I don't know if I'll be able to stream all like 3 weeks of the trial, but I will definitely be listening to the stuff on my own. And then there's anything I'm like, oh, wait, maybe I should watch this portion with the stream. I'll probably just watch it back with you guys.
Not to speak to us and all of that.
Hey, Marshall Project, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for the 100 bits. How's it going? How are you? Hello, hello. Thank you. Her outfit was a true crime. What's wrong with her outfit? I mean, yesterday she was wearing black with pearls. Today she's wearing like a black turtleneck with pearls. A little bit different here.
Was communicated this time.
I told y'all ran into someone in the elevator. All right, yeah, I'll tell her. All right, anything, Mr. Ray?
Just wanted to judge. We had Nicole Nicholson. She's an employee with our office. We're asking she be excluded from your sequestration order to assist us. She's on the witness list. She could possibly testify.
Might have to be considered.
The state doesn't object.
Okay. All right, no problem. All right, do we need to wait on Mr. Weaver to bring him out? Or you're good?
All right, I think that's about it. I think the jury's going to come in. He's probably going to do the thing where it's like, oh, did you guys talk to anyone? Did you guys follow my rules? Blah, blah, blah. And then we'll have a witness here. Okay, who do we have here?
Please state your full name for the record, if you would.
Lieutenant Lee Stewart,
Where do you work?
currently employed with the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office.
And currently, what are your main duties that you do?
So currently, I'm one of the assistant division commanders in the Court Services Division. I'm assigned as a crime scene technician on the crime scene response unit, and I'm also in charge of our motor unit for the Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been policing?
Since March 23rd of 1998, so roughly 26 and a half years.
You started in 1998?
Yes, sir.
Did you come out of high school, or how'd you get involved? Where'd you go? Was it high school into law enforcement, college, or something like
No,
that?
sir. High school directly into the Marine Corps, and then I enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserves, and then I started law enforcement because I needed a job. So, and been here ever since.
What?
I am going to skip through his credentials and experience, and then we're going to get to the day that he got to the farm.
I try to.
And when you, how would you describe this farm, 2511 Purcell Lane? How would you describe it in your own terms? What kind of property is it? What's it like?
I mean, it was an extremely nice home and small farm. It was a nice. I mean, obviously it was set up for equestrian stuff because there was a barn, there was chicken houses, and it was just a small kind of do-it-yourself type farm.
Kind of a blue collar farm, or more of a hobby farm?
I guess that
Little combination?
Little combination of both, probably.
When you were at the scene and you arrived, I guess Chris Shaw, was he the lead CSI person?
I would assume. So,
And you had other people, Melanie Thrasher, William Ballard.
yeah, we were all out there.
What was, tell the jury, when you got there, was there a delegation of duties or assignments or tasks for your response team?
Yeah, so typically, on a scene like we're talking about right now, it can be large because you don't know what you're looking for. So basically, it's a lot for one person. So it might be you go over here, you go over here, you go over here, you go over here. This is the kind of stuff I want you to do. This is the kind of stuff I.
Okay, logistic stuff.
You arrived, so I'm going to turn your attention now to July 5th, 2018. It was a Thursday. Do you remember about what time you got there?
I don't. I mean, I know it was after I got off work. So typically on a patrol, our shifts were 5:30 to 6, so sometime in the afternoon.
And when you arrived, just about how many people do you remember seeing there when it comes to emergency personnel or law enforcement?
The number I'm not going to give you is going to be accurate, but I would say there was at least 20, 25 people there at a minimum.
And when you came to the property, where did you go to first? What were you doing?
I don't remember exactly where I met, but I remember I went up and I met with the other crime scene personnel on scene and was directed to. I was given my initial task of what they wanted me to help with.
If I have your time down, y'all use military time, make sure that's right. 17:12.
5:12. Yeah.
Is that about an accurate time you think around that time you got there?
Probably, yes.
So when you get there, what is the first thing that you are tasked with doing?
So the first kind of thing that I was tasked with doing was processing the a Kubota tractor that was parked over next to the barn.
And we're going to get to the pictures, things like that. But just to cut to the chase, did you get any samples for blood from the tractor?
I did, sir.
Now, this is a tractor, and there's an RTV there too. Is that right?
Yes, sir. There was.
But we're talking about the Kubota tractor.
No, it's a mid-sized farm tractor, no cab, with a loader on it. With a loader on it.
What kind of tractor do you have?
I've got two. I've got a New Holland 6635 and an LS MT122.
Now, Kubota tractors, those are they nice tractors?
They are.
Are they easy to drive, this type of tractor?
I mean, I think they are, but.
I was scrolling through this, and he asked one of the law enforcement. I don't know if it's this law enforcement. He was like, "Would you rather get tased or pepper sprayed?" The guy's like, "Tased." He's like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to ask that question." I'm like, "In a murder trial, okay."
So, what size of a tractor is it compared to a regular tractor on a farm?
I don't remember the exact size of, like, the horsepower and all that stuff of the tractor. I'm gonna have to look at a picture to tell you, but it was an adequate tractor for, in my opinion, for what they were doing.
And on the tractor, so I want to make sure we get this. If you were stepping up, if you're sitting on if I was driving the tractor, sitting in the driver's seat.
Correct.
So this is left side, right side from where I'm sitting in
Correct.
the driver's seat. So on the left side, there's a footstep. Did you take some swabbings from blood there?
I did, sir.
And did you follow your procedure on how you did all that swabbings?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you properly seal it, bag it, package it, send it to the sheriff's office, and then it was sent off to the GBI?
Correct.
And was that the blood that came back on the foot there, on that step?
You talking about the one that was tested that returned? Yes.
Yes. Did you check for any other type of evidence on the tractor?
Yes, so I also took touch DNA. I did 9 touch DNA swabs at various locations around the controls of the tractor. So the steering wheel, the examples of the steering wheel, the shifter, the lever that controls the loader on the tractor, stuff like that. I took where people would commonly touch. I took touch DNA swabs.
Blood on the step of the tractor.
Yes, sir.
And then I think, did you help? You were working at times, helping, assisting, watching, being present with other crime scene technicians did things.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Ballard, who was that?
So Lieutenant Ballard, he is actually the lieutenant over the crime scene unit. So he's assigned to CID as a department head. So under CID, there's several department heads. So prime example, and I may get the names wrong, but we have white collar, we have general crimes, we have major crimes, that stuff. So what they do is they have them broken down into sections, and there's a lieutenant over each section. So he's the lieutenant over. I'm not sure what he does. He's over the crime scene unit and another section. So we're also a duty he has.
Very good guy, very smart guy. You like
Yes,
working with him?
I do.
He may not testify because y'all were other people were with him at the time, but
Correct.
Is he over the crime scene?
He is, sir.
Yeah, very, very good guy. Like working with him. Now, when he was spraying the Kubota, the RTV, he was using something called Blue Star. What is Blue Star?
So Blue Star is a chemical that's designed to enhance specimens of blood or where we think blood may be. And when you spray it on, like you would any kind of household chemical or cleaner or whatever, it's out of a spray bottle. You spray it on, and when you spray it on, it fluoresces.
So it's a technique you use, a chemical used to see if there's blood present.
Yes.
Now, when Blue Star, can it interact or react to other things besides blood?
Yeah. So Blue Star is designed to react to blood of a mammal, humans, other mammals. Also, it's designed. It will react to, because what it's reacting to is the iron in the blood. And it will also react to iron as well. But if it's just straight iron and not blood, it will show differently, basically.
So mammalian blood.
Yes.
Blood.
So if it's just a sample of iron, it'll flash real quick and go away. Typically, if it's a sample of blood, it'll flash and stay for a period of time and slowly. I guess the illumination will slowly go away.
So let me go back to that. So if you spray it and it's not blood, it pops.
It'll pop real quick and go away.
Okay, but if it is blood, mammalian blood, mammal blood.
Correct. It'll stay and it won't stay forever. You've got to you basically have to be set up ready to photo it when you do it. But you got 30, 45 seconds for it to kind of stay up and kind of just slowly dissipate. The fluorescence will slowly dissipate.
And when you were with Lieutenant Ballard and y'all were processing the RTV, it too is a Kubota?
Yes, it's a Kubota RTV, which is it's a side-by-side, like a Polaris Ranger or a Kawasaki Mule or whatever. It's a side-by-side used by construction workers, people working on farms, stuff like that.
The lever for the hydraulic dump bed in the dash area, when it was Blue Star, did it fluoresce?
It did.
When you went over the tractor, the dash area, did it also fluoresce?
Give me just a second. Let me look back at my report for a minute. I don't remember.
He said it was the lever for the hydraulic dump bed in the dash area. It was Blue Star. It fluoresced. It did. Okay.
In my report it says that the step did, but I don't remember the dash. I'd have to look at photos.
Sorry. So the lever for
Wait, hold on.
It's a side-by-side used by construction workers, people working on farms, stuff like that.
The lever for the hydraulic dump bed in the dash area, when it was Blue Star, did it fluoresce?
It did.
Dump bed in the dash area. Okay. Lever for dump bed. In dash area. It fluoresced. Okay.
When you went over the tractor, the dash area, did it also fluoresce?
Give me just a second. Let me look back at my report for a minute. In my report it says that the step did, but I don't remember the dash. I'd have to look at photos.
Sorry. So the lever for the hydraulic dump, the bed, and the step did indicate presence of blood.
Correct.
Now, at some point, you're processing the house. Did you go into the actual inside the house at all and help out?
Yes.
And I think there were some things you were looking. What things there did you notice?
At what point?
Well, let me go back to so I think you were there on the 5th, and y'all when you processed the tractor and the RTV. Is that right?
The tractor, and the RTV, and I took photographs of the barn and whatnot.
Right. Lots of photographs. We won't see those.
Okay.
And then did you come back on July 6th, which is Friday, the next day?
Yes, sir, I did.
And I think you probably went to the house in the basement at some point.
I did.
What did you notice down there?
So I went in there and assisted Sergeant Carter while we collected and helped him collect some evidence. We collected samples of hair that was on a wall. We collected various other things, and then I was tasked to process several garbage cans that were in the downstairs office in the house.
When you processed the garbage can, I believe it was the trash can out of Gary's office in the basement. Do you remember what was anything in particular that was in there broken?
Yeah. So you may take everything that was in the can, or just the broken items that were in there.
Go ahead.
So in the can.
What's up, Jan? Thank you so much for the resub for 72 months. Thank you so much for the bot. What's up? How you doing today? Were you guys up late last night playing Marvel Rivals? Not enough flair. I don't know if you want to have a lot of flair when you're a defendant in a court case. She probably just wants to dress like down, chill, Lassie, she got her pearls, I think, on.
And there was cigarette packs, food, leftover food, papers. There was also a broken plate that was in there. It was all taken. And when we process stuff like that, we take it. I had to take it out and lay it out because I have to photograph it all. So I took it out, placed out a tarp to keep it to where I could lay it all out, take a picture, and photograph the whole thing.
Sometimes when I go to a crime scene, I stick my hands in my pocket and just kind of let the scene talk to me. You know, what's there and what does that mean? Do you look for evidence to see where you can take an inference and say, okay, I see this evidence. This probably means this. You ever do that?
I mean, sometimes, but what we typically do is we give the information we find to the detectives because they're the ones that have been talking to people. You know, we say this is possible, this may not be possible, this is the evidence we found. You know, and then they basically put it together with their statements and people that they've interviewed and whatnot like that.
Yeah, Gary Farris was dead on the day that you went out there and processed that. But in his trash can, was there any indication whether or not he liked Mountain Dew?
Yes, there was a plethora of Mountain Dew cans.
Lots of them?
Yes.
Was there? Did you also help process some, I guess, C or some shoes and a shirt?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
At one point, we were kind of coming through the master bedroom. I would assume the master bedroom in the house, or in a study. And in the closet in that bedroom, there was a red color shirt that had several stains on it, which was photographed. And then there was also several pairs of shoes that had. There was I think one was a teal color pair of shoes, and the other was multicolored pair of shoes. They were in the same closet, and one of them, or they had both of them had stains on them, which were tested. And obviously, I photographed the shoes.
Did you find anything that was consistent with soot or ash or anything like that?
So on the red shirt that I photographed, I noticed a black stain. I believe it was on the back, down around the bottom, and it had the appearance of ash or soot.
And then someone else was processed that?
I'm assuming yes.
And the garbage can, did you think there was possible blood on that, or did you?
I did. So that on one of the garbage cans downstairs, I noticed two reddish brown stains, and at the time, based on the scene, I assumed that they may be blood based off the color. So I did collect them so that they could be tested to see if they were in fact blood.
The parts that stipulated that you got reports, those are going to come in, but do you even know what the results are on some of those?
Not on all of them, no.
And it is what it is, and we'll bring those in. We've stipulated those, but you, everything that you process, the tractor, the RTV, helping with that, the cans, the garbage cans, the swabbings from those, and everything else, did you properly follow your procedures to bag those, maintain those, and make sure that they got to the GDI properly for testing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you ever go over to the barn and check out the barn and see if you find any evidence over there?
So I believe it was the second day. Let me just verify.
I know say the 6th, if that's right.
The 6th, yeah. When I went back out there, I was asked to do a walk through the barn with the detective. So basically, I walked through with one of the detectives, and I had my camera on my neck, and basically we were checking each other. So we walked through. Does he see something else? Oh, based off of how the investigation is moving. Okay, now I need this as evidence. Now I need this as evidence. Now I need this as evidence. So then.
When did they find the bullet in the ribs? Was it the day that they found Gary, or was it the day afterwards when they collected its body and then someone got to look at it really quickly and then they were like, oh shit, we need to go back to the crime scene and do a proper investigation because it's a homicide?
Then we start taking more photographs and start documenting more things, and if we need to collect something else, we collect it.
At that point, what did you know about a gun being involved, or what was your mindset, your present sense of presence at that time? What was going on involving the gun?
I knew we were potentially looking for a smaller caliber handgun of some kind.
When did you know about the bullet in the rib?
When?
Do you remember?
I want to say it was I can't remember. I know it was either late the first night or.
Oh, the prosecutor heard me. Yes, I want to know when they found out about the bullet in the rib.
Early next morning, but I think it was the first night.
When you arrived, was the bullet found in the ribs, or was that after?
I can't recall an exact timeline.
But is it fair to say most of your investigation while you're processing the scene, you were investigating a murder?
Yes.
Or investigating a crime, I guess I should say.
Yes.
I didn't know if when you first arrived, if you thought it was an accident, someone had a heart attack, or were you actually, it was an investigation?
In a situation like this, obviously you assume the worst and hope for the best.
Sure. And
true.
You've worked with law enforcement for a long time?
Yes.
Gallows humor sometimes, they can work things off, or they're cynical at times?
Correct.
Do y'all begin with, oftentimes there's a theory, or maybe there's a crime and you work it until it stops? In other words, there's no more evidence?
I would say that's fair and accurate.
And in this case, when you were doing your task in that, were you just focused on what you were assigned to do and try to find any type of evidence?
So I hope this answers your question. So, like prime example, when I was tasked to do the tractor, I was looking for any evidence I could find on the tractor, whether it be blood or any other substance that would indicate any sort of criminal offense or other explanation. So does that help? So
sure.
So basically, so when we get there, we're kind of geared. We talk to the detective. Hey, what are you looking for? What do you need? And then that kind of gears us in the direction of what we're looking.
And then now, when you went into the barn, did you find a gun?
Yes, we found a 32 caliber. I think it was a 32 caliber firearm, revolver.
Now, does Cherokee County have many murders per year? Do y'all respond to a lot of murders, or not really?
Not really.
So
compared to other surrounding, more metro jurisdictions, no.
So not a lot of major violent.
The bullet was a 38, right? Not a 32.
Had you worked a case like this in the burning or something? Was this the first time?
This was the first time.
And would you, for most of the other officers, the same thing was true too?
I mean, I would assume. I mean, I don't know the other crime scene technicians' training and experience, but I would assume it was, you know,
So when you're working a case and there's a bullet in someone's ribs that's been burned, why are you interested in finding a gun?
because at that point, I believe a reasonable and prudent person would believe that there was some kind of foul play.
And when you found this gun, what did you notice about the gun? First of all, where was it at?
Thanks, Aaron.
What type of gun was it, and what did you notice about it?
It was a 32 caliber revolver. It appeared to be old. I believe it was in a cabinet in the barn, kind of off the tack, like a tack room, I believe. And obviously, the first thing, one of the first things we do is we photograph it, and then obviously we inspect it to see if there's any rounds that have been fired or anything in it. And that's easy with a revolver recently because you can open the cylinder and look, and you can look at the primers on all of them. And none of the primers in that weapon that were loaded in the weapon had been fired. So it was photographed and left in place.
So it did not appear to be recently fired?
No.
How about the ammunition? Was the ammunition accounted for?
I remember taking pictures of lots of different ammunition for different caliber firearms.
But didn't see anything out of ordinary?
No.
No blood, no dirty, no moved, or anything that looks like it was recently used in any way?
Didn't appear to be to me, no.
All right, tell the jury if you would, are you a gun guy?
I am.
You like guns?
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I mean, I like
Sure.
guns, I like to shoot.
You have more common knowledge, you think somebody doesn't use guns?
Probably.
I'm not going to ask how many guns you own, because I wouldn't want you to ask me how many I own. But what is the difference between, say, a 32, a 38, and a 357?
Size,
What do you mean by that?
speed, weight of the
Sorry, I'm damn company.
cartridge.
All right, for people that don't know, let me just start on this side. Going from small to large. 22, then you step over a 32
Yep.
bullet, then a 38,
Yep.
357?
Correct.
All right. Can those be shot in a revolver?
Yes.
And they're usually in revolvers?
Yes.
What's a 380 and a 9 though?
Typically, 380s and 9mm are
The short nines,
they're semi-automatic. They're not revolvers. They hold magazines with 7, 10, 15 rounds typically.
And cowboy gun is kind of what the revolver is, has that cylinder.
Correct.
And don't get upset when I say this, but oftentimes people say with a semi-automatic it has a clip in it. I know it's a magazine, not supposed to have a clip, but that's where you put the magazine and
Correct.
charge it, rack it.
Correct.
And a 32 is the most commonly used in a revolver.
As far as I know, but there could be something else out there. But as far as I know, it's typically a revolver.
How about a 38 special? Can it be shot out like a 357 or a 44 or something like that?
Yes.
So it's small enough to go through the bigger barrel.
So I have a 357.
What do you got?
Ruger SP 101. So a lot of times if I'm just target practicing, I'll shoot 38 ball ammo out of it because you can't go the other way. But because it's cheaper and it has less recoil and it's just fun to shoot. Now you can't put a 357 in a 38. It won't work. But you can go backwards.
Okay, so you can go up, you just can't go down.
Right.
You know how many pictures you took?
I have no idea.
Have you had an opportunity to meet with me probably too many times and look at your photographs?
Yeah, we've looked through quite a few photographs.
All right, I'm going to State's Exhibit Stewart 1 through 131. I'm going to.
Oh, are they trying to say that? Okay, so you can, in terms of the ammo, you can go up, but you can't go backwards. So the 38 that they had, that they found in Scott's room, are they trying to say that that 38 wouldn't be able to be used in a 32 caliber revolver? Right? Right?
Of those into the evidence at the time.
Okay.
So if you ever need to get some water or anything, make yourself comfortable.
Okay, sir.
We'll do it a couple ways, but these are so they can go out and jury. This is State's Stewart 1 to 131. I'll bring them up on.
Cherokee County, sir.
And it's a nice area of the county.
It is.
Is it beautiful?
It is.
This is Stewart 1. We're going to walk through. What I want to do is, obviously the jury's not there at the time that the processing is taking place. I'm going to ask a question, but I really want you to kind of think through the eyes of a juror. And you've seen it, you know it, but some things may not be in their mind as is in yours. As we come into this, and we know that you come up the driveway and you turn right to go to the barn. Is that right?
Correct.
And tell us what we're seeing here in Stewart 1. Now, I probably just refer to it as 1 or 2 or 3, but we're talking about the Stewart exhibit.
Okay.
So in States 1 here, what do we see?
So what you see off to the left is the barn. Well, it's got 2 sliding barn doors on the front. And then just off to the right of that, you see basically 2 sheds where obviously various equipment. You can keep various equipment. And then
When you're looking at this, the barn on the left, and where was Scott's apartment be, the son's apartment?
above the barn, so the second floor.
Kind of describe the apartment, the loft over the barn. What would it be like?
I mean, it's just a standard apartment, bedroom, bathroom, living room area, kitchen.
Kind of more equivalent to a hunting cabin, or more equivalent to like a fancy apartment down in Atlanta?
I would say more equivalent to maybe a man room, hunting cabin, something like that.
Like a bachelor was living there,
Basically, yeah.
who's a hunter or something like that?
Correct.
What do we see in one year straight ahead? What are those things?
talking about what the trailers parked in front of?
This is now 2. What do we have here?
Those are basically, I mean, I consider them storage sheds. So like you can back trailers under them, you can park equipment under them, trucks under them, whatever. They've got various tools in them, basically used for storage.
I'm never good at this. My wife has to correct me all the time. Is that a lean-to or is it pole barn? Or what would you call
I
that?
mean, I call it pole barn.
Okay. And states 3, what do we have here?
So it's the one on the left, I believe. It's basically various tools in there: lawnmowers, shovels, tillers, various household, outside working tools.
4, moving to the left of that view, that same shed.
Okay.
What do we have here?
Just the other side. You have a tiller, a trailer, gas cans, a small pull behind looks like fertilizer spreader, a push mower, sprinklers, just various lawn equipment.
All right, stage 5. What do we see on this wall?
On the wall, you have basically what you call, I would call it a sickle on the end. You've got a shelf, you've got rakes, shovels, chain,
Tools. Stage 6. Looking at the front of this, just other things in that shed. Is that right?
Yeah, so you got a shelf full of buckets and gas cans, and then to the left of that looks like you got a climbing ladder stand for like a hunter.
Just going around. Do you try to just capture the scene as it is, not knowing whether or not it's relevant at the time?
Correct. So when you take photographs, the first thing you do is you take overall photographs. So basically, if you had to go back and overlay something on top of it, you could completely recreate the scene. And then once you find out what your evidence is, you go back and you take the other photographs, mid-range close-ups, stuff like that.
Stewart 8 here, the right side of the right sheds here.
Yes.
Is there anything in those, or are they kind of? I guess the right one's empty. Is that right?
I believe the right one's empty. Yeah. Except for looks like a planter.
Number 9. And when you look at this, it looks like.
I want to see the inside of the barn. It looks nice. When I heard barn, I was like, oh, he was living on the top of the barn. That sounds weird, but I don't know. It looks like nice from the outside.
A planter and some things have been strapped to the top.
Yeah, that's probably where my guess is where they put the seed, hold the seed. It looks like a planter.
I don't know if you call those toe straps. What do you call those straps?
I mean,
Come along straps?
Ratchet straps is what I call them. But
You use those at your farm?
I don't know if that's the technical term, but that's what I call them.
Stewart 10, just empty, right side of the shed here. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Stewart 11. Tell the jury what we see in this photograph and kind of where it's at in relation to everything else on the property.
So this is behind. So what I see here is like, obviously you're looking kind of at the side of the right shed. Looking down, there's obviously another lean-to or pole barn or whatever you want to call it off to the back. But there's various other equipment, and then like wheelbarrows, storage ladders, and then down behind that, parked next to a mulch pile is the Kubota tractor that I mentioned processing earlier.
And this Kubota, what does it have on the front and what does it have on the back?
So on the front, it's got a loader, which is commonly used farm stuff. And on the back, we'll have to get closer, but there's an implement on the back, like a small set of harrows or something like a drag plow or something like that. But
Stewart 12 just showing a view looking at, I guess, the front of the tractor. Is that right?
correct.
Now describe for the jury what is to the left of the tractor and is there anything in it or is it empty?
The left.
This is the whole lean-to issue with me. You see that
okay.
roof that comes over?
I'm looking at it from beyond the tractor. So
Okay. All right. So as you're looking at this photograph, tractor's to your right.
Correct.
To the left, that little shed area. What's in there?
Looks like on the left, it kind of looks like a wood chipper. Got some various piping hanging on the wall, a wheelbarrow, and then looks like a plastic storage container to store liquid. Or
Did you learn where the tractor was normally parked? Whether it's normally parked under there or out like this?
I don't recall where it was normally parked. I mean, I know me personally, I keep my stuff under the barn because I want to take care of it. But I mean, I don't know. Some people keep stuff outside.
Stewart 13. We're looking at the right side of the tractor.
Correct.
Want to kind of focus in on those tires. Did you notice anything about the tractor's condition, whether it's clean, not clean, or otherwise?
I mean, it looks relatively well taken care of. Clean-ish. It's got some dirt on it. I've got some dirt on the tires.
So at 14, going back looking at that, what I call a rake, or what would you call the implement on the back of the tractor?
A rake of some sort. I don't know what the technical term is. Some sort of harrow rake, something like that.
And what is that usually used for?
That in particular, I'm not real sure. I should be assuming it's for.
Something that bothered me about this is they wouldn't let Scott get into his room in the barn for days because crime scene. And so his poor dog pooped all over the room. Wait, what? Then the defense tried to hold that against him as he was dirty. Wait, they didn't let him get the dog out of the room because it was a crime scene for days?
Moving around.
All right, so it's 15 on the backside. Who's that gentleman standing there to the right? You know?
That looks like Detective Kuykendall.
And he's not crime scene. He's just.
What?
He's just a detective. He's a sergeant in criminal investigations division.
This is a back view of the tractor. Has that what I call a rake.
Because I was thinking like, oh, maybe they didn't let him get the dog like the first night because they were still processing everything. But how long? Jeez. All right, so this is the the tractor that they think possibly Melody may have used to move Gary.
Rake on the back. Left side, just in the tractor's position on Stewart 16.
Yes.
Stewart 17, kind of another going around it. You just try to walk around. Is that what you're doing?
Correct. So I'm doing overall. So I'm taking pictures of the overall piece of equipment going around.
And Stewart 18 is coming to the scoop or the bucket, or what
Yes,
do you call it?
the bucket.
19, a little close on the back. Or 20, I'm going to go around through. I think we got pictures of the tires begin on the right side, the right back. What do you know about this tire?
As far as, I mean, there's dirt on the outside of the tire. It's
Stewart 21, as we go into the front. Stewart 22, what do you know about the front right tire?
there's dirt caked in the tread of the tire on the front where it's stopped.
Stewart 23, front bucket. If I said that bucket's about 5 feet in length, would you disagree with that?
I mean, I'd probably say close. I mean, I don't know the exact dimensions of the bucket, but I mean, I'd probably say that's close.
All right, 26, that's the front right.
Yes.
I'm going to back up just a little bit. You see on Stewart 22, you see that white round part on the tractor?
You talking about the oil filter?
Yeah, the filter. So Stewart 26, you're talking about the front right.
Yes.
Stewart 27, what is this picture of?
It's the front right tire.
The mud on the tire.
Yes.
Stewart 28, back picture of the right front tire. Mud on the tire.
Yes.
Stewart 28, back picture of the
Yes.
Trying to get
Stewart 27, what is this picture of?
It's the front right tire.
The mud on the tire.
Yes.
Stewart 28, back picture of the right front tire. Is that right?
I think so. I can't really tell.
And then Stewart 29, the back right.
Yes.
Stewart 29, the back right. And Stewart 30, excuse me. All right, now, on the left side, the writing's on the other side. Let me go back so you know this. So you see, in Stewart 20, you see the HST is on the right there.
What I wanted to see was how deep the treads were, because I guess I would expect there to be tread marks, but then I need to look at the forest again. Was it like a lot of grass? And I would expect there to be a lot of dirt there too, right? Where there would be tread marks in the dirt.
Now we're on the left side. So left back tire, describe that for us.
It's got some earth, looks like earth debris on the, or dirt, leaves, whatever on the top.
32, just another picture of it.
Close up picture.
33, this is the left step.
Correct.
Now, Stewart 34, what are we focusing on here towards the top of this step?
So about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way across the very top of the step, there's several small reddish brown stains, and that's a close-up photo of it.
Is that seen here in Stewart 35?
Yes.
Do you have training in detecting blood or seeing blood?
Yes.
What kind of training do you have in that?
So, in my career, I've seen lots of human blood over the course of 26 years of working the road, being on wrecks, answering calls. But we also, as a crime scene technician, there's a 40-hour class you have to take. It's called blood stain pattern analysis. So it helps you learn how to identify different stains, stuff like that.
And what do you learn in those classes? So that's just basically what, when it comes to blood splatter or blood patterns or things like that.
So you learn how to determine, like in certain things, like certain instance, area of impact, area of origin. So like it doesn't really apply in this case, but because obviously we don't have anything else than just one piece of evidence. But so if you have, a blood spatter on the wall, it's here, and somebody says I was standing up and I was hitting the head with something, you basically can say, well, I don't think that's the case because the area of origin would be down here. So you learn how to pull measurements and string.
How many, when you take swabs, we're simulating this, so it doesn't really matter, but when you take a swab, how many swabs are you doing?
So it depends. So on something like this, I took, because I have one sample, I do two. So when you collect this sample, it was dry. So if it's wet, you don't have to do anything. You can just swab it up. If it's dry, you have to use some sort of substance to be able to lift it. So we use sterile water, denatured water, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing that we do is we're going to use two swabs. The first one, we put the water comes in little vials. If that helps you guys out and kind of picture it. So you drop the water on top of the first swab. It looks like a big Q-tip basically, and you put that in. You package that, so that way they can go back and you can go back and show later that the water was not contaminated. The water wasn't. There was nothing wrong with it. It was sterile. It came from a sterile environment. And then you go back and you wet the second Q-tip because the moisture in the water is just what's going to basically reconstitute enough of it to where
Hey, Chai.
it's not going to turn into a liquid again, but it'll reconstitute it enough to get it to lift. With that, and then that got packaged as well.
And as you did in this case, when you package something, just describe the packaging that's put in to secure.
Any type of biological evidence, such as blood, gets packaged in paper or cardboard. And the reason that it does is because, obviously, everybody's put stuff in a plastic bag and seen it turn to mold or seen it grow things inside. Well, because this is biological evidence, it goes inside typically we use swab boxes, so they come flat like this, and you have to fold them up and make a box out of them, and they have a little tab, two perforated tabs that pop up that the long swabs, like a longer dental type swab that slides in there. So that's the way we package them. So that way they can, because cardboard's porous, so that way it can dry, and it doesn't allow moisture to stay in there and turn things moldy or grow things or whatever.
43, an opening where you could drive a tractor into that overhang.
Correct. I mean, I'd have to make sure it was tall enough, but I would assume that's what it's used to park equipment.
And the rest of the pictures up to Stewart 46, kind of just showing pictures of the backside of the barn.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's
Stewart
pretty.
47, were there animals on the property when y'all were out there? Do you remember?
I want to say there was horses and chickens.
All right, so we're going to start going into the barn. You took photographs of the barn?
Correct.
Stewart 48. I'm just going to kind of walk through them if that's okay. Stewart 49. Stewart 50. Stewart 51. Have a little visitor there. Do you see him?
Yeah, little lab.
Oh,
Stewart 52. Stewart 53.
Dodge.
Stewart 54. Did you see the horses on the property?
I don't recall, but I would assume I did.
Stewart 55.
Is Bubba back here? Where's Bubba at?
Stewart 56. 57. 58. 59. 60. 61. 62. 63. 64. 65.
I mean, it looks like she's got a lot of cleaning supplies there. Why does she have to go to Walmart?
66. 67 now, kind of the total one.
No justice for Bubba.
68. 69. 70. And did you notice that there were ropes and other things around the property?
I mean, yeah, there was various. I mean, you see a rope hanging off the extension cords. There's ropes hanging on the wall. There was chains in one of the shed earlier. So yeah, there's ropes and chains all over the place.
72, up now to 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78. We see some of these rifle shotguns. Where are these?
You can. It looks like the bottom two are rifles, and I can't tell if the top one's a shotgun or a rifle.
Just going through the rest of these. Now 83. This is the attack room for the horses.
That's one of them. Yeah, there's saddles in there. There's fishing rods, various things.
Let me go back. Stewart 94. What do we have a picture here? Can you see it?
I believe that's the 32 revolver we discussed earlier.
For the record, what are we looking at here in Stewart 94? Describe it in words if you could.
It was you're talking about so we're in the tack room. There's a cabinet, or in one of the storage rooms. There's a cabinet. It's open. It's got various items in it, and then there's a 32 revolver, or there's a revolver laying underneath it with ammunition, boxes of ammunition beside it.
So Stewart 95 shows the gun as you found it.
Yes.
Stewart 96. What do we have here?
So that's the inside, like I previously mentioned. That's the we obviously inspect the weapons when we pick them up. So we open the cylinder and looked, and you can note that that's a 6-shot revolver, and there's the little round circles in the middle of the cartridges or the primers. And if those would have been fired, there would have been well, imagine like taking a nail, like taking a nail and hitting it on a piece of wood and then pulling it out. You'd have like a little indention in the primer, showing that it had been fired. Then obviously we would have collected shell casing.
97, just showing the name of the gun.
Yes, it's a Winchester.
And then 98, some just pictures of the chicken coop, I guess.
Correct.
Go through those.
Oh, chimkins. Thanks for joining us, Michael Pickle.
Now 115. On now transition. I guess this will be on July 6th.
Looks like the garbage cans downstairs. You can see the blue tarp that it's sitting on.
So
downstairs
Stewart 115. Is the garbage can, is that just picture of the outside?
Correct.
I guess, what's that, blue tarp under it?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Well, because I'm fixing to lay stuff out on it so that I can photograph it and take pictures, and I want to try to keep it as obviously I'm outside, so I want to try to keep it as sterile as possible.
116. Now you were involved in interviewing people to know anything about dish or why the dish is there.
No, I mean I'm assuming it's in the garbage can because it's broken, but sometimes the smallest things can be evidence. So you
Sure,
can
I'm
document
not disputing that, but the point is you didn't talk to witnesses to know anything
No,
about it.
they're not.
You just found it. So Stewart 116. What do we see here?
So like I mentioned earlier, there was food in the garbage can, packs of cigarettes, and then obviously a broken plate.
117. I guess what you do is you peel the onion, you take some off, take another layer off.
Correct. So first, like if I was doing this, I would take an overall picture of the top of the garbage can, then I would take a few things out, take pictures again, so that way everything can be photographed. And you systematically lay it out across the tarp, which I'm sure you'll see that in a minute, and then you take an overall photograph from the top, so you can see everything at one time that was found in there.
And y'all don't just willy-nilly get some evidence and throw it there in the back of the truck. Are y'all
No.
very careful and punctilious in how you actually go through all
Punctilious. I've never. Did you say punctilious?
that,
I've never heard
step
that
by
before.
step, piece by piece, make sure you're processing it,
Yes.
packaging it right?
Yes.
All right, 118. What is this?
That's a picture of that's a close-up picture of the broken plate laid on the tarp.
Bite, maybe?
119. Still going through the
And we're back in the garbage can again.
120. What do we have here?
Photographs of the papers,
121.
plant leaves. There's food.
122 showing some documents and food.
Yes.
123 you're laying it out. Is that right?
Correct.
124. What is the photograph 124? Stewart 124.
So it was a document that was found in the garbage can. It was referenced second quarter earnings from looks like a about finances.
Who is it addressed to? This document
Equity Partners.
from Leo Howell.
Yes.
What date was it?
It was dated June 12th of 2018.
And regards, what does it say? For reference.
So it says reference second quarter earnings. me to continue to read it, or?
Yeah, if you could, just for the record.
So it says enclosure the following estimated earnings through the second quarter of 2018 and the summary income statement through May 31st, 2018. Second quarter live tax draw check, or if you elect a direct deposit, you can view your stuff on, looks like myburr.com, but it's all wrinkled, so I can't.
Right. And then there's, it says LRH and attachments.
Correct.
Stuart, 125, did you find this in the garbage can?
Correct.
Can you, let me pull it down here. Stuart, 125, what's it say at the top, the best you
So
can
it says estimated year-to-date earnings. It looks like it says cumulative by quarter.
If you could, there's 1, 2, 3, are there 4 columns on this piece of paper or this document?
Yes, sir.
And the left column, is it kind of by, it says something about by quarter and partner, is that right?
Correct.
And then what is listed in that column below alphabetically?
I mean, it looks, to a layperson, and to me, it looks like last names.
Okay. But it makes out a name, like that's not gibberish. It's just like
Correct.
about Jones, Joseph, Kavanaugh, Keller.
Those are all common last names that I've heard, so I would make the assumption that they would be last names.
But you know what? Actually, the broken plate, it doesn't look like a fresh broken plate, like it was thrown at him. It looks like maybe someone just broke it. It could have been like accidental, maybe.
Appears to be alphabetically.
But I guess you could always throw a dirty dish at someone. Oh.
Yes.
The second column has a percentage of 2018 percentage of partnership. Is that right?
Yes.
And it has different percentages per person.
Correct.
Third column says YTD year-to-date earnings 3/31/2018 first quarter,
Yes.
and then year-to-date earnings 5/31/2018 second quarter.
Yes.
All right, so this must be important. That's why we're getting into this.
Are some of these figures in money over $100,000?
Absolutely.
Some of it over $300,000?
Let's see. Yes.
Stuart, 126. What do we have here?
That looks like a 28.
Everybody loves to get this thing, don't think? The tax bill.
Absolutely. It's the 2018 tax statement for the 2155 per cell lane.
Cherokee County Board of Assessors. Is that
Yes.
what's labeled at the top? So it's
Yes.
Stuart 126. Who is it made out to?
It's made out to Gary W. Ferris and Melody W. Ferris.
So both names are on it. Is that
Correct.
Right? What's the address?
Hey, Desmond, why do I like the true crime genre? That's a long answer. I'm trying to think. Do I have a short answer for that?
The address that we're here for today, 2155 per cell lane.
So 2155 per cell lane?
Yes, sir.
Official tax matter. And it says it's an annual assessment notice date, May 14, 2018.
Yes.
And then last date to file written repeal, June 28, 2018.
Yes.
So for the property, current year fair market value of property.
Wait, was that
What is that?
It looks like $1,036,900.
So $1,036,900.
Correct.
And that was the value of it back in 2018.
Correct. I mean, according to the county, yes.
I was trying to take a picture of that. Let me see. Let me see real quick.
Current year fair market value of property. What is that?
Looks like $1,036,900.
So $1,036,900.
Correct.
And that was the value of it back in 2018.
Correct. I mean, according to the county, yes.
Stuart, 127. What is this document?
It's a pay statement, a paper copy of a pay statement to address to Gary Ferris.
Stuart, 127. If you look at to the right over here, what is the period start date and the period end date?
It shows the month of May, so May 1st, 2018 to May 31st, 2018.
Okay. What is the pay group?
Birmingham Monthly, it says.
What was the job?
Partner equity.
It has a pay rate.
It says $159.05. Now, I don't understand what that means as far as, but
Let me go to Stuart. Go to Stuart 128. Stuart 120, kind of the same thing,
correct.
just a clear copy.
Yes.
And this pay date is April.
That's from April instead of May.
Pretty much very similar to the Stuart 127, but after, not the gross, but the net. What is the amount for that month?
It says, the total says $20,969.37.
Whose name is at the top there?
Gary W. Ferris.
All right, in the trash can, maybe another trash can looks like.
Correct, there was two.
Stuart 129, we see something poking out of the top there. I'm going to go to Stuart 130. What do we have here?
A bunch of soda cans, Mountain Dew cans, empty cartons of cigarettes.
Would you consider that evidence if you had to use common sense and inference that he liked Mountain Dew?
Correct.
And then 131.
Holy shit.
Judge, can I just have one moment?
I get everything digitally, but I mean, yeah, I probably would just toss it in the trash can. I might rip it up, but I probably just like toss it in the recycle. I don't go out of the way to like shred things or anything like that. But a lot of stuff is digital anyways.
I think I'm done, just like
Yeah, I might rip it up.
Judge, I'm done.
That's
All right,
about
we'll take
it.
a short break.
You drank a lot of Mountain Dew? Yeah, I'm like, damn. Like XQC's trash can.
It'll take 10 minutes longer if y'all need to wander, but y'all can go down and get coffee, take a smoke break. You can sit down, yeah.
Take a smoke break.
You're good.
Okay. Got a little break going on here. Come back after the break.
Start with, you had made the statement with Mr. Bogus on direct examination.
All right, so now this is the defense with Mr. J, I think is his name.
When you go out as a crime scene technician, you're very meticulous in what you're doing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And y'all try to look everywhere you can looking for evidence, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Now, when you got there on the 5th, you had testified previously that during the first...
He could have made bank for recycling. Oh my God, I tried doing that in San Francisco. I kept all of our recycling stuff so we can go to the recycling center and get money for it. Dude, it's just not worth it because we had a lot of heavy glass, I guess. It's like annoying to store, one, especially when you're living in an apartment. And then two, it's like heavy, it's like juicy, it's like wet, like, oh man, even when we're trying to clean it, like, oh, it's annoying. And then when you have to haul it there, like, it was a pain in the fucking ass. But it was definitely a cool experience.
thing you do is talk to the detective in charge.
Typically, yes.
Now, in this case, you didn't talk to the detective, did you, when you first got there?
I believe I went straight to the crime scene, who was leading the crime scene stuff, because they were already there.
And that would have been Lieutenant Ballard?
Either Ballard or Shaw.
Okay. So those would have been the ones who were giving you directives on what you needed to do?
Correct.
Okay. Is it your understanding, though, that Detective Hayes is the actual detective who's in charge of the investigation?
Yes.
Okay. So Detective Ballard or Detective Shaw is in charge of the crime scene. Detective Hayes is in charge of the crime scene and interview.
Of the overall investigation, yes, because it all bleeds back into one another.
Okay. Did you ever talk to Detective Hayes about the case?
What are you talking about while I was on scene, or are you talking about?
While you're on scene, within a relative, let's say on the 3rd or the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
I'm sure we spoke if we were both out there, but I don't remember the nature of our conversation.
So it would have been Ballard or Shaw that gave you your directive to begin with the barn?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we're going to start with the tractor step, but we'll go to the Kubota. Now, you had taken touch DNA, right?
Correct.
You took 9 swabs from all over the Kubota.
Yes, I can give you the locations that I took it if you need me to.
Well, I was going to go through them, so just go ahead and list off the locations where you took the contact swabs.
Okay. So the first swab was obviously, I talked about using a control sample initially whenever we take them. So the first swab was the control sample, so it was just right out of the package into the box. The second sample was from the steering wheel. The third sample was from the 3-point hitch lever. That's the lever that raises the implement on the back up and down on the tractor. The power takeoff switch, that's what turns on the PTO that actually if you have a bush hog or a mower or something that runs off a power takeoff on the back, it runs that. The fifth one was the hand throttle lever, which is like the gas pedal of a car, which throttles the engine up. The 6th one was the loader control, which is basically an arm that lifts the bucket on the front of the tractor up and down. The 7th was the directional shifter, which basically forward reverse. The 8th was there's a handle on the left side of the tractor up on the fender, on the rear fender, that's utilized to grab to get on and off. That was the 7th, the 8th, excuse me, and the 9th was the ignition key itself.
So you took those 9 swabs.
Correct.
And eventually you packaged them up.
Correct.
And placed them in evidence.
Correct.
To your knowledge, were those swabs ever tested?
I don't know if they were tested or not.
Do you know whether or not they were sent to the crime lab?
I don't know.
Okay. Looking at number 35, the blood drop on the stair. Did you ever do any Blue Star testing on that?
I know when we on scene, I didn't, but Lieutenant Ballard sprayed the Blue Star on it after the evidence was collected, the swab was collected, and they also sprayed the RTV as well on scene.
Okay. And you took that sample, right?
You talking about collecting the blood sample right here? Yes, I did, sir.
You've never had Mountain Dew before? It's not great. I don't know. I never really liked Mountain Dew. My choice of drink for sodas, like if I would go for like the sugary sodas, Coca-Cola, Coke Zero, and then maybe like a Fanta Orange,
And you packaged that up and that was self?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know if the results of that ever came back?
My understanding that it did.
Okay. So touch DNA, you don't know whether or not it was tested, but you believe that was tested?
Correct.
Okay. And by that I mean states the photo states 35. Now, with this Blue Star, do you have to get specifically trained into how to use it?
There's no real formal training class. There's directions on the package of how you mix it. Once it's mixed, you spray it. I've used stuff like Blue Star and luminol on scenes. I've also used it in photography when I took my crime scene photography class.
So the Blue Star that was sprayed on the RTV was, to the best of your knowledge, who mixed that?
I want to say Ballard did. I don't remember mixing it, but
it wasn't you.
I don't think it was me. No.
Okay. Now with the, and I'll get to the RTV in a minute. Did you do any Blue Star testing on the actual tractor bucket?
I don't remember on scene. I know that it was later collected and taken to our evidence bay and redone by other techs, but I don't remember spraying it on scene.
Okay. And you went as a crime scene technician. I assume you went over that tractor with a fine-tooth comb.
Yes.
Okay. Did you find any blood or anything in the bucket?
No.
Okay. Just that one drop on stage 35.
You talking about the photo? Yes,
Yes.
sir. Correct.
Now, that photo also, you had previously testified, you can't make any type of determination of whether or not that's a 90-degree drop, a smear, or anything
It
like
could
that.
be a
or
90
transfer.
degree, it could be a transfer. There's no way I can conclusively give you an answer.
So basically, an easier way to say that would be is you cannot show any way that you don't know how that got there.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you also talked about with the Blue Star is that it reacts to iron, right?
Yes.
All right. But you can also spray it. Because I assume the package, does it come with any information about?
I'm just going to skip through the repetitive stuff where he repeats over the direct testimony.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. So let's say I sprayed it right here on the floor, right? And it lit up. It's possible that if you could light up, I could take a photograph of it and you can see it, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I think you actually said it pops real quick and then
It'll pop. If it's just iron, it'll pop real quick and disappear. So you'd have to be extremely fast with your camera to be able to make that happen if you're going to do both.
Okay. Do you recall, did you do any of the Blue Star testing on any of the towels or hand cloths found inside the home?
No, I did not.
Okay. Now, the RTV, since we're on Blue Star, you remember what the RTV looked like, right? Okay. Orange, side by side.
Correct.
Right? All right, now, you had stated in your direct examination that Lieutenant Ballard had sprayed Blue Star essentially all over the RTV and it fluoresced.
In various locations, yes.
Okay. Now, so that stuff fluoresced, and you had taken already at this point in time, because you did the tractor first, right?
Correct.
All right, so you're doing the tractor first, and then you go to help with the RTV, and it fluoresced with the Blue Star, but you didn't take any swabs of the RTV.
Correct.
Okay. None from the bed, none from the inside.
I didn't take any on scene though.
Okay. Going back to the tractor real quick. 'Cause
Yes, sir.
On good picture. Yeah, there was some other testing done on it later, but I just wanted to ask you. This is Stewart 21. You can see the seat in that, right?
Correct.
Do you recall when you were looking at the tractor? Was the seat on the tractor pushed all the way backwards?
I don't know.
You
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not you would have manipulated the seat while you were taking photographs and taking the contact swabs?
I mean, if I would have done anything while
Seat tractor position, okay.
looking for evidence, I mean, typically tractor seats will fold up, so if you grab for transport, you grab the back and flip them up. I may have done that to look underneath it, but I don't recall moving it forward or backwards.
Okay. I want to go ahead. During the break, I had showed you what had been previously marked as Stewart Defense 1 through 4, and then Stewart Defense 14 through 30, I believe. Do you have those photographs?
I do.
Depictions of the photographs you took that day.
I would agree, yes, sir.
Judge, at this point in time, we move into defense. I think I've got it sorted out, so we're going to look at one first, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's a photograph inside the barn.
Okay.
And in that photograph, looks like you got a water hose leading over to a drain, and then on the right side of the photograph, it looks like it's connected to a water outlet.
Yes.
Okay. Was this area of the barn, to the best of your knowledge, was there any Blue Star ever used?
I didn't do it. I don't know if anybody else did, but I don't think so.
Did you take any swabs for potential DNA around any part of this part of the barn?
I did not know.
Okay. Now, number 2. I'll give it a test run, 2. That does nothing.
Just or you can click it up top.
Let's see. That did nothing either. So,
I can see if
2.
it helps. I can see the mouse moving around up here on the screen. So
Okay, no, we're just trying to figure out if I can make it move smoother. This photograph is just essentially the same as number 1, just showing a different angle.
correct, sir.
All right. Stewart Defense 3. Can you tell the jury what that is?
It's a drain that's in the floor of the barn.
Now, is that the same drain that you can see in 1 and 2?
Correct.
All right. And to the best of your knowledge, was any Blue Star used there or any DNA taken?
Not that I know of, no, sir.
Okay. And number 4. That's just a close-up
It's
picture of the
a
drain.
close-up picture of the drain to show the mulch and stuff that's on the drain.
Okay. And just to keep things in order, I'm going to go ahead and close those. Now, I turn your attention to number 14. Stewart Defense 14.
Yes, sir.
Now, in that photograph, that's upstairs in the apartment, correct?
It looks to be yes, sir.
All right. And you're aware that that was Scott Farris's apartment?
Correct.
When did you learn that that's where Scott Farris or a person named Scott Farris lived there?
I can't give you an exact timeline when I learned that, whether it was on scene or afterwards.
Okay, that's fine. So that is, I don't know why it's decided to change. So that's 15. Is that a photograph looking into the bedroom of the apartment?
If you go to the next one, I would say yes. Looking at 16, the next photo, yes, I would say it's going into the bedroom. The same dressers in the photo.
Okay, so that would have been, at least you know now, that would have been Scott Farris's bedroom?
Correct.
Okay. That was 14, 15, 16?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's the sink in the bathroom of the apartment.
I would agree with that, yes, sir.
Okay. And 18, that is the bathtub in the apartment.
Yes.
And number 19 is also the bathtub in the apartment.
Yes.
Now, regarding this bathroom, were any Blue Star sprayed or any swabs taken anywhere in the bathroom?
Not to my knowledge, sir, no.
Now back to. You're going to get somehow lost. Well, let's get there. What's your next number you have up there?
The one that I have after is 20, which is it's the picture of the side of it. Looks like side of a bed with a dog crate with pillows on top of it.
Okay. Let me do this real quick.
It says D20 on it.
D20. That's fine.
That's
all right, so you can see it. So D20. That's in the bedroom.
I would assume because there's a bed right next to it. So.
All right. And you can see that there's dog feces all over the ground.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see that a lot throughout the apartment?
I mean, I'd have to go back and review every single photo to look at it, but I mean, there were some you can see in the pictures, the next couple pictures in various locations.
Okay. Well, for the next picture, Stewart Defense 21.
Yes.
You can see that's also in the bedroom.
Correct.
Okay.
Poor dog.
You also found anywhere you Bank of America. Do you recall that? And that's photograph 23.
I don't recall where it was found or anything, but
Okay.
if it's in my string of photos, I took it. So.
Did you? Well, my question is, did you find it and don't recall, or did you just take a photograph and another detective found it?
I don't know.
Okay.
So whether I was with another detective or whatever, and they found, I know I take pictures to document everything.
I know. Would it be fair though that if you found this, it was in the barn?
I mean, if you say so, but I mean, if it's in with the barn photos, then yes, it was in the barn.
It was in the barn. All right. So that's 22, and then 23 is a photograph of a laptop with an Under Armour sticker on it. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall where that was found?
I would assume in the barn, but I don't know exactly where in the barn.
Okay. Now with that laptop, do you recall was that laptop packaged up and taken into evidence?
I don't know if it was taken or not. I photographed it, but I don't know if one of the detectives took it.
Okay. And turn your attention now to 24. Is the computer's open, and then you have this series of letters and numbers, looks possibly passwords. Did that have any significance to you, or you're just documenting?
I'm just documenting.
Do you know whether or not that, along with or was that in the computer taken into evidence, or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. Just took the photograph and
Typically, when you're photographing a crime scene, you document everything you can and
move on.
move on. Yes.
Okay. Now, you also, because you had testified with Mr. Bogus, that you had also found several bullets, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, go ahead and pull this up. You recall out at the scene, or in the barn actually, you found 38 caliber special bullets.
Correct.
Okay. You also, you took some photographs. I don't have those photographs up, but you also found some 380 bullets. Do you recall that?
Without looking at the pictures, no, but I remember, I mean, I took pictures of multiple different calibers of ammunition.
Okay. And you also, and Mr. Bogus had showed you on direct examination the 32 caliber pistol.
Correct.
All right. And that pistol had the ammunition in it.
It had 6 rounds in it, correct, unfired.
Do you recall finding any specifically 32 caliber ammunition at the scene?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, 38 special, do you know what kind of bullet was supposedly used in this case?
I mean, I've learned after the fact of 38, but I mean, I just documenting, possibly, I was just documenting what the bullets I found on scene.
At this point in time, when you were actually taking this photograph, you were just documenting it, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, did you find any 38 special handguns in the barn?
No.
So,
There were several guns in the barn, the rifles and, you know,
We'll get to that in
and
a second.
the 32 caliber, but I don't remember a 38.
okay, we'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
So 25, this is a photograph of a box of 38 special ammunition.
Yes.
So 25, 26 is showing a full box of ammunition.
Correct.
27, just a close-up of 38 special.
Correct.
And 28 is just another photograph of 38 special box.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. All right. So, you also went out to the main house and searched out there, correct? Or you assisted Detective Hayes?
I assisted Hayes and Carter in different times.
Okay.
I helped Hayes in various areas and Carter in various areas.
Now, but you do recall, well, is it fair to say that the only place you recall finding ammunitions and firearms in this case is in the barn?
Yes.
Okay.
In the barn, Scott's barn.
Right, now, you also documented, while out at the barn, other ammunition that was found. You recall that?
Yes, it looks like a drawer of a dresser.
Okay. And by looking at Stewart Defense 29, can you see what type of ammunition that is?
Yeah, looks like a 38 special.
Okay. And that is, you got 3 38 specials in Stewart 29, 2 other ones in Stewart 30, is that correct?
Yes.
And then in Stewart 31, 2 other 38 specials?
Yes.
Or it could be the same 2. Do you recall how many bullets were found in the drawer?
I don't.
Okay. You had talked about, with Mr. Focus, you talked a little bit, like you've had some training in blood spatter analysis.
Yes.
The 90-degree drops. When you were in the house, did you notice any blood drops in the house?
And when I was walking around, I noticed some blood, but I didn't really pay attention to the 90-degree drops because I've been tasked to focus on certain things when I was in the house. Help me with this, help me with this, help me with this.
Okay. Is it fair to say that, and I'm just speaking generally, okay?
Okay.
So if the blood falls straight down, I think you testified on direct that you will get just a circle.
Now you might get some splash depending on how high it comes from, but typically a blood droplet when it comes off of an object is round due to the viscosity of the blood. So when it hits, it'll be round. Now you're going to get obviously splash off of it, but the initial drop is round. Yes.
Okay. It gets round with some splash.
Potentially, yes.
Now, what if the source of the blood is in motion? You would get then like a splash that goes with the motion.
You can technically. So like you tell directionality of blood drops by tails. So if you look at any kind of blood spatter, it'll be, if it's, let's say I had it on my fingers and I slung it, the blood drop as it hit the wall would be elongated. Imagine skipping a stone, right? So the blood drop.
Now, Mr. Focus, also there was a lot of photographs of I might have pulled them back up, of the tack room. There was a lot of ropes and chains and things like that you testified that you saw.
Yes.
With that, did you take, or if you know, that any of
Wait,
the
do
other
pictures of the blood in the house? You said that he noticed some blood in the house, right? Just didn't know what direction, any degrees or whatever.
Investigators take any of those things into evidence?
Not that I know of.
Did you find any ropes or chains inside the main house separate from the barn?
I don't recall seeing any, no.
Okay. So it's fair to say that the only place you found any ropes or chains would have been in the barn?
Correct.
Okay. 1 second, because it was real far down. 5. I just want to ask you, did you found Section 125, which is the partner equity form?
Correct. It came out of the, that's one of the things that came out of the garbage can downstairs.
Okay. Anywhere on that list do you see Gary Farris's name or the name Farris?
If you'll give me just a second, let me review
Yeah, I
it.
was like, where's Gary's name? Is his name supposed to be on here? Is it here? Oh, see it, right? Farris?
You don't see Gary's name?
No, but it's in alphabetical order, so there would be no way that there's an F on there for Farris. If you look, it's all in alphabetical order.
Correct. And so, and you would have taken everything that was in that trash can and laid down the photographs, correct?
Correct.
And that wasn't in there?
Correct.
Okay. Also,
Oh,
state...
because like the F. Hold on, I didn't even notice that. Oh, yeah, Gary Farris is not on there because we're starting from H to P. Okay. Duh, corgi. Oh, Lord.
There's an F on there.
Also, state 126, this is the tax bill you testified about?
Yeah, it's a tax statement, yes.
All right, and you'll see that that tax bill is in the name of Gary and Millie.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, you spent a good portion of July the 6th helping Detective Hayes look for the alleged firearm, correct?
We looked in several locations in the house, closet, study, various locations.
Okay. Didn't find anything inside the house?
Did you find a firearm?
Yeah.
We didn't find a firearm, no.
Okay. Yeah, so no firearms in the house. You also searched the compost pile for firearms?
Yeah, so we took I think that was actually on the first day, because the compost pile was directly in front of the tractor.
Wait, what? I think drinking soda and water with ice is most an Asian thing, to be honest. What? No, I don't think so at all. Wait. No?
So one of the investigators on scene, Corporal Olenek, he grabbed the metal detector and to kind of metal detect that area around where the compost pile was, and myself and investigator Duncan.
I think some people probably get lazy, and then they're like, I'm too lazy to get like ice and a cup and a straw and wash it, and they just drink it from the can. I think it's like a lazy thing.
Took shovels and also moved stuff around, through the compost pile and in various areas around the compost pile while he was using the metal detector in search of any sort of evidence, firearm, you name it.
Okay. You had also talked about, with the trash can, that you had taken swabs of the trash can.
Correct.
Do you recall whether those were packaged up and placed in evidence?
They were.
Were they sent off to the crime lab to be tested to the best of your knowledge?
I would assume so, but I don't want to say.
Yeah, beer with ice. Yes, because like when you're in like Southeast Asia, it's so hot that your beer just cools down, and it's probably just better than having like one of those like koozies. I think koozies are too fancy. But yeah, in like Southeast Asia, beer with like ice, I see that all the time.
For certain under oath.
It's hot.
Yeah, if you don't know, you don't know.
So.
Cold beer.
There was also the Detective Hayes that called you to photograph some shoes and a shirt that you found.
Correct.
Now, do you know, or did you see Detective Hayes find the shirt?
I don't recall if I was in the room when he found the shirt or not.
Okay, so you don't know where the shirt was located in the house?
I believe the shirt was in a closet, but I'm not 100% sure. No.
Okay, so like if I asked, was it hanging up? Was it in the dirty clothes? Was it on the floor? You don't know?
That I don't know, no.
Okay, and you photographed that shirt, correct?
Correct.
Right. And also you photographed 2 sets of shoes.
Correct.
There was 1 set of shoes. You didn't actually do the swabbing for the preliminary blood test, correct?
Correct.
That was another investigator?
Yeah, but I don't remember which one it was, honestly.
Okay. And did you take those items into your possession, or did Detective Hayes take those items?
I did not take those items into my possession to be processed as evidence, so I would.
This is Station Exhibit Riley 1. It's
Okay, so I mean, not really much happened in the cross, but I mean, the defense did reiterate over and over again, like, oh, the stuff that you guys found, the ammo, that was where? Oh, it was in the barn. Okay, and then the ropes and chain, where was that again? In the barn. Oh, okay. Who lived in the barn again? Oh, Scott did. Oh, okay. So the defense is just trying to slowly, give little ideas to the jury, see it happening. Okay.
This is Station Exhibit Riley 1. It's
Now we're back with the state.
You're there. You were there, so July 2018. July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You went there July 5th, is that right?
5th and 6th, yes.
All right. Do you know anything about what occurred in the evening of July 3rd?
I do not.
Do you have any idea, or were you involved in the time of death when Gary was shot and killed?
No.
How about on July 4th? Were you there at all?
No, I believe the initial 911 call came out on the 5th, which is for what we're here in court for. So I went out there that night, but I didn't go out there before then.
All right, so July 3rd, July 4th, those 2 days, didn't know what was going on with the property or anything, right?
No clue, sir.
Did you find the gun that was used in this case?
No.
So it was missing?
Yes.
But you found bullets and things like that in the barn?
Yes.
But there were several days that passed, but no gun was found?
Correct.
And you were asked about things that you found in the barn. Do you know, was there any towels that were wet or in dryers or washer or dryer or anything in the barn?
I don't remember, honestly.
Was there any clothing that looked like had suit or anything like that in the barn?
In the barn? No.
Any shoes that were wet or other shoes that had possibly blood on them?
In the barn? No.
Sure.
No, not in the barn.
Nothing like that in the barn?
No.
Frank has a good question. Did you find any blood to the naked eye or anything like that in the barn? Any indication that there was blood there?
No, sir.
Nothing further on.
It looks like it's a dresser drawer, a nightstand drawer. It's a photograph of the items that are in it.
Okay. And is that fair and accurate depiction?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. We move to tender Stewart, defense 31.
No, Jim.
And click off test counter.
Is he gonna show us the picture? I can't see.
Okay. Hey, look work. Lieutenant Stewart, do you recall if the drawer we were talking about earlier in the barn apartment, is that a photograph of it?
I don't remember, but I mean, it could be.
Okay. And well, you can see right here, because we were talking about bullets earlier in
Correct.
Stewart 30 and 32, or I'm sorry, 29, 30, and 31.
Yes, sir.
You can see I'm pointing to them right now, kind of in the center of the photograph. So those are the bullets you were taking photographs of?
I mean, I would guess so, yes.
Okay.
If it's the same drawer, then yes.
Okay. And also,
Oh, we can't see it. Why? Who's filming this?
on the talk a lot, or a little bit about the animal feces in the barn.
Yes.
Oh, whatever, you turn it off, Judge. Just leave. Oh. And so it's fair to say that the upstairs barn was fairly dirty, right?
It was lived in, yes.
Yeah, okay. But if we look at room 17, you'd agree with me that is quite the clean sink, right?
I mean, it's cleanish, yes. But
Alright.
if you look at the corners, there's stuff all in the corners of the sink.
Okay. What about the bathtub, though? Stewart defense area.
Looks like a bathtub.
Okay. Clean, though, right?
Cleanish, yeah.
All right. And you got up here on the top, looks like a magic eraser.
That's what it looks like to me.
All right. And then in 29, still clean, right?
Yes.
Okay. And not that it was your responsibility, but to the best of your knowledge, there was no luminol or any DNA or anything taken from the
Not that I
bathroom.
know of, sir, no.
Okay. And
Do we have a picture of the sink before?
luminol or any DNA or anything taken. Not that it was your.
That's what it looks like to me.
All right. Stewart defense area. Okay. What about the bath?
Hold on. Okay, here's the sink. Let me take a screenshot of this. I mean, I don't know. I have to go, I feel like I have to look at, I don't know, the bedroom again. The bedroom just looks like a bedroom. I don't know. It didn't look like a complete shitty mess.
But if you look at the corners, there's stuff all in the corners of the sink.
Okay. What about the bathtub, though?
Yeah, there's corners.
Stewart
Yeah,
defense area.
it's like corners stuff.
Looks like a bathtub.
Okay. Clean, though, right?
Cleanish, yeah.
All right. And you got up here on the top, looks like a magic eraser.
That's what it looks like to me.
All right. And then in 29, still clean, right?
Yes.
Okay. And not that it was your responsibility, but to the best of your knowledge, there was no luminol or any DNA or anything taken from the
Not that I know
bathroom.
of, sir, no.
Okay. And
That's where they're going with Scott having his room being dirty.
no other questions.
Our next witness.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm that evidence you about to present in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is witness number 4. Witness number 4.
See? I'm going to go ahead and open that microphone. If you would state your full name for the record.
It's Charles Roger Westbrook,
Where do you work and what do you do?
the Cherokee Sheriff's Office. I'm a sergeant and I work in the Behavioral Health Unit Crisis Response Team.
Or you work where again? I'm sorry. Speak a little bit louder if you would, please.
I'm working in the Behavioral Health Unit Crisis Response Team. It's a co-responder unit.
What is that? Tell me what that is.
So we have a mental health professional and myself. We respond to mental health crisis, suicides, people in distress, people experiencing psychosis, and then we do follow-ups and try to get people connected into treatment to reduce the number of folks that go to jail or end up in the hospitals if we can.
Okay. Kind of like community policing aspect or something you do. How long have you been doing that?
promoting the positions.
Now, I want to turn your attention back to July 5th, 2018. Obviously, nobody here today.
Yes, sir.
And did you get called out to 2511 Purcell Lane, the Farris residence?
Yes, sir, I did.
And when you went out there, tell the jury just what your aspect was and what your kind of your duties and what you did that day.
Okay. So I was in the Criminal Investigation Division, and I was a supervisor on the evening shift, crimes against persons. We responded to and assigned cases mostly for family violence. And that particular day, we came in on the shift, and were told that there was a missing person / death investigation going on at Purcell Lane, and we were asked to come out there and assist.
Now, July 5th was that Thursday. Do you remember about what time you got out there that afternoon?
Probably late in the afternoon. I don't remember exactly, but I'd say somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock, somewhere in that area.
911 call.
We were doing some stuff, and then we were tasked with different duties. I assisted in the area where the burning pit was, where trash had been burned and where the body had been discovered.
Now, the parties are not arguing that Gary Farris was found in the burn pile. So, when you got there, from what you knew when you arrived, was this you were there responding to medical emergency, or you were there responding to something more?
Here, start leading the investigation, so we were called out to assist.
Did you go out to the burn pit?
Yes, sir.
Did you see it?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the remains?
Yes, sir.
Did you see anything at some point that catch y'all's attention?
Yes, sir. When everything had been kind of sectioned off and pieces of the remains were being placed on a table, and there was a section that was identified as a part of the chest cavity, and I saw something that was inconsistent with the rest of the burned and charred material. It looked almost like a pencil eraser in there, and pointed it out to forensics, and it was identified as a projectile from a bullet, from a cartridge.
Dr. Gooding, was she processing the scene?
Yes, sir. She was there.
Did she put it into a grid system? Did
Yes,
you
sir.
help with any of the systematic search or sifting of the remains?
I helped set up some of the grid off system and removing some of the other brush that was not part of the fire.
Did you work with other detectives? Is it detectives or investigators? I think we say detectives.
At that time we had different rank structure: investigator, detective, sergeant. Now
That's gonna make it really confusing.
yeah,
I'm just gonna refer-
starting some of the preliminary searches.
You ever go into the washroom area and find anything in the washing machine?
Yes, sir. There is a mud room and a laundry room that's off of the garage that goes into the main part of the house. There's a washer and a dryer there, and in the washing machine there were some wet towels.
Did you go into the garage and see any vehicles in the garage?
Yes, sir. There were 2 vehicles: a Toyota Sequoia and a Mercedes.
And did you know that the Sequoia was one that the defendant, Melody Ferris, drove?
It was identified as hers. Yes, sir.
And did you see Melody Ferris there at the scene?
Maybe from a distance. I think she was talking to some of the other detectives earlier in the
Talk to
day.
Hayes and other people.
Yes, sir.
You weren't really interviewing people or anything like that?
Not at that time, no, sir.
But when you looked in the Sequoia, the defense Sequoia, did you find some receipts and things like that?
Yes, sir, I did.
And then were pictures taken and turned over, other officers grabbed those things?
Yes, sir. Crime scene had already been through the house taking pictures.
Are these the Walmart receipts?
And then we went back through and started identifying and collecting evidence.
So Friday, you go back to the scene?
Yes, sir. I think it was the 6th when we actually collected those items.
Okay. And on July 6th, you also collected the victim's wallet, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'll mark this for identification as Westbrook 1. I'll hand it to you. I know you've looked at it and gone through that. See if you recognize that to be the wallet found inside Ferris's residence.
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, where did you, based on the ECR, where did you find in your report, where was it found?
The kitchen counter.
And that was on, that was on the ECR, where that was written?
Yes, sir.
Was there other stuff that you remember on the counter?
There was, I believe there was a purse, and there was a credit card that was identified to me to put into evidence as well.
Do me a favor, take Westbrook 1, look through it, make sure that's the wallet, and has those credit cards and stuff that you found. Recover from the scene.
Yes, sir, it is.
Pretty much in the same condition as it was for the most part?
Yes, sir.
This time I entered it as Westbrook 1. Okay.
Nice, Smith.
What I'm gonna do, all right, what I'm doing, I'm gonna make a reference on Gary's wallet in my hands. Is that right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And you see me taking out all the cards and things inside?
Yes, sir.
And I'm putting that down. Then the rest of the wallet is pretty much empty. It looks like.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't need to wear gloves. Put the gloves on, no.
The one that has a light bulb in it, right?
There you go. And if you zoom in, then it will.
I'm a lawyer. Don't stop. Put it fast enough.
If you
Can't
do the
see.
dial on top, it'll zoom in, and then it'll autofocus when it does that.
All right. This appears to be a black leather wallet. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's the wallet. And the one I'm going to 9. Judge, is this a system where you can take a picture or something?
You can take a picture.
Judge, you mind assisting me if I do not know how to do
There's a
it?
button for it. Yeah, if y'all let me know what you're doing before you do it, then we can. I don't think there's an SD card on it, but it may have internal memory. Phone, and we can do it. I know there's a picture.
Oh, wow. I've never seen the judge come down here and help with the tech stuff before.
Option. We haven't used that in 4 years.
The last time the judge came down here, that was when the state was in trouble. That's when we had Judge Summer Marlowe. Shit, what was her name again? I think Summer is her name, right? Marlowe, Judge Marlowe, in the Alec Baldwin, where she put the gloves on and she looked at those the ammunition, and she's like, these look the same.
I should have thought this through.
All right, so we're trying to figure out stuff. Judge is helping. Nice judge.
Picture, but there is no SD.
Take one more picture. Is your similar condition as when you found it?
Yes, sir, it is.
So you would not add anything to it?
No, sir.
You would not take anything away?
From
No,
what
sir.
I've heard, this judge is like pretty like chill and laid back.
You would not tamper or otherwise mess or do anything else to the evidence?
No, sir.
Best of your knowledge, that's how his wallet was when it was found.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you have any idea where it was found in the house or where it was before it was on the counter?
No, sir, I don't.
And did you have to go back and look at the property receipts to remind yourself where you had obtained it from?
Yes, sir.
So you don't know how it got from wherever to there?
No, sir, I don't.
No other credit cards or debit cards. It is what it is. What's in there is what was in there.
Yes, sir. It's listed on the evidence control record.
July 11th, did you go with Packendall to Burn Foreman, the law firm Gary worked for?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you talk to, I think, Angela Phillips there?
Yes, sir.
And then, said you found the towels and whatnot in the washer, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And did you have those turned over to the crime scene unit that collected those towels?
Yes, sir.
Wait, we just talked about the Gary's law firm, and now we're talking. We're going back and forth here. Towels.
Judge, if I just have one more.
Some towels in the washer.
No, sir. It's Sergeant.
All right, defense.
Going to the wallet real quick. You said you found it. Did you find it on the 5th or the 6th?
The 6th.
But you were out there on the 5th too, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the house was searched on the 5th too, right?
Are they trying to say that Gary's wallet was on the counter because that's not where Gary left it? That's where Melody may have put it, and she was using his wallet, spending his money or something like that? Like, is that where we're going with?
There was some searching, I believe, on the 5th. It's kind of hard for me to remember. It's a little bit fuzzy, but it seems like we did go into the house on the 5th.
The trial gets funny when the judge realizes how much social media attention it got and called out recovery addict in the Martha Jane situation. Wait, what? Why did he call it recovery addict? Yeah, I heard recovery addict was the only YouTuber that people watch if they watch this trial that covered it. Because I was like, oh, who covered the Melody Farris trial? I don't know any other streamers that did.
And we're looking in some parts and then went back on the 6th.
Okay. Now, also, with the wallet, according to your testimony to Detective, or to the detective, to Mr. Focus, that was everything that was found in the wallet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is it your testimony that there was no cash found in that wallet?
I don't recall any cash. I don't think there's anything on the ECR as far as cash, but
Okay. If there was cash in the wallet, would it be held in evidence or deposited into the sheriff's escrow account?
I think normally it would just be kept in evidence because it's part of the crime scene. So as far as I know.
Okay, so as far as you know, if there was cash in that wallet, it would be in the wallet now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you did a couple of things other than the wallet that was found. So and let me just also back up real quick. So
Hold on a second. I need to get some. I need a stretch. Ugh. Waiting for this UPS package. Yesterday, UPS said they tried to deliver the package, but they couldn't. I'm like, lies. The gate was open. There's people here working. Okay, so Recovery Addict was streaming this when Rusty testified and mentioned Martha Jane's gun. Recovery Addict said, that's where she got the gun, to us who were in the chat. Okay. And then? How did the judge find out about that? Oh, turns out Martha Jane was also watching Recovery Addict that day. But I think, didn't Recovery Addict say that that's where he thought the state was going with the gun, but they never went there? But then when Martha Jane was watching, she was like, oh, wait a second, I do have a gun that was missing. And because of what he said, Martha Jane never realized. She told the police. Gotcha.
just to clarify, that wallet was found by you on the counter in the kitchen of the main house on July the 6th, 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you don't know how it got on the counter?
No, sir.
You don't know where the wallet originally was?
No, sir.
Okay. You also had searched Ms. Farris's Toyota, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. My throat with some photographs for you to look at real quick. He stipulated that they're authentic, so I'm just going to go ahead and move to admit post row D 1 through 4.
No, Judge, very good.
And Sergeant, you keep those with you. Now, what day did you search the Toyota?
I believe it was the 6th.
Okay. You can look at. Judge, can you switch me here?
What is this? Oh, I was like, are we gonna get the Walmart receipt? What is this? What is Choo Choo? Choo Choo grooming station. Oh, for pets.
You can look at Westbrook Defense 1. That is a front gate receipt for Lake Lanier Island, correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, And that the date on that is July 4th at 1:54 p.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
And it looks like it's a receipt for parking at Lake Lanier.
It says front gate, so
Yeah, what?
access. I imagine it would be access to the.
In the middle of the receipt, you can say it says 15.
Oh, okay, yeah.
1-1 park?
Yep.
Okay. So that is one day before July the 5th, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now also, with that, you had written some reports in this case, right?
Yes, sir.
Like your parking receipt, as well as a receipt of substance, customer copy of something, correct?
What was that? I can't see.
Yes, or something Farms and Company, Birmingham Highway.
Okay. Can you see? Well, you've actually got it, but I'll zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, you can see it looks like Scottsdale Farms.
Yes, sir.
Okay. July the 2nd, 2018. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Looks like at least this receipt is for $118.51.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Westwood Defense 3. That is a copy of a bank receipt.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wells Fargo bank receipt, to be specific.
Wells Fargo.
Is that correct? Wells Fargo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let me pull up for us a little better photograph.
Are these important?
Okay, that's a check-in. Looks like an ATM receipt, right?
Yes, sir.
Where looks like money had been withdrawn, approximately $100.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you can also see from that receipt that the available balance, at least in that main, what it actually says main account, is $11,046.85.
Yes, sir.
Now, you recall your report? You have a copy of it?
I don't have
Are
it
they trying to say that she had Gary's wallet because she went to the bank? I don't know.
in front of me.
Let me ask you first, and you may not need it. In your report, you had listed out things that you had identified. You had listed out the Lake Lanier Island receipt, AJS pit stop, a MAPCO receipt, and a Fuel City, I'm assuming, receipt. But you didn't list this. Do you recall that?
I don't recall seeing that, no, sir.
Okay. If it wasn't listed in your report, why do you think you need that?
I don't know, sir.
All right. And
I believe that's what the ECR says, yes, sir, the 6th.
And did you actually take the physical copies of these receipts into evidence?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay. But you did take the photographs?
No, sir, I didn't take the photographs.
But you were there when it was searched?
I was there when it was searched, yes, sir.
Okay. But that's what your report says, is that you searched the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You did one other thing. You interviewed a woman named Angela Phillips. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh,
And that
the one that he had an affair with, right? The former secretary? Okay.
was Gary Phillips' former secretary?
Administrative assistant, yes, sir.
Okay. And I believe it was you and Detective Kuykendall
Yes, sir.
interviewed her. Y'all did that interview down at Burton Foreman offices?
Yes, sir.
And that interview was, I think it was audio and video recorded, correct?
I believe it was audio, but not video, no, sir.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not, did you interview Ms. Phillips anymore, or only that one time?
I don't recall talking to her again. I remember interviewing there during that session, but I don't recall talking to her again.
Okay. And you had, I believe you interviewed her around the 11th, right?
Yes, sir.
With Kuykendall.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Her demeanor when you told her what happened is that she was extremely upset, correct?
Do we think she did it? I think from what I've seen, the majority of people will say yes, for sure. And I think she's disgusting for trying to blame her son. The reason why I'm watching this trial is because her speech that she gave in her sentencing was so convincing. She was like, I didn't do it. The world needs to know my son did it. And then she like dropped like a bunch of random shit, or not random shit. She dropped a bunch of shit that apparently wasn't mentioned in trial. And then something about Freon or something like that. Like, I don't know, like poisoning. Maybe Gary almost got poisoned a couple times. I don't know. But yeah, she was laying it out. She was crying and everything.
That's what I documented.
Okay.
I don't really recall a whole lot about the
Exactly.
interview. I don't recall a
You
whole
got
lot
a
of.
deep voice.
I don't recall a whole lot about the interview as far as her demeanor and stuff, but I do remember documenting and just.
I think a lot of people were just like very shocked at her sentencing. Hey, Shadow, we think so indeed.
Some of that information.
Okay. Because Detective Kuykendall was actually kind of lead on that, right?
I was doing a forensic victimology
Yes.
of Mr. Farris, and Kuykendall accompanied me to do that.
Okay. Yeah, just one. Actually, let me approach you, get those photographs real quick from you. One thing, during the interview that you had with Ms. Phillips, do you recall her establishing that she had an ongoing affair with Gary Farris?
During that interview?
Yes.
No, sir.
Not during that interview?
Not during that interview, no, sir.
Okay. Since you had searched the Toyota, what we'll call Melody's car, did you not also search Gary's car, the Mercedes?
I don't recall. Honestly, I know they were there. I listed the cars in the report, but I don't have a memory of that.
Okay. You don't recall because there's...
She's not just guilty, she's guilty AF.
You have no photographs of Gary's car. Do you recall you or anybody else taking any photograph of Gary's Mercedes?
Not in my presence that I recall, no, sir.
Okay.
These are the defense. I think this is Westbrook
All right, back to the state.
D4 that you're looking at on the screen. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I lost my pen.
Read into the record for me the customer card number. Don't worry about all the X's, just the numbers after that.
The last four digits are 0078.
You have any idea whose card that is or where it came from?
Not off the top of my head, sir, no, sir.
Any idea where the card was found during the investigation?
Do y'all see where I put my pen? I had a pen here and I lost it. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? What was I doing? Ah!
Not that I know of. Maybe I've been one of the ones in the wallet. I don't know. I have to look at my notes to see.
Look at Westbrook.
Must be awkward to admit to having an affair with someone who is in a murder trial. Yeah. Because then it's like a lot of your information is going to be dug into. They're going to look into your text messages, your emails, your phone calls, your communications, voice messages, like any cringy stuff that you may have exchanged back and forth. I don't know. Yeah. A huge invasion of privacy.
This is Harrison. And this is, there it is, Westbrook D2.
Ooh.
Can you make out on this one the last four digits on this receipt?
0078.
Where's my pen? Where did I put it?
For the record, I'm going to mark the photographs of the wallet and the cards as Westbrook 2 and Westbrook 3, 2 as evidence. And we'll mark those when I get some exhibit stickers.
Okay, so 0078, is that like a different account number than the other one? God, could he have gone back and clarified that? 0078, what's the significance of that? Is it a different account number? Oh, okay. The last four digits of the card.
Read into the record for me the customer card number. Don't worry about all the X's, just the numbers after that.
The last four digits are 0078.
Yeah.
You have any idea whose card that is or where it came from?
Not off the top of my head, sir, no, sir.
Any idea where the card was found during the investigation?
Not that I know of. Maybe I've been one of the ones in the wallet. I don't know. I have to look at my notes to see.
Look at Westbrook. This is Harrison.
Patches.
But I'm looking for one in particular.
Receipt. On.
And this is, there it is, Westbrook D2. Can you make out on this one the last four digits on this receipt?
0078.
For the record, I'm going to mark the photographs of the wallet and the cards as Westbrook 2 and Westbrook 3, 2 as evidence. And we'll mark those when I get some exhibit stickers.
Sir, I wanted to, because you had stated on cross that you were doing a victimology.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that victimology was about Gary. Okay. And because I've got kind of your report on that, it's just really just a couple paragraphs, right?
The report, yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So you went as part of that to talk to Angela Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Gary's secretary for 30
Administrative assistant, yes, sir.
Okay. How did you know to go talk to her? Who did you learn that information from?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I know that Sergeant Hands asked me to do the victimology report.
Okay.
And then somewhere in our discussions, it may have been with him and Kuykendall to go down there and interview her, but I don't remember who said that to me.
Okay. So you don't recall where you learned it, but eventually somehow you learned it and you went to go talk to her?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you also aware that Angela Phillips had moved here in 1995 along with Gary?
Yes, sir.
And Melody and the children?
Yes, sir.
Did you not think in that interview, or did you ask her about whether or not her and Gary had ever had an affair before when you interviewed?
I don't remember asking the specific question. I do remember writing in my report that there was no indication at that time that there had been an affair.
You can say that last part again?
There was no indication at that time that there had been an affair between Gary Farris and Angela Phillips.
Okay. Were you at the
Maybe it'll come up later, United.
interview where Ms. Phillips admitted that there had been some type of affair later on?
No, sir, I wasn't in that interview. I was informed that, I think, by Detective Hayes.
Okay. But you weren't informed of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the state and the defense are trying to get something at something, but I'm not too sure what.
For one moment, that Angela had anything to do with the killing?
No, sir.
Did you know whether or not that affair was at that time or way in the past?
When I was informed about it later on, I was told that she had said that they just decided at that time that it was inappropriate and they cut it off.
Was that at the time or in the past?
In the past.
But nothing makes you think she's a suspect in this, has anything to do with this, has any motive related to her whatsoever, right?
No, sir.
All right.
All right, sit down. Thanks, sir.
Thanks.
Probably for lunch.
Okay, ooh, lunchtime. That sounds delicious. Okay, back from lunch. Was that witness number 4? Okay, so recap so far. I'm going to go backwards. Should I go backwards? We'll start with the latest witness. Wait, where? Basically, just a lot of the processing of the crime scene. They all seem very... They all seem very qualified for their jobs. Yeah, everyone did things. We swapped some stuff. We got some pictures of the barn, pictures of Scott's bedroom, which is above the barn. Pictures of, I don't know, the trash can, credit cards. I'll probably do a proper recap later. Pretty much just processing the crime scene. Yeah. Everyone sounds competent. Some things like this case ends in dead ends, but both sides generally try to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah. But it makes me curious. I'm like, ooh, okay, what are we going to get at later?
Go ahead, bring him in.
All right, jury's coming in.
Tightened it back up, and I'm like, yeah. Brilliant. That was the smartest. So y'all went over to Panera and got if you go to Panera, go get your unlimited drink cup. All right.
Hey, police report, State House, Melanie Thrasher, Inspector, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from the evidence you're about to present the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Go ahead and have a seat.
Witness
State your name
5.
for the record.
Melanie Thrasher.
Spell it for us if you would, please.
MELANIETHRASHER.
What is your title at the sheriff's office?
Currently, I'm a crime scene technician.
And how long have you been doing that type of work?
I was certified in 2018, and then I went, and it was extra duty. I was also the evidence supervisor, and then in 2022, I went full-time crime scene.
All right, tell the jury if you would kind of just give a little bit more information about how, are you a post-certified officer?
No, I'm not.
So kind of did you come in from the civilian side and start working?
Yes, I did.
Just kind of give a story of how you got into it and then how your job progressed and what you actually did.
This is a second career for me. In 2012, I joined the sheriff's office. I had pursued more education, and I received a paralegal certificate. At that time, I looked for a job and found possibly needs, so any test kits, equipment, things like that.
And when you got out to the scene, what do you remember seeing when you first got out there?
It was a very bucolic setting. It was very pretty, reminiscent of where I used to work. Horses. I saw the barn across the field. Came up to the house, parked. Very nice.
It sounds so good. I just had a cinnamon roll that's super flaky like a croissant. From where? Oh, it sounds so good. I want a cinnamon roll.
Landscaped.
Were you surprised to be working a murder there?
Yes.
When you first arrived, what level or what stage were you at and what type of investigation was going on?
There were quite a few personnel there, but Rachel and I were very new, so we were tagging along behind Lieutenant Ballard and Sergeant Shaw. So we followed them to the back of the house just to do a cursory preview, and the area had been cordoned off with tape.
Did you go out to that burn pit?
Yes.
Do you remember what it was like?
It was still smoldering a little bit. I was told it was still hot. I couldn't tell you for sure who determined that, but it didn't appear to have much left that was unburned.
Was the task for the crime scene technicians, was it broken up to certain kind of divide and conquer things at the scene?
Yes.
I think Lieutenant Stewart was doing like the barn and the tractor, and then other people were at the burn pile. I think Shaw was there. What were you tasked with doing?
Once we determined that we were going to wait on a state anthropologist to come assist, I was tasked with photographing the exterior and interior of the residence, just taking overall photos.
Those are the things we're going to talk about. So you took outside photographs, is that right?
Yes.
And then at some point you went inside to help process, I think, kind of from the kitchen, the basement door to the steps?
Yes.
And then there's some, what I'm calling some blood trails and blood droppings down in the basement that you were, the stairs themselves and also in the basement floor?
Correct.
And then you help package everything and transport everything, and I believe, for the most part, I think you came back another day and collected a bunch of cartridge cases and things like that?
That was well after the time period.
But I believe like almost...
Hey, what's going on? Ricardo, thank you so much for the tier 3. Tier 3 sub. Hello, 64 watts. How are you, Ricardo? What have you been playing? What's up? What's up? It's good to see you. Damn, tier 3. Thank you so much.
A year later, a little over a year later, came back and collected some firearms, ammunition, and other things there?
Yes.
And that was on the back side of the property, is that right?
Yes, the northwest corner, I believe.
Now, did you have, I've got, I would mark the evidence, it's going to be your last name by number going through it. Do you have an opportunity to meet with me a couple times and look at all your photographs?
Yes.
And all the photographs that we went over, including photographs we'll talk about that were not at the time of the scene, but shows how the house, the furniture in the house, and then sometimes some photographs without furniture in it. In other words, things that were online that showed how the house would look with furniture and without furniture.
Yes.
So Thrasher 1 through 288. Did you have an opportunity? Are all those fair and accurate photographs?
Ooh, that's a lot of pictures. Okay, let's go look at the pictures. Dude, the house is going to look so nice.
This would be your first view of the house.
Thrasher 2, this pine tree in the middle of it, can you kind of point to the front door of the residence? Or just, is it, I'll move my mouse, is it
How many square foot is this house?
right here?
Yes.
Thrasher 3, if you're standing on that main floor, that deck that has that round part to it, is this what you would be looking at?
Yes, looking towards the barn.
Thrasher 4, what do we have here?
I believe, that's from the front door looking out.
Now this is one of those that was from online for the house.
Yes.
If I was opening that front door, this is Thrasher 5. If I'm standing
Oh, did the house go on sale afterwards?
there, looking at this photograph 5, what is in front of us here?
As you walk in the door, that's your first view, is the stairs that go up, or the stairs to upstairs.
If I was standing there and I took a step to the right, what am I going to see?
The kitchen.
If I took a step to the left, what would I see?
There's a short hallway to a guest bath, and then there's a mudroom and a laundry room.
And then those doors right there, halfway down that wall, what is that area there?
It was at the time sort of a library room.
And if I walk down that hallway to the back of the house, would I go to the master bedroom?
Yes.
6, looking back to the front door.
Correct.
7, just looking at an angle going towards the kitchen where a kitchen table is going to be. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
8, what's this here?
Looking back from the front wall of the house towards the kitchen, and then into a family room type area past the kitchen.
I was standing in this photograph as it appears, and I walk left. Would I be walking to the front door?
Yes.
Now, there's a fireplace on that far wall down there. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, going to that fireplace is standing. Is this the view you would see in 8? Excuse me. Yes, 9. Looking back.
Correct.
Wow, pretty. Oh,
Kind of moving the fireplace to my back to the left. Is this another view? So you see those other doors going out to the other side of the house.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure technically if you drive up the driveway and go through, if you could drive through the garage. That's kind of, to me, is kind of north. So you got the east side, which is the pond on, and the west side. But both sides of this house had a deck. Is that right?
Yes.
One over the pond
yeah, it was like a wraparound deck or something.
is round, the other one's not.
Correct.
Standing down this hallway with the library or study room be on my right.
Yes.
And then what's the door here to the left that's open? Where's that lead to?
That goes down to the basement.
Where this is at, I have the mouse with a hand. Did you find what you believe to be blood or blood droppings?
Yes, on the just closest to where the landing ends before you go downstairs.
I believe they're about 12 steps down. There's a landing. You turn right and 4 steps down. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell the jury what you found, what type of blood evidence or evidence you found on those steps.
It appeared to be blood that possibly was attempted to be, or someone tried to clean it up, possibly. It was very dilute looking.
And then once you got on the floor down below, is this the basement where there's a bar?
Yes.
Now, if I walked out the steps and stood off the steps, the bar was in front of you,
Yes.
and then kind of to the right is the living room area.
Yes.
This is Thrasher 13. I'm standing what I call those the American doors that kind of slide like this.
Yes.
You know, I call them the American doors. If you slide, if I'm standing in front of those doors, looking back to the steps, is the steps right here where this pointer is?
Correct.
And then this hallway, if you went down that, would that have been Gary's bedroom?
Correct.
And if you came down this hallway, it would lead to his office,
And the media room.
media room, movie room.
Yes.
Now, standing number 14, if I'm standing kind of at the steps, this is the area here that we're going to be talking about.
Yes. Had a couch and chair.
Now, this is from the internet for the house, but this is Thrasher 15. At the bottom of this photograph, what is here that I've got the pointer on?
The garage.
And then there's a mudroom and laundry room you're referring to.
Yes.
Porch, the front door here.
Correct.
Standing at the front
Wow.
door again. You turn right, goes to what area?
The kitchen area.
You turn left, comes down to I think there's a bathroom here.
Yes.
Walk down hallway. What do we have here?
The study or library.
You go up the steps and go to the second floor.
Correct.
Deck on this left side.
Oh yeah, I was like, was this property already purchased by a new homeowner? It's like, yeah, we're gonna need to come into your house with our shoes on, take a look around and everything. Yeah, I don't know how that worked, but I did hear they did go to the property to view it. I don't know if they only said on the outside or if they went in. Hi CMB, how are you doing today? Good evening. How are you doing? Definitely bigger than it first appeared at La Belle. It looks so nice. Beautiful.
If you're facing the front door, is that right?
Yes.
Deck on the right side of the big circular deck.
Yes.
Is this where the fireplace is?
Yes.
As I go with the mouse, if you're walking along that deck, you could go and there's a door here. It goes into the master bedroom.
Correct.
Say 16. This is the second floor.
Correct.
Come up the steps. You have to kind of turn around 180, and then basically on this level is there 2 main bedrooms.
Yes.
One room here, then another room, and then a bathroom. Is that right?
Correct.
Thrasher 17. When we're looking at the floor plans of the basement,
Wow, the basement is nice. Jesus.
coming down the 12 steps. You hang around and go down the floor here to the landing. Is that right?
Yes.
Walk up a little bit, and then you kind of go to the right, and there's, in this picture it says recreation room, but is this where the Farrises had the couches and things like that?
Yes, there was TV in there too.
This bedroom was where Gary's bedroom was at.
Yes.
CPAP machine was in there.
Yes.
I've been good, CMB.
Go down this
You?
hallway, hang left, there's the movie room or media room,
Yes.
and then here it says workshop. It was his office.
Correct.
French doors here.
Yes.
Go back to the living room area, the American doors or the sliding open doors here.
Yes.
And for reference, starting at the kitchen, down the steps, all the steps, and then there's going to be blood at the corner leading out to this area, you believe?
Yes.
Oh, blood here? Okay, let me mark that. I wish they would mark it on here. Got blood, kind of like that.
Not rephrase. When you come down the steps here,
Yes.
was there anything leading from this area to this area?
Yes, there were what appeared to be drops of blood.
And then this area, do you end up finding something collecting it?
Yes, there was a projectile.
18, is that just a picture of the house?
Correct.
19, another picture?
Yes.
20, front door?
Yes.
21, garage?
Yes.
22, front door again?
Yes.
23, showing the porch going around to the master bedroom?
Yes.
24, a view looking at the pond?
Correct.
25, looking back to the barn?
Yes.
26, this is looking back towards the house from over the pond, is that right?
Yes.
Horsey.
27,
Barn.
28, inside the barn?
Yes.
29, inside the main house, the walking the front door, seeing the stairs?
Yes.
30, is this a master bedroom?
Yes.
Notice the doors here that
Right.
walk out to the balcony, is that right?
Yes.
Master bathroom?
Yes.
Keep going around. This is the bedroom upstairs, the main bedroom.
Correct.
Whoa, I've always wanted one of these, like a giant window, and then have like a little like reading nook type of thing.
And what I'm calling the kids'
bench.
bedroom, the other guest bedroom upstairs.
Correct.
Hold on, this kind of reminds me of like Victoria's Secret with the pink and white stripes. You know how they have the Victoria's Secret pink line? It looks very Victoria's Secret. Your old place had one? Yeah, I want like one of those reading nooks, and then I want a breakfast nook. I think they're so cozy. Be so cool. Wife used it for pillows over like decoration.
Bathroom.
Wow. This is my idea study. Oh my gosh. So cool. The built-in wall to ceiling shelves. Beautiful. I thought about doing that for my living room. Build it in. It's pretty. I know the pink is like
Library.
Yes.
38, I guess the dining room.
ooh, not feeling that chandelier, but high ceilings. Looks nice. This is a dining room. Wow. Do they do like covers of like Southern Living or something like that? Magazines?
Yes.
39, the other dining room. 40, the other deck.
Correct.
Jesus.
41, 42, the kitchen.
Yes.
Going back down to the basement. And was this, these are pictures that were online, but was this how the house was mainly furnished when you were there?
Yes, generally speaking.
Now, for Actual 47, we're getting into photographs that you took on July 5th, 2018, is that right?
Correct.
Tell the jury what we're seeing here. So this is when you're at the scene, do you do this first or do you do other stuff first?
Typically we do a brief walkthrough just to get, information from whomever was first responders is what typically happens. So we had walked around the back first, and then I came back and started photographing once tasked to do that.
49. And what do we have down here? What type of livestock can you tell?
I think it's goats. Goats, looks like. I don't recall the goats from the time period, but they made it in my picture. So.
All right. 50. What is this?
The front door, leading to the front door.
Got the crime scene
51. You're
tape.
going to be walking, I guess, around the inside
Right.
of the house. 52, 53, 54, 55, 6, 7, 58. Now to the other side.
Yes.
59, 60. Picture of what's 61?
They had a chicken coop. It had storage too, I believe.
And then 67 is showing a walkway down to the basement area.
Yes.
Did you have information of where Gary was living in the house and where the defendant was living in the house?
I believe I was informed of that prior to going in, but I couldn't tell you exactly who may have passed that information along.
All right, 68, this is a picture of the stairs.
Yes.
This is if you walk in the front door and turn left, is this what we would see?
Yes.
And what is that down at the end? I think it's the next picture, just a bathroom?
Yes.
Now, if you're standing at the front door and you turn right, is this the view that we see in 71?
Yes.
Now, go and stand where you're at 71 and kind of look to the kitchen. Is this how the house appeared? This is the state of the house when you came on July 5th?
Correct.
Opulent, lots of stuff there, nice things.
Very nice.
73.
Oh, she got the I recognize this, like the designer brand. What are they called again? This is like the shit that you pass on to your kids. McKinsey something. These like checkered fucking pots and pans. They're cute.
Nice.
73, still the kind of kitchen area.
Yes.
More up there.
74, looking back to the front door. 78, I noticed you got a dog in the picture there.
I did.
Where? Is that a dog? Oh, barely.
79.
Oh yeah, Mackenzie Childs.
We just walked through the house. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary on the first level there?
Just the blood droplet at the top of the stairs.
Did they take pictures of the blood droplet? I haven't seen pictures.
Now we're going to move
for that
upstairs.
yet.
Of course, this will be the master bedroom.
That's on the main floor, yeah. That's the
Let me
master-
back up to Thrasher 94. We're standing at the door, looking into the master bedroom. Is that right?
Yes,
The bed in the room,
correct.
the door,
Out to the porch. Hmm.
and then going around the room back to the door.
Yes,
We're going into the bathroom now.
yes,
Now 108, are we on the back deck?
yes.
111, this is outside of the master bedroom.
Yes. Yes. It's upstairs.
Being at 115, we're going into, what room is this? We're going to be looking at?
That's sort of the mudroom. The door there leads into the garage, and then to the right is where the laundry room was. Is
So 115, that's the garage door.
yes,
If I step down off this step here, turn right, this is the washroom.
yes,
And is this to say that you found things when you took photographs?
yes,
Including what was inside that?
correct.
Did you show the droplets? Okay, I'm like, get to the droplets. Let's go.
On States 116.
The home looks nice. I get it. I'm done with the tour.
The towels or whatnot in there.
Oh, the towels.
The towels or what?
Did it smell like bleach? Because remember, the defense was saying, well, you know, you smelled bleach when you came in. Well, maybe it's possible that you smelled it from the laundry room. So I want to know, did they smell bleach in the laundry room? Because I don't think that really helps Melody Farris at all. Whether or not there was bleach and there was a laundry room nearby. Because she could be bleaching for other things, you know, removing some stains off.
Whatnot in there. 117. Door
Doggy
there.
bed.
Just in the
It
same
goes-
area. it's all
yes, yeah.
right. And State 125, where are we at now?
In the garage.
Do you know this vehicle to be any of the people involved?
I think I was told it may have been Ms. Farris's vehicle. I'm not sure.
As we go through that, just a photograph of 130. What's this a photograph of?
Wells Fargo receipts. Looks like from an ATM.
And what was the available balance there?
$11,046.85.
131, just more receipts?
Yes,
Looks like this is a receipt from a Scottsdale Farm Inc.
it's a nursery.
All right, now, these 133, we're going to head upstairs. Is that what you were doing?
Yes,
136, you're standing at the top of the stairs. Is there a bedroom to your left and a bedroom to your right and a bathroom in the front?
yes,
141, did you learn that there were some grandkids basically staying over?
I did.
So we're going to be walking while I'm calling the kids' room.
Right.
There was, what, 3 beds in this room?
Yes,
This will be on the right, I believe, and then the 2 on the left.
correct.
Do people think it was just like a heat of the moment, or do they think she planned it? Because I think it's so weird how she had essentially family over at her house. She had the grandkids over. It was a holiday. I wonder if it was just like a spur of the moment thing.
Then in this room, looking at 145, I'm just calling it Amanda room because there's a picture of Amanda on the side here as reference. And then now going downstairs to the basement, this is 151. What do we have here?
That's the movie
Whoa.
room, theater room.
It was literally a theater room.
Say that. Repeat.
Literally, it was a theater
Yes,
room
yes.
to watch movies.
Yes.
All right, now 158, what door are we looking at in this photograph?
That's to his office.
So come down the steps to the basement,
Yes.
go a little bit to the right, go down the hallway, that's going to be his office.
You would come downstairs, take an immediate right, then a left past the bar, and go to the end of the hallway.
And you took photographs just of the office, how it was.
Yes.
And this was, what date were you doing this?
It was July 5th.
Oh, used to be. Oh, hey, at least he recycled the Mountain Dew. That's why it's separated, right?
You took a picture of the broken dish there.
Thanks, Chado.
Yes.
177, standing at the office, looking back down the hallway towards the living room, if you would, in the
Yes.
bar. Down this hallway, what's going to be down here?
On the far end would have been his bedroom.
$185, what do we have here on beside Gary's bed?
It's a
CPAP.
CPAP machine.
This is 188. How long were you on the property processing everything? We went through it fairly quickly, but I imagine you were there for hours.
I arrived around 3:20 p.m. and then went past midnight. We probably left, I would guess, 1:30 in the morning, the next morning, somewhere around that time.
Long time.
Long time.
What I want to talk about now is, as we go through 189, you take a photograph and document what you believe to be blood and clean up.
Yes.
191, is there anything significant in this photograph?
Parallel, if the door were shut, there is a blood droplet right.
Oh, is that what they're talking about with like the tadpole? The defense mentioned it earlier. Could have been like a little bit of directionality in the blood drop. A little bit of a tadpole shape.
Appears to be a blood droplet right there adjacent to the door if it was in a closed position.
How did y'all find it? How did you see it?
I believe in the initial walkthrough, we were told that there was some in that area. So we were just very careful about following, proper protocol and looking very carefully before we went forward.
From this area right here, the steps at the top in the kitchen, leading down to the basement, I think 12 steps down, is that right?
Approximately, yes.
192, 193, 194. Just close up to what you believe to be blood.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if I had a
195.
tadpole mark.
Let's photograph here the steps. What is catches your attention with these?
The first step, there's just what I would consider a very diluted possible blood stain. It looks the second white pattern from the right. There's an area there that appears to be stained.
All right, so 196. What are these spots here?
Those were darker. We were not sure as to what that was, but anything we would note anything that possibly could be blood stains.
197. Looking back at a different angle. What do we have here?
Correct. The same. There's as you go down the stairs, there were similar dilute patterns and the dark stains on lots of the steps.
Okay. Are you talking about these things here?
Yeah, yes.
So this right here. What is this to you?
That it could be a attempted cleanup. It's hard to say.
And then these are the things you're saying could be blood.
Oh.
Is it consistent with blood?
Yes. I mean, it's a little bit darker than I would think, but you can't know without possibly testing.
As we go on down, you're taking closer photographs of these droppings. Is that right?
Yes. You get one shot at a crime scene, so you photograph everything you can.
All right, 205. What is this pattern here?
Similar stains, but darker.
And how would you think that was consistent with blood being cleaned up?
Possibly. Blood stain pattern analysis, different substrates, whatever the blood hits, it will react differently. So it, to me, does appear that there was attempts because it's a little bit broader than if it was just a drop.
207, same thing?
Yes.
28, same thing?
Yes.
And then 212, what do we have here?
Just more of the darker stains that we documented.
On 213, what do we see here?
If I'm standing at the bottom of the step, I am looking towards the bar, and to the right corner where the trim ends on floor, there, I believe there was a stain there. Yes.
This is 214 we're talking about right here?
Yes.
Oh, that looks like a stain. Wait, go back, sir. Looks like possible stain. The blood stains on the stairs always confuse me a bit. I have no real explanation in my mind about these. Oh, what do you mean about that?
On 234, we're coming back to the wall.
Yes.
And it's going to be a little hard to see here, but what are you picking up here?
There is a stain, a single stain, looks like from the picture approximately a foot off the wall in the middle of the picture as you have it right now.
Right here?
Yes.
So I'm talking about right here.
Correct.
237, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Is that consistent with a blood pattern?
Yes. The texture of the floor can change the pattern a little bit, but yes.
238, you're going to come back and mark these with evidence markers, is that right?
Correct.
So, but we're talking about this area of the floor?
Yes.
So as we get closer to 241, is this what drew your attention?
Yes.
Now 242, we're here at What is this thing here in the middle?
It's a floor lamp.
And what's behind it?
That would have been a chair.
And looking down at the side of the floor, what did you take a photograph of?
Just the blood stain adjacent to the floor lamp.
And then 244, another picture.
Yes.
All right. For actually 245, tell the jury why it's systematic, it's tedious.
Yes.
We talked about that. The jury knows what's going on, but you take, I guess, bare photographs and you can make a marker. Is that what you do?
Yes.
Well, why do you do that?
You want to show the scene as you found it. So before you alter it at all, you take photographs initially. And then we will go back and mark items of evidence as we find them.
Here we got Thrasher 245, this photograph. Tell us, kind of for the record, from the light itself, where that in front of the ottoman, with the marker 1, walk us through the numbering and where it's going to in the photograph.
Okay. So this is in the basement next to that floor lamp. Ahead at the end of the hall was his bedroom. To the right is the bar. So the bloodstain pattern, the drops seem to turn to the right and going, I can't say towards or away from, but the numbers follow a line that lead towards the stairs, and then up the stairs is how we numbered them.
The numbering, 1 starts on this end and 4, that is not, you're not saying 1 was here, then next. It's just,
No, I'm not.
Those are just markers.
Yes.
And you don't know if it started at 4 and came this way or started at 1 and went that way.
Correct.
You just know it is what it is.
Yes.
Looking at 1, do you get a close up here for 247?
Yes.
Tell us, describe the what you believe to be blood and the pattern. Is there anything about that from your training experience that tells you anything?
I review these extensively, and if there is a fast motion of blood falling off of something with the object or person moving, it will create a distinct pattern with what you saw, the spines that come off the drop. So typically, if it's moving quickly in one direction, the spines will all typically be in that direction. These were more broad, kind of in all directions, which would lend me to think that it was a slower motion and it probably was dropping almost straight down. As I stated before, the texture of what it's falling on affects things too.
2, same things, the same similar.
We'll be interested to see anyone else's thoughts on this after seeing the evidence. I mean, I think for the people that watched the trial, they all had, I think it was all pretty much like the same, right? Everyone thinks that Melody Farris did it, but then there are some little tiny questions here and there where it's just like, ooh, after Melody spoke, I don't know, maybe made her like, made people second guess a little bit, or maybe she was really good at gaslighting people. But I guess like what I was wondering before, can they tell how old the blood has been there? So maybe they can tell that it's blood, maybe they can see what, check for the DNA, but it's like, like if a person's lived there for 12, 14 years, I'm assuming the defense would just be like, yeah, the blood could be from somewhere else. It could be from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. But I think they specifically said the blood came from Gary being bit in the ankle and that there could have been blood droplets from that.
You want to talk?
Yes.
This is 254. What do we see with this evidence marker 2? Evidence marker 1, now evidence marker 2. Ian?
It's just multiple smaller drops. No real directionality in them.
Again, just straight down.
Seem to be, unless there's a distinct speed to it, they'll generally just look more round.
Now 3, this is evidence marker 3 or EM3.
Yes.
Anything distinctive about this one?
I've looked at that one, and as far as a height goes, that can make a difference. The higher or the more blood volume, it can cause a bigger drop. So the spine's extended further out.
You think about it being bigger than the other ones in the size relation?
Yes, so possibly more volume.
And then 4 by the corner there?
Right. Similar. It was a little bit bigger drop as well. There's a void in it. Voids can be from various things. I do know he was potentially shot in a rib. So in that, if someone is shot in a rib or shot in the respiratory system, you can also get the...
I think she's about to go outside her expertise.
Okay.
She's definitely sustained.
So when you see this spot here, is it different than other ones?
A little bit. It has a void in it.
And it is located closest to the steps, is that right?
That one was, I believe, at the other corner, the one near the hallway that went down to his bedroom.
Let me back up and see.
There's a void in
The bar here, then right here, it's just the corner here.
Yes.
260, we've got some markers here back on the steps, just showing things you saw on the steps that you thought could be consistent with blood.
Correct.
7, is that consistent with a cleanup, I guess?
Possibly, yes.
And then spots 8 and 9 up the steps,
Yes.
and 10 at the top of the steps.
Correct.
I wonder how Melody's eyesight was at the time and if her prescription was updated. I wonder if she'd like, 'cause she seems like a meticulous person. Maybe maybe her prescription wasn't like updated back then and she wasn't able to see some of these blood droplets and that's why she missed it.
I'm getting at Thrasher 279. Drawing attention now to this ottoman. Did law enforcement, was it point out to you that something was on the floor?
Yes, one of the detectives had come in, and while we were
Oh, is that where they found? Oh gosh. And it was just hanging out there on the ground? I have questions.
Yes, one of the detectives had come in, and while we were, Lieutenant Ballard and I were attending to the blood drops, they started looking through the room for he was looking for a possible projectile, and it was found there adjacent to the ottoman.
Weird. Next to ottoman, right?
You want
Projectile next to ottoman.
289. Did you collect a projectile?
Yes.
The state's, Thrasher 289, we just look at any blood or anything? Want some blood?
Sure, I'm pretty sure there's some in there last time we looked for some. Yeah. Underneath the scissors.
I got it, I just want to get to that.
All right, they're looking for some
Maybe-
gloves.
And so we'll go back through the pictures, but this was the bullet. I think the technical term is a projectile.
It was just on the ground. Could it have ricocheted off an item? Like, let's say it didn't. What material would be strong enough that would cause that ricochet?
That was found on the floor.
Correct.
And was that properly maintained and stored and then sent to the GBI for testing?
Yes.
And was that the only projectile that you found or law enforcement found in the residence?
In the residence, yes.
And is this the shape it is in and the way it looks is pretty much how it was when you collected it from the floor?
I believe it had a little more of a red substance on it, but
Right.
yes.
Oh, what's the red substance?
All right, Judge, we can go back to the.
It looks like blood, but they would have said blood, right? Is it blood?
What's that? All right, 279. Right here where I have the mouse, the cursor, is that the projectile?
Yes.
280, a closer view.
Yes.
281, even closer.
Yes.
282,
Yes.
283,
Oh my god! It was just casually just hanging out here.
and then 285.
How?
Now, in relation to where the blood from the steps to where the projectile, was it kind of like a straight angle?
Sort of. It was on the other side of the lamp and a bit under the ottoman edge. But generally speaking, you could construe that it's in the same area.
286, 87. Just another view of it. Now, at this point, when you find this, to your knowledge, had the bullet in the ribs already been found?
I would have to know. I don't believe so, but I can't remember the time frame. If I knew the metadata and the time stamp, I might give you a better idea.
But you were not involved with the outside part, just the inside?
I did assist with raking sun around the burn pile.
Now, when you go to the blood trail from the steps down to the projectile area, I think you said there were 3 cleanup areas you noted,
Yes,
and then the rest were the droplets that you noted that we've seen.
correct.
For the on the blood trail on the floor, evidence marker 1, I think, and evidence marker 2, you took swabs from those. Is that right?
Yes.
And then did you package those and send them off? Maintain those.
That's why I think she shot him. He tried to run away out the door to the back door to get away. And I wonder if, I mean, you know how there was like droplets on top of the staircase? We don't even know if the gunshot happened up there. maybe she attacked him with a different weapon, and that's why he had droplets. It was like maybe he ran to the basement. She chased after him. Apparently shot again where the bullet was just laying on the ground, but I don't know why it would just lay on the ground like that. And then maybe he ran out through the sliding doors, ran out towards near the burn pit area.
And then send them off to the GBI to be tested.
There were more swabs taken at that time. I believe there were a total of.
Because like, what if there was another bullet that shot him, but maybe went through his body, and who knows where it landed out in the woods out there, right?
They were marked EM1 to EM10,
Right.
And I believe there were a total of 18.
Right, and then I think EM1, EM2, which turns out to be GBI item 14A and 14C.
Yes, correct.
All I'm asking is, all the swabs you took, evidence marker 1, evidence marker 2, which is GBI 14A, 14C, those were sent to be tested.
Correct.
And do you know the results of that testing? We stipulate, you know they're back though, right?
Yes.
We'll get to them later on the trial.
Okay.
And you help collect those, maintain those, and then also, I think you help baggage and transport everything as we talked about, and that's pretty much what you did on that day, is that right?
Correct.
And then I believe on July 25th of 2019, about a little more than a year later, you came back, and what y'all come back to do?
There was known to be an area on the property that was used for just, I think, what I would assume would be recreational shooting targets type shooting. So we came back to look for and collect possible projectiles and or cartridge casings.
Just trying to match them up, see if you can match it to what was used in the murder?
Correct.
Y'all collect a bunch of stuff?
We did.
I mean, how much stuff did y'all collect?
I don't recall the quantity of.
But a bunch of different casings, projectiles, and things like that?
Yes.
And did you send all that to the GBI to be tested?
I don't recall, but if it's in the records, then we did.
Right, so some of the stuff you did send for testing.
Okay.
And I believe that's all you did outside of maybe helping with the burn pile, but that was really, I think, Investigator Shaw's task with that?
Yeah.
Judge, I just have one moment.
All right, here comes the
I'm not glad
defense.
right now, Farris. I'm going to go ahead and bring these up.
Defense.
You can look at these quickly and just see those are the photographs. Some of the other photographs.
UPS? No UPS.
You can look at these.
All right, she's gonna look through some pictures.
While I'm doing this, that's a lot. I'll just call you Mr. Rasher. How about that?
Okay.
First thing is, you had testified on direct that you were relatively new back in July 5th, 2018, correct?
Absolutely.
And how long had you been on the job at that point? I missed that.
I don't recall when I finished my last class, but I had probably only been to a handful of scenes prior to that one.
Okay, so only a handful. How much time do you think you had actually in the field being a crime scene tech when you arrived at Brazil?
We did a 40-hour kind of practical type thing before we were signed off, but including that, I would say 70 hours.
And that'd be total?
Probably.
Okay. So about 70 hours in the field when you got there. So when you got there, I know you said that you were kind of working under Shaw and Ballard,
Yes.
right? Who was actually in charge of the crime scene technicians on July 5th, 2008?
Due to rank, Lieutenant Ballard would have been, but Sergeant Shaw, I think they divided tasks because it was such a large property. So,
Okay, so
I'm not privy to who decided what.
Okay, so essentially both of them were in charge.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could take orders from either one of them.
Absolutely.
Okay. And who was it, Shaw or Ballard, that assigned you your duties? If you don't know, that's fine.
I believe it was Lieutenant Ballard asked me to go photograph the house.
Think it was Ballard? Mm-hmm. Okay. The first thing I want to go over with was you had walked the property originally, right? But before you started doing your photographs, things like that.
I walked around the house. I did not go to the barn.
I am gonna just forward through the part where he just reiterates the parts of her statement. Okay, let's go to the blood drops. Yes.
Okay. So the blood drop at the top of the stairs that you talked about.
Yes.
I've kind of got my, well, it would be a cursor, but now it's a hand. So it's somewhere around where the hand is clicking, right?
Yes.
And that is that solitary single drop, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you actually swab that drop?
I can't tell you for sure. I don't. From the way I remember the evidence being marked, we used the evidence markers on the property or the evidence items. So to my knowledge, I can't say yes or no, but me in particular, no, I would say. If it was, I don't know if it was ever swabbed.
Okay. You definitely didn't do it?
No.
Okay. And do you recall, because learned through this case, that, and if you're not familiar with it, just say I'm not familiar with that. They've got these, I guess they're They look like little pregnancy tests, and they kind of come up with lines or a plus, and they can use them for preliminary blood testing.
Blue Star OBTI.
Okay. Did you do that on that solitary drop?
No.
Okay. And you didn't do, since you mentioned it, you didn't do any Blue Star testing in the house at all?
I did not.
Okay. I'm going to come back to 16. So is the 46 the basement photo that you took? Yes.
That photo in particular is not.
It's not your photo.
It's not my photo.
Zillow.
Is that a photo from one of the Zillow photos, maybe?
It possibly is.
Okay. And the blanket on the ottoman, the little blue table thing here.
Yes.
All of that is in some of your photographs too.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. Okay. This is leading upstairs.
Correct.
Okay. Whose stuff is this?
I do not
It's
know.
here at the bottom.
That was a picture. That's my task, is taking pictures of the scene as I found it when I walked in.
Okay. So you don't know, this ain't yours?
That's not mine.
Okay. You don't know what it is?
No.
Okay. Now you would also, so your number 130, you had taken photos of Melody's car, right?
Yes.
The Toyota. Did you also take any photos of Gary's car?
That was the only car I took photos of.
Okay. Do you know if any of the other techs took photographs of Gary's car?
I do not recall. I don't know.
Okay. If you don't know, that's perfectly fine.
A lot of times defense asks questions to witnesses that it's not even in their job very sneaky. Yes, they'll ask questions where it'll make them look incompetent for their job. It's like, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Well, it's because usually in their job description, they don't usually do that, right? Someone else does. It takes like a very experienced and seasoned witness on the stand to identify that sometimes, and then to like answer in a way where it's like, no, I'm not incompetent. It's because it's not in my job description. I don't do that. I don't do this. I don't do X, Y, and Z.
Now, number 194, I think. So that's the blood drop at the top of the stairs,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And this is also the top of the stairs, and this will be Thrasher 195.
Okay.
So, and I'll just look all of the stairs. You didn't take any swabbings or anything from any of the suspected blood drops on the stairs.
I did not. The markers, I know the evidence was labeled EM1 to EM10.
I'll get to that when we get downstairs. But at least, let's just say that first set of 12 steps that go down to the lane.
Right.
Right. All right. You didn't take any swabs of any of that suspected blood, right?
I did not.
And there was no preliminary testing done on it either.
Not that I know of.
And to the best of your knowledge, the carpeting wasn't removed, so it could be sent off to be tested either, was it?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Let me just get... One thing here you can see in this photograph, and this is 213. See how the floor, how on this side and over here, that one could be shadowed, but it looks like the floor's kind of dusty.
Possibly. I mean, there is debris on the floor, and they have a dog.
Okay. Exactly. And how many dogs? I think Mr. Fogus had asked you. How many dogs did you see in the house?
I saw one.
Just one? Okay. $279. First off, that little dot right there where the mouse pointer is, that is the projectile, right?
Correct.
Okay. Who first told you about the projectile?
We started looking, as I stated earlier, Lieutenant Ballard and I were attending to the blood drops. Sergeant Kuykendall came in and started looking, and he was the one that found it.
Kuykendall found it?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know, did Kuykendall move that ottoman at all to find that bullet?
I don't know for sure.
I know your main task was just taking photographs, right?
Correct.
All right, and documenting everything. Did you see any blood on this chair on the right hand of stage 279?
I don't recall seeing any.
But if you would have documented it, right?
If I saw it, I would have documented it, yes.
There's no ottoman, the little end table?
Not at the time. I did not notice it at the time. The scene was held for 3 more days, and I did not go back out, so I don't know if anybody re-examined that after the fact.
Okay, I'm just talking about what you did. So you didn't see anything. Okay, and the rug, the coffee table, there's no hole for the bullet, right?
At that time, we had not noticed any.
Okay.
So I don't know what was searched after.
Okay, but at least in this photograph, there's no impact, like there's no skid marks or anything from a bullet.
Not
there's
in
no
that
hole
area.
or anything in the floor.
Not in that area.
Did you find any bullet holes in the basement?
In the time I was there, I did not.
Okay. And while I've got it, because the way that was kind of done, this, see the red tip on the projectile?
Yes.
Now, how familiar are you with projectiles?
I mean, there's so many different types of ammunition and rounds.
Well, I'm not going to ask you about that. That red, where the little hand is,
Yes.
that's not like tissue or blood or anything,
No.
right? It's actually a red powder, correct?
Right.
Okay. It's actually part of the bullet.
Yes.
Okay. I gotta, on one side, I just gotta flip through till I find. Jeff, off the top of your head, do you know where it's 1, 2, 3, 4 that photo? Here.
Oh,
there,
they
I
found
got it. There we
DNA
go.
on it?
I knew I'd get to it.
Was it
251.
Gary's?
And so, position 1 there, when you, because we use some different terms, you keep saying like EM 1 and 2, and I know what you're talking about. I'm sure you understand. You say like EM 1, we're talking about that one solitary blood drop next to the lamp, right?
Yes.
And EM 2 is what is marked on the screen right in the middle of is number 2.
Yes.
All right. Now, those 2 spots you did take swabs of.
Yes.
Okay. And those, we package those up, send them off to the crime lab.
Right.
Right. All right. 3 and 4, and then we know going around the corner or going back up the stairs where placard number 5 is. Not around here, kind of in the middle to the right, where the little hand is. That is where that number 1 blood drop was found next to the lamp, right?
Yes, a little bit forward of where you have it, but yeah, generally.
In this just general area.
Yes.
You didn't find any more blood leading to. We've had a joke about this case for a while. I think these are what we're calling the American doors, right here on the right-hand side of the photograph.
Correct.
So there wasn't any additional blood leading that way, correct? That you found.
No,
Okay. There wasn't any blood leading back to the workshop, which is where Gary's office was.
not that we found, no.
Okay. And there was no blood leading down the hallway toward Gary's bedroom.
Not that
Correct.
we found.
And then, yet again, the suspected blood that you testified about regarding the stairs was never tested.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And the blood at the top of the stairs, you don't recall if it was swab or not.
I do not.
They did find Gary's DNA. Okay.
Back out. Over a year later.
Yes.
Who sent you out there?
Okay, so she came back a year later. All right, for what?
And I believe there were several others.
Okay. And you had just collected up essentially a bunch of fragments, bullets, projectiles, and gathered them up and sent them off to the crime lab.
We used metal detectors to find them. There was also a tree that was apparently where a target was leaned up against the tree at some point in time.
What was that leaned up against the tree?
Probably a target that was,
Oh,
I
okay,
think.
yeah. So somebody told you to go and you went.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, Thrasher Defense 1, did you take this photograph? 'Cause I don't want to confuse you because, Zillow photos get mixed in with other ones.
That does not look like a photo I took, I don't think, but I can't be for sure.
Okay. But you'd agree that's the house you were in, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see that, we'll just presume that this is around July the 5th. There's nothing wrong. There's no damage or anything. You didn't note any damage in your report anywhere in the basement, right?
I don't recall any.
Okay. And number 2, that's just showing the same view, except you can see the ottoman and the table again. And yet again, you didn't find any damage in the chair or the ottoman or anything like that.
I did not.
Okay. Yet again, same thing in 3 and 4. Apparently, you have to pay money to make Adobe want to rotate pictures easily. That is not a free feature.
Pay for anything extra for that.
And this photo too. And one thing is on that coffee table that was there. There was all these candles and things like that, right?
Yes, I think there was a remote in that dish. Maybe.
That dish, and you can see there's like a vase there, got a glass or what looks like glass or ceramic lamp too. And you see that, like while you were there, you didn't see like no broken furniture or anything like that, right?
No.
Nope.
Same thing, just a different angle. Now here, this is leading to Gary's office, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's go
The
here.
photograph of the blood drop. Right. Now, did you actually? I don't mean this in a sarcastic way, but did you actually look at the floor, like going down the hall toward the workshop, toward Gary's office? Like actually going like, hey, I'm starting at 4, blood drop 3, blood drop 2, blood drop 1, blood drop. Did you keep going? Like,
Yes.
hey, I think,
Yes, we would have looked for a continued pattern.
Exactly.
Right.
So that is a logical assumption, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't find that?
No.
Okay. It stopped at 1, or began at 1,
Right.
or it may not be connected at all, right?
See if it matches anything else down there too, right?
Right.
And if you did it over and you swab that blood, it's either his blood or someone else's blood.
Right.
I guess it could be not blood, but definitely the ones that were tested, they're going to come back to wherever they are, right?
Right.
That's all I have to do.
All right, then they take a break.
We presented most of the stuff with the burn pile. He's going to be a little long, just his alone. We also had about 4 or 5 other marshals. They did a sound test where it went
I
fire.
think they dismissed the jury. Okay, so what's going on here?
We've agreed by stipulation that he can present their videos and then just read the results.
All right, that's fine.
But if we get to close to 5, I'm going to ask that he has to come back and do the marshal part tomorrow because it can be long. If that's okay with the court.
You think you got an hour and a half worth of testimony on him before cross?
He's going to be.
Or do y'all want to do that portion across and then do that other part in the morning?
We could do that because he's going to be probably longer, I would think. Than
Even the videos of that the marshal
Man, I feel like everyone in this courtroom, they're just like so super chill, super nice to each other. You know, I actually have not been hearing a lot of objections, snarky language. Yeah, because I want to hear more from the judge, but yeah, I haven't really heard any objections or anything like that. And then even the defense, they're being like, you know, super nice to the witnesses. You know, sometimes like defense attorneys, they might be a little bit snarky and like, kind of like, if they're trying to say someone's incompetent, they'll definitely, you know, be a little bit more on the attack. I feel like everyone's just like super chill right now.
offices. I mean, they're kind of anyway in their own jobs. Everything you want to do.
All right, call your next witness.
Please, of course, call Chris Shaw. Everybody right now.
Who's
He's on
next
the record.
witness?
About to the matter. So the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God. Right here. Go ahead and have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
All right, I've replaced your cursor with a large magenta arrow. You're welcome.
State your full name for the record.
My name is Christopher Michael Shaw.
Now, where do you work right in the moment?
I'm currently a police officer with the Cherokee County School District Police Department, assigned to Cherokee High School.
And what do you do at that job?
I am the main campus SRO for Cherokee High School. So I'm charged with safety and security of the main campus and all the surrounding areas of Cherokee High School.
How long have you been doing that?
I'm in my 3rd school year.
And prior to that, did you work for the sheriff's office?
I did. I was employed with the Cherokee Sheriff's Office for 15 years.
When did you go to the academy to become post certified?
In 2003.
Tell us if you would, starting with where'd you go to the academy?
I went to North Central Law Enforcement Academy at Treadmill Mall.
And after you graduated from that, where'd you go?
The Holly Springs Police Department, where I completed FTO and was assigned to uniform patrol.
And how long did you do patrol?
I did patrol at Holly Springs for a year. Then I went to the Woodstock Police Department, where I was employed for 4 years. I was a canine officer and a member of the A-10 Traffic Enforcement Network and assigned to uniform patrol. In July of 2007, I went to the Cherokee Sheriff's Office, where I was first assigned to the Waleska Precinct, and then to the Bridgeville Precinct. And in 2008, I was selected. I got out there about midnight.
Okay, so we got another crime scene. He did crime scene stuff back then.
Afternoonish, sometime between 3 and 4, I believe.
I got about 15:33 here on my notes, so about 3:30, give or take. And when you got out there, what do you remember when you first arrived?
So I remember we went down a long driveway. My deputies had parts of the driveway secured off. We had some detectives there, and I was just told, hey, we have a pile here to the left side of the house we need you to go look at. The detectives really didn't have a firm idea of what was going on at that moment. And I said, sure, we'll walk out there and see what we got.
Doing good. How are you, lady? I'm getting hungry, though. I'm getting hungry, waiting for my package. I tried Marvel Rivals. You might like it, lady. It's like just like Overwatch.
3. You follow the pointer here. Can you see that pointer?
Yes, I can see the pointer.
When you go up the driveway here, you're talking about you came up, and then right here would be the garage and the house. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You got the
All
doors
right,
on the left and what's called American doors.
Going over the property. I mean, we've already done this. I'm just gonna kind of
To the right, the French doors, and then it just keeps turning to the right. The burn pile will be back down that way. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's free. I played it yesterday with Jan and Ginny.
What did you
call the pile? We have this burn pit. I can still feel heat radiating off of it, and I can see what appears to be a set of skeletal remains sitting on top of this pile. There appears to be construction debris and all this other miscellaneous garbage in this pile, but it's very clear to me that I was looking at a set of skeletal remains on the left side. I immediately got everybody to back out, and then started to request additional assets as I'm starting to size up my scene and determine how I'm going to try and recover these remains in a forensic manner. One of the things that I did request was have one of the fire investigators someone come out with thermal to give me a temperature. When they were finally able to get out, there was still over 200 degrees Fahrenheit, with daylight still up at that time.
So still hot.
Still hot.
You back everybody out, then what happens from there?
I requested through my chain of command to contact the GBI and the forensic anthropologist, Dr. Alice Gooding, to get her to come out and assist us with recovering the set of skeletal remains.
And why did you call Dr. Gooding? What was about her that made you call her?
Well, one, she's the state forensic anthropologist. This is definitely well inside her wheelhouse. And two, I'd never done this outside of a training environment. I did not know what I had. I know I had a set of skeletal remains on a pile. It was radiating heat at over 200 degrees. I don't know how this person got there, how they got to the state. And I'm not so far in my ego to go, I can do this on my own without calling experts who I know are going to, one, help teach me how to properly document this, but to ensure that we properly document and collect this entire set of remains. And for me, that's important because that person has a family. I want to make sure we're doing our absolute best to ensure that we do this correct, because we only have one chance to do this. And so if I can call help, and that help is here in our state, I'm going to use it.
Have you ever had a crime scene like this before?
I've never worked a crime scene like this. I have worked burned 2 self-immolations in my career, and that's suicide by fire. I have worked those, but never one to this scope where I have both fire and skeletonized remains in an area that I know I need to properly document and recover.
Did you know of Dr. Gooding's reputation or anything, or what was it about her that as you know that she does this type of stuff?
So through our crime scene community, we knew that Dr. Gooding, one, was in charge of the crime scene work at KSU. She's the lead instructor down there. She has been going in with the Georgia Public Safety Training Center and starting to teach similar classes that students would get at the NFA here at the local level for our local crime scene investigators. And a lot of the classes that she had been teaching and that we had been pushing are scattered recovery remains and what we call buried recovery remains. She was able to teach those classes at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center down in Monroe County. She, myself, and my lieutenant again is starting to come back to us as we're laying certain lines to start setting up our recovery. But ultimately,
So I think this is where we start seeing pictures of the remains and then the burn pit.
because she's the state forensic anthropologist,
see it here.
I let her take lead on it. That's her purview because she's also going to catalog those remains. She's going to make sure we document the complete skeleton, and she's going to make her notes because she's going to produce a report for us too because this is a police investigation.
Growing up, I like to watch things like Indiana Jones, and when they would go to a site, and they would be systematic and have little brushes, little picks, and things like that. How would you describe Dr. Gooding's system as she would get in and start doing stuff? What was that like?
What you do see in that is actually real. Had this been a buried, we would have had a 5-gallon bucket, and it would have taken several hours to do this. But we have our lines laid, and everything's broken down into grids, and we don't move from one grid to another until she says it's clear, and she's got her catalog going. And so it's very systematic. It's fast, but it's slow, where we can make sure we're accurately documenting everything.
She would take the burn pit, and she divide it into 4 quadrants or 4 sections.
Yes.
And how would you rope it off, or what were we going to see in the photographs?
So what we do is we start to lay what we call a datum line. That's our north-south line. So you're going to see orange string, and you're going to see it broken into quadrants, and you're going to see arrows indicating north. And what we're doing is we're trying to express in 2 dimensions something that is 3-dimensional. So when we attack a scene like this, we're looking at it on 3 axes.
Exhibits, but it's Shaw 1 through Shaw 281. Correct?
All right, we got some pictures.
They should pop up over here. Judge, may we turn down the lights a little bit for these? Would that be okay? All right, we're going to walk through some photographs. They call them States 1 or Shaw 1 or 1, but all these photographs are going to have your name and a number. So Shaw 1, what do we have here?
So with this first series of photographs, all I'm doing is taking overall photographs outside of the crime scene tape.
As you look at 1, as you look at the photograph, there's a pine tree to the right, and is that the beginning of the burn pile?
So this oak right
no-
here, that is
Okay.
is directly in front of the left side of the pile.
I think I heard, did one of the brothers take all day to testify?
And that pile extends from that tree over to the right.
How early on is this in the processing the scene?
I'm waiting for Dr. Gooding to arrive, but I'm still taking pictures, trying to do something to be ahead so that when she arrives, we can tackle the next task.
But you didn't dive into the pile and start doing anything until she arrived?
No, sir.
Arrived on the scene. 5, 6. And was there anything with the pile itself when you first got there that you noticed and thought, here are some things of interest?
Other than the skeletal remains, I, for whatever reason, kept getting the smell of citronella, and I don't know why. And it's not a normal smell for me at a death investigation. I mean, I generally smell other smells related to the artifact of death, but I kept smelling citronella, and I was like, did I smell
Citronella?
some when I was filling mine at my house? I don't know, but I just every now and again as I walked around the pile, I could just smell that.
8, 9, just going back.
Were there like citronella plants nearby? Did she try to dump some cleaning scents in there to cover up the burned flesh smell?
Now, 13, this is looking from one side of the pile, and you
Jesus.
said it was still hot to the touch. Was it only one side or certain parts of it that were that way?
So I didn't walk all the way around. When I got close to it, most of it, I stick my hand, I was like, that's still radiating some pretty good heat. And I own firefighter rated boots because I do sometimes have to go into arson scenes. And I wasn't willing to walk close to that in those boots. I was like, let me see what the actual temperature is. 1, I wanted it to be safe, and 2, I needed to document it because it was still radiating quite a bit of heat for this condition.
And how can you compare that? How hot is that for 72 degrees?
We boil water at 212. We can get scalding burns, I believe, between 110 and 160. That's hot enough for me to go, I'm not willing to melt polyester to my skin, and I'm not willing to risk the firefighter rating of these boots. We get an expert out here, see what the temperature is, and see how long we need to wait before we can actually work.
Shaw 14, as I zoom in, what did you notice first when you got the pile?
So this one, I'm on the left side, and I'm shooting over. I can see what appears to be part of a hand. At the time, what I think is a hand. I see what appears to be part of the rib cage, and I'm starting to orient myself. I see parts of different degrees of what I believe are temperature variations. So when we look at something, we say clothing initially blocks heat.
I didn't even see the hand until he said that.
It won't burn evenly. But that's what I'm seeing in my head, and I'm trying to figure this out, but I see that it's compact too. And I'm like, okay, is this someone who's fallen over? Because I don't see what we would traditionally think of as a full skeleton of a human being. So did someone fall over? Did someone experience some sort of issue that caused them to fall here? All these are running through my head as I'm taking these pictures, trying to process this and think of next steps to go. How am I going to document this, and what am I going to look for?
And at this time, you didn't know anything about a bullet in the ribs or anything like that?
No, sir.
15, 16, 17, now we're getting on to 18. And who do we have in this picture? What's going on?
So these are examinations. So we're marking flags, and you start to see wooden stakes go down for our datum lines. And then we have master's candidates and the deputy coroners in helping to rake and clear while we're taking pictures.
And as you look at the exhibit, Shaw 18, the photograph, I've got the cursor here. It appears that on the right side, there's an angle or it slopes down or goes downhill to the left. Is that right?
Yes.
20 is kind of showing the angle that downhill looking up. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, on the outside of the fire pit, there appears to be that wood and things that are charred but not burned.
Yes.
Maybe some vegetation.
Correct.
23, we start to get markers. Now the A, I know that's going to be renumbered at some point, but what are we doing here in 24? What's it showing?
We are starting to build our quadrants. So we're laying down our north-south line and our east-west. We're also, we have angle indicators on those lines so that if we need to run a tape measure across at one point, we can see what that angle is at that measurement point. So we run the lines and then run the tape. We have our 4 quadrants, but the lines aren't completely square, and we keep it within our boundaries of where we see evidentiary goodies.
And we're going to get into this, but I believe quadrant goes top on the right side, A, B, C, D, kind of going in this direction, clockwise.
Yes, I believe we went clockwise that night.
And you see B in
Oh
Shaw
my
30
gosh.
photograph. And then there are some flags that are put down with those to indicate things that you just see on the top.
Items of evidence on the top.
Jesus.
Here shows the Shaw 32 shows the 4 quadrants.
Correct.
So this is A, B, C, D. And most of the evidence, the remains were found in A and B. Is that?
In A and B.
When you were there, did you look for any accelerants?
I did not.
Did you find any? Haven't seen gasoline cans or gasoline containers, anything like that?
I did not find any in the area of the pile.
You and Shaw 51 we're going to go into. Tell us again, how would you attack each to remove things and collect things? What would you actually do? Did you use a shovel, hands? What did you go down? How did you pick stuff up? How did you sift through it?
So we start with our hands first. It's almost tactile sense. So we're going to start in our quadrant. Someone's writing down. We'll start with the large items that we can see and identify, and then from there we will start to grab shovels and trowels to pick up areas of ash and debris to go over to the sifter. And those will be transferred from a specific quadrant, being documented by the scribe there, and then put in a bucket from there, taken to the sifter. The sifter is placed over the blue tarps, something that will contrast with us, and then it's one bucket at a time. We'll sift it, look through the sifter, empty the tarp, back into the bucket, check the sifter, make sure we don't have anything catalog, document that, and then we just keep rinsing and repeating as we go through these buckets. So everything starts to slow down at that point once we've removed big items that we can readily see and identify.
When you found an item of interest, what would you do with it? Is there
So
Dr. Gooding who laid
it's-
out, or what she do?
There's laid out on tarps. However, Dr. Gooding wants to do that. Like I said at the beginning, she's kind of running that. I'm just making sure, one, I'm learning, and two, anything that she needs. But she's running that process. But she's laying stuff out on tarps. She's cataloging the skeletal remains as they're removed, checking on this. I get to do the manual labor. I was sifting some stuff. We're also continuing to
Yeah, this really paints the picture for the jury.
can make sure that we don't miss anything within that specific quadrant. Once we're done with that quadrant, we move on.
In Shaw 55, we have these. You can see the ground has markings on it. Was that how that was, or is that
I
something?
think the state does a really good job at showing these pictures like early on, instead of just like, I don't know. It's like when you're talking about something, it's really helpful to have visuals for people.
That's from us raking.
Did you notice around the burn pile itself was
It
any
shows
sign
how gruesome this is.
of raking or a tractor had been used for something to clear the land?
No, not around that, because the area on the edge of the burn pile was still green with vegetation.
Yeah, but did you see that was evidence that tractor or RTV was in that area?
Not during this point of the investigation.
It says 57. What's going on here? Is this just an example
We're
of what?
examining small bone fragments.
58. What is just scooping buckets? Is that how that would work?
Yep, we're troweling using a dustpan. We're troweling into the bucket. Once we're satisfied with that, it goes to the sifter. We sift it. Again, we look for small bone fragments, items of evidence, pieces of clothing, and lay those out.
Charles, 62, what is this?
That is a picture of our sifter, one of the buckets that we sifted.
You
Jesus.
sift, and then the bigger piece will remain on top like this?
Yes, sir. And then we'll go through those with the forensic anthropologist, the master's candidate. We'll pick out the bone fragments. Those will get cataloged. Pieces of construction debris will be examined. If it's not of any evidentiary value, it's returned to another area. Items of evidentiary value are set aside to be cataloged later.
Up to this time in your career, have you been responding to scenes where a person's body, whether it's alive or dead, a person's body has been greatly demolished, cut up, hurt, broken, otherwise lost injuries? How many of those have you been to?
I've been to several hundred of those.
And have you seen bones and things like that? Could you recognize certain type of bones, or was the experts able to recognize it much quicker?
They're able to recognize them much quicker, but that's part of my NFA training is a week of anthropology. And I was called many times upon my return by detectives from all over the county. Hey, we found this bone. You know, Fido brought this bone up to the house. Can you look at it? And I had books that I would carry with me to help me identify the difference between animal and human.
Have you worked shootings where people have been shot, actually shot?
Yes, sir.
You ever seen anybody get shot and still be able to move or walk a distance?
Oh, yes, sir.
Like what?
One of the last cases I worked, the shooting victim went 125 feet before he collapsed. He was shot inside a home, collapsed on the street after traversing an outer porch, down a set of stairs, across a very large front yard, until he collapsed in the street.
Have you seen people that have been shot, and even after they've been shot, be able to go a distance or move on their own?
Yes, sir.
How about blood? You see people, different levels of when people are shot, and how much blood is there?
That depends on the projectile type, where the person was shot. Did it hit a major artery? Did it hit a bunch of muscle? Did it hit, bone and deflect somewhere? That really depends. And then what were they wearing? Is it wintertime? Are they wearing several layers, or are they wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt?
So different amount of blood, even though people have been shot. You seen that?
Yes, sir.
63, just a sifting again?
Yes, sir.
64,
Still sifting, looking for small.
65.
Same.
And then 66, what are we doing here?
We are at what we call the bottom. We have now hit earth. So we have recovered all of the burned material, whatever that may be. And so we will scrape another layer just to ensure that we've not missed anything. So we try to go to earth and then scrape a layer.
You see the photographs that it's daylight and it's nighttime. How long were you out there?
I believe I watched the sun go down and come back up that particular day. 4 or 5 a.m. is when I finally left the first full cycle of work.
Painstaking process, slow and tedious.
Yes, sir.
67, what are we doing here?
We are running our metal detector. We want to make sure we don't leave anything.
Did you find any blood at this thing on the burn pile?
No, sir.
As I go through these, this is the blue tarp photographs. What are we doing here?
So we're just documenting stuff that we found within those quadrants.
Now we'll get into these. What are this, Shaw 83, what are these photographs of?
These are photographs of the skeletal remains that were recovered.
Jeez.
At some point during the investigation, there was something found in the rib. Do you remember when that happened?
Yes, I believe it was well after midnight when I was made aware that something had been discovered lodged in the rib cage.
All right, we finally got the time, y'all. Midnight. Bullet in rib cage.
.138. Did you remember how it was described by people that seen what was found? How they refer to it as?
I don't remember I don't remember if they said it looked like an eraser or I don't remember what exactly they came and told me. I do remember they said, "Hey, we found something. You have to come look at this now." I said, "Okay."
What happened from there when that was found?
So I walked back down to the pile where they're working. Dr. Gooding and her team are still working. Investigator Olenek, who was taking my picture, says, "Sarge, here you go." And I went, "That looks like a projectile. Everybody stop what you're doing right now." I had to explain to Dr. Gooding, "Ma'am, I need you to stop for a moment." Everybody stopped. I went and got one of the detectives. I believe I went and got Lieutenant Clark, but I know I let Lieutenant Ballard in and know. Say, "Hey, we've got a projectile." We also had to stop and let the coroner know at this point because now we've just changed our dynamics of our investigation. And so we had to take a hard pause while the detectives figured out their next steps. And so I had to wait for them until we could get back to work on what we were doing.
You were investigating a death.
Correct.
But now you're investigating possibly a murder. Is that shifted?
Yes.
Did you find any gun? So if it's a suicide, you respond to a suicide. What do you look for?
The same things I look for in a homicide. We'll try to look for defect. I'm looking for angle of entry, back spatter. A gun location doesn't necessarily mean anything to me because I've had suicide victims do weird things with guns. A note. Sometimes I find them, sometimes I don't. But I know in a relatively short amount of time if I'm working with a suicide or if I'm working with something else. This case was unique because
They get more detail with the ME, but she doesn't come in until much later in the trial. I mean, we already kind of have like a visual of everything. Jesus.
yes, we had a projectile, but it was still in a set of burned remains. So the best thing to do was to stop and get everybody on the same sheet of music at this point.
Oh my God, so sad.
Shaw 166. What? Do you remember finding this?
Yes,
Seeing this?
I remember seeing that.
Now, came back out at some point and we're working the scene, but there's a photograph taken of a tire mark in Shaw 174. And in relation to where everything is at, in Shaw 174, when you look at these tire marks, what is at the top of the picture?
That's the pond they have on their property in between the main house and their pastures and their barn out to the far.
I wish we had another camera that just shows Melody. I mean, I'm assuming she's probably just like stone faced the entire time. No reaction whatsoever.
Right.
This is 177, and the pattern there has a unique pattern. We're going to look at this pattern on the tires in RTV later on. And then I believe there was a dive done to look for the gun in the pond.
Yes, sir.
Were you there for that?
Yes, sir, I was.
After you were in work the burn pile, you actually did some other things while you were at the scene. So were you able to go home on, so July 5th, Thursday, you probably worked into Friday morning, July 6th. Did you able to go get some sleep, or did you come back? What did you do?
I think there was 2 or 3 hours where I was released and then came back
When you came
Friday,
back,
finished the pile. Cherokee Fire Search and Rescue was in the pond. We completely sifted the pile. We also did line searches of the area behind the pile while the detectives were inside the house doing their searches.
So 170, let me look at someone. Let me jump. I'm going to come back to it. It looks like you came also back on July 11th, and you were working with Ballard to process some scene, some of the scene, I believe, or was,
Yes, so those days started to run together,
Okay.
but I was out there for everything that I have.
and we're going to get to the photographs here, but to July 6th, looked like you came out and there was a blood stain that you thought some interest on the front door on the floor.
Yes, while we were still working the pile and I had the fire investigator was collecting some items, I was asked to go in and assist CSI Thrasher and CSI Eckert with some stains that they had located. My command asked me to give it a second look and do some documentation and some field testing.
And then you, there was one stain, there was actually a window, and there's 4 things that you looked at, but looks like you field tested the stain positions number 1 and 3. Do you remember doing that?
Yes.
And then, I guess they were tested for mammalian blood using an OBITS test?
Hexagon OBTIS test.
OBTIS, okay. And did stain number 1, was that positive for?
Oh, the deer camera. Okay, let's get to the deer camera because they're just going over what he did. I think the deer camera is the footage that the defense was talking about how it got deleted. But they did say they recovered it though. And I'm assuming it didn't show anything.
I believe found a deer camera near the burn pile?
Yes, while we were doing our walks, I saw a trail cam sitting on a trail leading behind the pile to the left down a well-worn path, and it was walking a ranch fence.
What do you mean by that?
You know, the post fence with the wire to keep cattle or horses separate. I call it a ranch fence.
And did you collect that and SIM card and things like that from the camera?
Yes, I did.
I believe on July 11th, 2019, you came back again, and this is where you were helping. Well, I guess this was at the sheriff's office. Y'all took some items back, and you helped Lieutenant Ballard process the shirt that we're looking at.
Yes.
I think the shirt was originally found in the house as we're looking at Shaw 178. Is this that maroon shirt that we're talking about?
It is.
And then I believe for the sleeve, at some point y'all took that and had it sent off to the GBI. Is that right?
I did not do any further processing after what I did in the lab. I know we did note some stains and let the detective know there was some stuff there that could be sent off.
Right.
I don't recall if it was.
We stipulated to the report, so items were sent to the GBI and tested.
Oh, yes, sir.
188. This is a picture on the thing on the front of the shirt. What did that look like to you?
To me, at first breath, it looked like a scorch mark.
Consistent with soot or something from fire?
To me, it just looked like a scorch mark. It was something that was important enough for me to document. So I wanted to make sure that my case detective knew, hey, this is here.
Right. And then there was an OBTI test done on the shirt for blood. And what is this? It looks like a protesting test, but that's what this is.
This is and this was done at the house. This is in our lab. So what you see is the testing vessel of the hexagon test. It uses a cotton swab and a liquid in the test kit. You will swab the suspected blood stain, collect that on that swab, and then you'll clip it off into the fluid
What did they have the deer camera for? Is it like for hunting, or did they want to make sure the deers weren't messing with their yard? What was the camera for?
The phenolphthalein style solution. Give it a good shake, count, and then you'll break off an end. You'll pour it into the area marked S, it's that trough, and then you wait. And so the first line you'll see is the control. That tells you, hey, the test is working correctly. The second line.
House, 2 pair of Nike shoes, is that right? That's what we have here.
Correct.
And then the ones here, these blue Nike. And did y'all notice things on these?
I saw what appeared to be some suspected blood stains on the shoes that I wanted to test.
And is that what this OBTI test is here?
Yes, we did one at the scene, and then we did some more follow-up in the lab.
Oh, that looks like blood, possibly.
Now, the Shaw 211, when you came back, I believe it's 7th. Check my notes.
For
6th,
hunting?
the next
Okay.
exit, July 6th. This is the front door here, so as we're
Oh my God, look at this family picture right here. Oh God, the seating positions.
standing here looking towards the kitchen table area. We're talking about this area on the floor here, is that right?
Yes.
Shaw 215, is this the spot we're talking about?
Yes.
That was 1, and that was tested positive for blood.
Yes.
Again, going back, I believe the 11th, y'all bring it,
Yes.
Wait, what spot was that?
and that was tested.
Is this a spot that we looked at earlier, or is this a new spot? Looks a little bit different.
Positive for blood.
Yes.
Again, going back, I believe the 11th, y'all bring evidence back to the sheriff's office, and we're going to be processing some evidence here. Where is this actually at the sheriff's office?
So this is at our headquarters building in the old section of our jail at 498 Chatton Drive. We have the bottom section, which was our old staff dining, that we converted into our lab.
Again, the shirt. What do we have here?
And so I've put this shirt under an alternate light source. I'm just looking at it.
This is 232 for the record, sorry.
I'm looking at it under UV light. UV blood is the only liquid in the body that doesn't fluoresce under UV light. It's going to turn brown. All I'm using this for is to help locate and verify what I'm seeing in the natural light is a location that I need to pay attention with when I take pictures or do any field presumptive testing.
And brought the shoes back too?
Yes.
And then you and Lieutenant Ballard processed, I believe, the RTV, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And swabs were taken from, looks like the RTV, the L2 shifter, the shifter up here on the steering wheel, I believe. The swab was taken from there, GBI item 25B, and that was taken and sent off to the GBI. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then also y'all tried to look at and process the Kubota, is that right?
Yes.
And I noticed the tire marks on the Kubota tractor. And
That's all
this
good. I understand
type
what
of
you
tractor, is it one of those kind of easy to drive? You press forward, goes forward, press back, goes backwards? Here.
So we're looking at a chemoluminescence reaction with the application of Blue Star onto the hood of the tractor closest to the fuel filling station.
Looks like something in 264 is blue here, as I point to it, and blue below it here. What is that? And some blue over here.
And that's an indication of blood.
Could it be something else?
There are instances of false positives with Blue Star. However, when we see those, we'll see those pop like fireworks and then fade away very quickly. Blue Star lasts longer in its chemoluminescence than the other chemoluminescence that we would use. And so not only is it glowing, but you can see where it's attached itself to any trails of blood as it runs. So we know this to not be a false positive. It's an indicator that there could potentially be blood there.
Is your reputation as a crime scene investigator is it important to you?
It's very important.
If somebody, not that they would do this, but if someone's there and just says, take us, now you're not going to just, now we've got some photographs here going through the RTV. Now, as we get into them, this is 268, we get into things that we're going to try to do something. All right, if you would, Judge, with your permission, I'd like him to step down and actually show how we do these. But this is 268-1. This is 268. Can you see it very clearly? Looks like just darkness, doesn't it?
Yes, but I can see it because I'm attuned to it. But yes, it is a dark picture. When we shoot Blue Star, it has to be dark.
Now, this is 268.1, which is the same thing. If you don't mind, come down here and show the jury how you can use the shading to make it pop.
You want to drive with the mouse?
Yeah, I'm going to let him drive.
I have a free office, and so for shooting an altered exposure, contrast are right until these sliders, so helping to the original image. And then we'll take our contrast negative to get it to come up, those photographs to bring it up. And I know
Oh God, we're in Lightroom.
your screen you can't really see, but there is.
I want to try to do something remote. My screen looks completely different.
Yes, sir. It probably has to deal with the tie-in, but I assure you that there is a change on a computer screen where we can then save it as a copy. And so in this instance where you see parentheses and a number, that is a saved copy. And then we can further explore that inside our metadata and make sure that we haven't altered an image. But that's how we do that in the Windows program.
I think if you have a seat, I'll go through that, and I'm going to cancel it because I'm not going to save this one.
See when we come back, when I want to test the settings with a monitor and see if I can adjust it and share that in more next time.
Yes, sir.
So 268, and then before trial, you were able to get with one of our investigators and adjust it. Is that right?
That is correct.
So this is 268.1, which is the adjusted, and what do we see here?
The chemoluminescent reaction of the blue star on the towel that we located in the back of the RTV.
And what is that indication of what it could be, possibly?
An indicator of possibility of blood.
269, what do we see here at the bottom?
Chemoluminescence reaction.
And 269.1 with the adjustment, same thing?
Same thing.
270, kind of right here. 270.1, is that adjusted?
Yes.
Oh wait, hold on, sorry. You like sort of see it. Okay. Like a very tiny bit. Okay.
What do we see here at the bottom?
Chemoluminescence reaction.
And 269.1 with the adjustment, same thing?
Same thing.
270, kind of right here. 270.1, is that adjusted?
Yes, sir.
So let's see if the so this is 270, and you just adjust the light. Is that what you would do?
Yes, sir.
So as I go with brightness to the left, it gets dark. If I zoom over, you actually can see it.
Yes, sir.
And then, so it takes a dark picture. When blue star on it, you're better able to actually see.
Yeah, I was thinking more maybe like he fell over somewhere outside. Because if it was inside, they probably would have detected a large puddle of blood somewhere, right? Instead of having these little driplets. Yeah, I'm thinking he fell outside. I'm thinking he fell outside, and then she used some tools, some equipment, some tractors, RTV, whatever the fuck it was, to eventually drag him out into the burn pile.
See it pop, is that right?
We're able to see the chemoluminescence reaction.
And basically what I just did there is what you do with these photographs.
Yes, sir.
270, 270.1, same thing, adjusted, unadjusted, adjusted.
Correct.
271, 271.1, 272, 272.1, 73.
Man, he's going over this pictures like.
He has some process the RTV, the tractor, the shoes, the shirt, the floor in the house. And she also assisted with some other things in the case. Did you go back out when they were went back out? I think about a year later, looked for some casings on the property or some. There was a shooting range or something like that on the property. Did you go back out and help with that?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what y'all were doing there. What were you trying to do?
We went back out a year later. We flew the drone footage. We did some decibel meter testing, and there was an area on the lower, I believe it was the right side. It was down a pretty steep embankment where they had an old tree that they were using for target practice, as folks do out in that part of the county. So I went out there looking for projectiles to see if I could locate a projectile that I could send to the crime lab to possibly match to the two projectiles that were located that night at the scene.
And did y'all collect casings, bullets, things like that, and bring it back, and some of that was sent to the GBI?
Yes, sir.
Melody defense seems like you can't explain it out minute by minute, so I'm not guilty. Was I there? Yes, I was there the entire time. Yeah. Yeah. I think when I heard the jury interview, they're like, I mean, she said she was there the entire time. No one else really had the opportunity, and apparently Scott had a his alibi might have been pretty solid.
I think we won't get into it tomorrow, but did you also come back out on July 18th? I believe
We'll see.
so that year or the next year, I think it was the same year, and do with the marshal's office actually do some sound testing.
That was July 18th of 2019.
2019. About a year later, I believe, and then y'all came back out and had some equipment to actually do a test fire and then measure the loudness of those gunshots. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to stop here, Judge. I'm not going to go into the test fire until tomorrow probably. I'm just going to, can I tender it to them for their cross?
On this portion for now.
I think it would be easier for me to do it all at once if that's okay with the law.
Let's do something for. Yeah, let's try to split it up into what he's testified about now, and then we can cover this stuff tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, turn the lights. You need the photographs, or turn the lights back up.
Oh, please turn. Definitely, is it, because I know you're with the campus police now, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it sergeant still?
All right, so
or
we're going to do a little bit of cross-examination. I guess a little bit back a direct examination tomorrow.
Officer.
just Officer Shaw?
Yes, sir.
Officer Shaw, my name's Michael. I'm representing Ms. Farris. Let's find it logical. Okay, let's start here. So, from what I gathered from Mr. Fogus, going over all of your experience, was you're state certified in crime scene investigation, right?
Yes, sir.
You also attended the national. You were still out at the burn pile around midnight, and you found a bullet in the rib around that time, after midnight.
I believe exactly. Yes, sir.
All right. Now, we heard from Sergeant Westbrook. He's the one that actually noticed the bullet first.
Okay.
Not okay. Is that correct or not correct?
Well, if he noticed it first, then that's correct.
Okay. Well, wouldn't he have notified you if he found it first? I guess here's my question: who found the bullet in the rib?
I was notified by Investigator Olenek.
Investigator who?
Olenek.
Olenek.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So he told you, and then that's when you would have called Lieutenant Ballard, or somebody.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that would have been presumably into July the 5th.
Into the 6th, I believe. We were out there on the 5th.
Oh, yeah, you came on the 5th. So it went to the 6th, yes. All right. Okay. And you left at some point because you came back on the 6th.
Yes.
How did, because this is your crime scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was the crime scene secured overnight? Because I'm assuming not everybody stayed out there all night long.
That is correct. So my crime scene vehicle stayed out there. The sheriff's office, we stationed deputies at the entry point onto the property with the crime scene log.
Okay, with the crime scene log on 24 hours a day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Saw the body, made the determination, got the approval that Dr. Gooding showed up.
Probably about 2.5 hours.
Okay. Is it during that period of time, because you testified earlier that the fire was so hot when you got there that you didn't feel comfortable working in it, right?
Correct.
All right. So did it cool off in that 2.5 hours to be a comfortable temperature for you to work in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What temperature did you let the fire get down to before you started working?
I don't recall if we measured it when I went into it. I know it was comfortable enough that we all made a determination we were going to start working.
Okay. Oh, it was measured by Shane Daniels, right?
Yes, sir.
With Cherokee Fire Investigator?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you were out at the scene or at the burn pile, you're looking at the remains. At any point, did you touch any of the remains? Did you disturb any of the remains?
I did not.
Did any of the other investigators, as far as you know, touch or disturb any of the remains?
From the time I arrived on the scene, no one touched the remains until Dr. Gooding arrived.
Okay. So if Dr. Gooding comes and testifies, and she was like, this is where we found this, this is where we found this, this is where we found this, then that is where it was, at least when you got there.
That is correct.
Okay. Have you heard anything about anybody moving anything around prior to you getting there?
I was not made aware of anything.
Okay.
Oh, citronella.
You had talked about this citronella smell and that you kept smelling around the burn pile, right?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody else, to your knowledge, ever say that?
I didn't hear anybody say it, no, sir. It was my observation.
Did you put it in your report?
I believe it was in my report.
Okay. You also you did note in your report that Shane Daniels had taken samples from the burn pile.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know whether or not those were ever tested for any type of accelerant or anything?
I believe they were sent off. Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that come back that you're aware of? The results of that?
I believe no accelerants came back.
Okay. You also, or do you know that Ms. Farris tested her hands for accelerants and that she was negative for accelerants? Did you know that?
If it was mentioned to me, then yes, but I know he did his fire investigator duty.
They get annoying as fuck eventually. That's how you can tell they're really doing their jobs, maybe?
He's while at the scene.
Okay. So, best you know, there's no accelerants, right?
Correct.
Correct. Oh. Now, you observed no blood at the burn pile, correct?
Correct.
Now let me pull this, because this is a kind of a tricky picture. Back, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. And so, going from the house down to the burn pile, it's somewhat sloped, right?
Correct.
So you didn't observe any blood going from the house down to the burn pile, right?
I did not know, sir.
Okay. And you didn't observe any blood anywhere around the burn pile, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, no blood.
Okay. So that is what you had originally referred to, or some of the investigators referred to as the eraser.
Yes,
That
sir.
looked like an eraser. All right. When that was taken, did Dr. Gooding or the coroner take that into evidence?
The coroner took the remains into evidence.
Okay, so Dr. Gooding got them from the pit, contained them somehow, and the coroner then took custody of it?
The remains were cataloged in white disaster bags so that the coroner could seal those and take those with her.
Okay. So going back to 170, did you take any imprints of that, or did you just take photographs of it?
What do you mean by imprints, sir?
I don't know, like you see Bigfoot walking around, you know, like make it.
Wait, so where was this taken? Hold on. We got some tracks?
And as far as you know, this projectile was sent off to the crime lab as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So going back to 174, Mr. Fogus had asked you about the tire pattern here in 174, 175, 176, 177. Any imprints or anything done on that? Or did you take any imprints of that, or did you just take photographs of it?
What do you mean by imprint, sir?
I don't know, like you see Bigfoot walking around, you know, like make a cast of it, so you can compare it to other things later.
No, I did not cast that at the scene.
Okay. Did you do anything else with it other than just take the photographs?
No, sir, because I've got a top-down 1 to 190-degree photograph of it.
They really do grind on me. I really hate the closing arguments the most. The excuse they give for why Melody does not stand for the jury really got me. Oh, I didn't
So you
notice
didn't
that,
do anything else
Christina.
with it?
I did not feel at the time I needed to do anything else with it. Yes,
Okay. Just since it's the order of the photograph, so that'll just make it the least confusing. So this red shirt, I understand you did not find the red shirt, right?
correct.
All right. Do you know where the red shirt was found?
It was in the house, sir.
Okay. You don't know where in the house?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know where the blood, because this was 190, was your test of the blood? What location on the shirt did you use your test?
You'll go back to the picture with the ABFO square
I'm asking you because I don't know. Is that this thing? Directly below the logo. Fair enough?
on the left-hand side. Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you aware that this shirt was sent to the crime lab?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you aware that the test came back for this shirt?
I know they did get test results back.
Okay. Do you have any indication of what those test results were?
I've been through several of them, so I don't recall right off the top of my head.
Okay, that's fine. So the next thing with these shoes, I believe didn't you try to do a test on these shoes and it was negative?
One shoe did show negative and one did show positive.
Okay. And one of them was also sent to the crime lab as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It came back positive for blood, but not for Mr. Farris. It came back with Mrs. Farris's blood.
Okay. But you don't know which shoe that refers to, right?
The ones in 209.
Right here? This one?
Yes, sir. Those are the ones that we tested in the lab.
Okay, so you tested that, the 209, we'll just call those the blue Nikes. So that had Ms. Farris's blood on it.
I believe that's what the report said. I was made aware of that.
Okay, you didn't do the testing.
I did the field presumptive testing in our lab, but we sent it down to the crime lab.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Did anybody tell you what the crime lab said about it?
Then I believe it came back. It was not Mr. Farris's blood.
Okay, I'm going to show you 213. So this little entryway between the front door and going into the dining room, there is that little spot right there. While you're actually investigating the crime scene?
The crime scene itself was already investigated. This is follow-up forensics investigation.
No, this testing that you did right here, this spot, stage 217, that's on July 5th or 6th.
That was tested at the scene and the field presumptive tested positive for blood.
And then what my question is, because your report says nothing about it, did you swab it, bag it, tag it, and send it off to the crime lab?
If it is not in our report, then I did not swab it, nor did I collect it.
Okay. So if it wasn't swabbed and sent to the crime lab, we have no idea whose blood that supposedly is, or even if it is actual human blood.
Correct.
Okay, so for the first time, we're getting a little bit of some snarkiness.
Now, you also had talked about with Mr. Fogus, there was another stain, you called that stain 3, and it was negative, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then there was also what you had reported being stains 2 and 4, but they were too small for testing.
Go back.
While you're actually investigating the crime scene?
The crime scene,
So it'd be Detective Hayes.
yes. I
Okay.
would not make assumptions on the directions of his case.
So you would leave it up to him to decide what evidence you test and don't test? While you're actually investigating the crime scene?
The crime scene itself was already investigated. This is follow-up forensics investigation.
No, this testing that you did right here, this spot, stage 217, that's on July 5th or 6th.
That was tested at the scene and the field presumptive tested positive for blood.
And then what my question is, because your report says nothing about it, did you swab it, bag it, tag it, and send it off to the crime lab?
No.
If it is not in our report, then I did not swab it, nor did I collect it.
Okay.
We tested for.
So if it wasn't swabbed and sent to the crime lab, we have no idea whose blood that supposedly is, or even if it is actual human blood.
Correct.
Now, you also had talked about with Mr. Fogus, there was another stain, you called that stain 3, and it was negative, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then there was also what you had reported being stains 2 and 4, but they were too small for testing.
Correct.
Okay. Because I was just confused about this. So, stage 232, the ultraviolet shirt. This is still the red shirt, just under ultraviolet light.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if there's that better explain. So 131 shows the shirt, the red shirt, and then that's it under ultraviolet light, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you were talking with Mr. Fogus that blood is the only thing, and I'm maybe paraphrasing. Blood is the only thing that will glow brown under ultraviolet light. Is that what you meant?
No, it doesn't fluoresce. Not found where blood fluoresces under ultraviolet light.
So blood doesn't fluoresce under ultraviolet light.
Correct.
Okay. So presumably, I'm assuming what you're implying is that it's your belief that some of these other spots were potentially blood.
They could potentially be, yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming when you put this light on this shirt, you would then pull out those handy little, what do you call them? OB test kits? The OBTIS?
The hexagon OBTIS kits.
Yeah, okay. You pulled out one of those and tested those spots, right?
No, sir.
Okay. You just did it on that one little spot where we had previously identified kind of in the middle of the show.
Correct.
Okay. So any of these other spots you didn't test, and you're not familiar with what
Oh, wow, you can have your phones? Or are these like live tweeters? Oh, you can have your phone in a courtroom.
you think came back from the crime lab.
We did not test those for field presumptive, positive, or negative testing in our lab. It's a documentation, and then if it's sent off to the lab, we let the crime lab do their testing on it.
Okay. And but you don't know what the crime lab testing was.
Correct.
Okay. Now, let's go to the RTV. Now, a lot of the RTV stuff, this photograph, this is when you brought it over to the jail, right? Which you call it your lab, but your lab's at the jail.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is brought over to the lab. You actually did a lot of the Blue Star testing actually at the residence, right?
Lieutenant Stewart did get samples out there for us.
Okay. Well, that's all Lieutenant Stewart just did. Just took photographs that you were doing the actual Blue Star.
Not at the house. All my Blue Star was done here at the lab.
Okay. Do you know who did any Blue Star at the house? If anybody.
If anybody, it was the GBI.
Okay. Let me ask you this, just while, because I know you had to go up the chain of command to, I'm assuming, hire Dr. Gooding to come out here to remove the remains, right? Like you had to call Ballard, Ballard had to call Captain Pinion, and Captain Pinion had to give the okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And somebody, I'm not 100% sure, I don't know if it was you or was it Lieutenant Ballard, made the decision to call out the GBI, Lane Coffee. Who made that call?
Lieutenant Clark.
Lieutenant Clark. Right. What was Lieutenant Clark's role in this?
He was the person's unit lieutenant. So he would have been over.
You kind of got a deep voice, so a little louder.
I'm sorry, he was the person's unit commander.
The person's unit?
Crimes against person.
Oh, crimes against person. So he was that commander, so he made the call to call out Lane Coffee.
Well, it had to start with him because it was done outside of my purview.
Okay, so he's over here and he or somebody made that decision.
Yes, sir.
They didn't ask you.
Correct.
All right. Even though you're the lead crime scene guy.
Correct.
All right. How many crime scenes, I know you said you'd worked in Gwinnett and stuff like that. How many of these investigations, larger investigations, had you done being a Cherokee?
Probably a dozen or so. Large scale investigations to this magnitude.
Yeah, that's what I'm not talking about the little things. Have you seen the sheriff's office call out the GBI before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you seen the sheriff's office call out the GBI to essentially conduct the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know why the GBI was not called in to conduct this investigation?
Because we could do our own.
Okay. Who makes that decision? And if you don't know, you don't. I understand if that's above your pay grade, but to the best of your knowledge, who makes that decision?
To call the GBI?
Yeah.
Well, that would come from the command staff.
The command staff?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, jumping into, I lost my spot. You had done some swabs on the RTV, right? Especially the L2 shifter. That was at least one swab that you had done. Actually, no photographs of the R2 shifter, at least that are in evidence. So, Mr. Fogus had put up what is 266. All right? And I'm assuming here in the top left-hand corner on the gate of the Kubota, that's where you're saying is maybe blood.
Yes,
so
sir.
that's what Blue Star is telling you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm assuming, and again, immediately you see that, you got to swab it to send it off to the crime lab, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Why?
Because those two particular little marks were not large enough stains to collect a sample. We saw the chemiluminescence over the entire, we sprayed the entire tailgate area.
Yeah.
Those were the only, actually there's a little third little dot right
Yeah,
there.
right here. Why not take you Q-tip, one Q-tip, rub it on there, and see if you can get DNA and send it off?
Because we did not at that time.
Okay, so essentially we may have blood, but we don't know, right?
Correct.
Now that would be the same, Mr. Fogus has shown you right here. A little bit of this. You didn't swab this, you didn't try to collect it to send it off to see about that, right?
Correct.
Right. Now what about, because there's no photographs and there's nothing in your report, what about the actual bed of the RTV? There's no indication there was any testing done in that, right? You didn't do any testing in that.
We did not.
Okay. You essentially just sprayed the Blue Star around the bed, correct?
Well, we have it. It goes into the bed as well.
Okay. You didn't see any blood in there.
Did not get any chemiluminescence reaction.
Okay. From the bed of the RTV, just so the record's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this tractor. Now, when you were doing this, because your report doesn't, at least your initial report that I have doesn't talk about getting super detailed. It's not bad. Nothing you wrote bad for. It's not bad. It's just not detailed. So like with this tractor, and so I mean, you're saying that this is a little bit of blood, or could be blood on the top of the tractor. When did y'all do this testing at the jail?
I believe this was done several days after we finished our work at the actual house.
Okay. So this is, y'all had to load up the tractor in the RTV, haul it over to the jail, and keep it there before, and then if you just tested it a couple days later.
Well, I think we also had to get search warrants to do our processing, I believe.
Okay. And yet again with this wasn't swabbed and collected and sent to the crime lab for identification, correct?
Correct.
Judge, I've got probably about another. You just did the testing on this towel. You didn't locate the towel, correct?
Well, I mean, it was in the back of the RTV, but yes, we tested it.
Okay. And it's what your statement is that this is blood.
It's
Or is that it's presumptive for blood because of Blue Star? Okay. Now, did
Hi, Cerberus. How are you doing today? How's it going? If I got a heal on Rivals, I still hate it. I usually pick Cloak and Dagger. Yes! She's so fun. Oh my god. I love Cloak and Dagger.
did this go to the crime lab? This towel?
I don't know if it did or not.
Okay. Are you aware of any towels and or washcloths, I guess, towels and washcloths that didn't make it to the crime lab?
No, sir.
Okay. If the crime lab tested a towel that the state believed had blood on it, it's a fairly good assumption that's the towel, isn't it?
We'll go with fairly good assumption, yes, sir.
Okay. Like you got the stage 268. It's just on the, you can't see it on the TV screen, but I can on the computer monitor. I can see that it's the towel. Okay. So, and then you change the settings and stuff so that you can actually see the Blue Star, right?
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Now, why do you have to do that on this, but you didn't have to do that on the tractor?
We had enough ambient light in the evidence bay. There's a single emergency light that must remain illuminated in our evidence bay.
Mm-hmm.
That provided enough light for the camera to capture the chemiluminescence. When we did the towels in the lab, we can turn off all our lights. And so we were trying to adjust our cameras out to pick up the reaction and see the outline of the towel.
I'm confused. I thought you needed total darkness to be able to see Blue Star. Okay. If I sprayed it right here on the table, and let's just, there's blood there, would I see it light up?
Well, if there's blood on the table, we wouldn't need to use the Blue Star.
Okay, fine. There's blood on the table, I wiped it off, now spray the Blue Star on there.
It would need to be dark in here to see the chemiluminescence, and we would use the ambient light in order to adjust the camera to take the picture.
Okay, so
Time is
basically
202.
you have to get the light setting to a certain point to allow you to be able to see it. But it's not total darkness.
Correct.
Okay.
We're shooting on full manual functions on our camera.
Okay, so why don't you, for some of those towel photographs, instead of manipulating the contrast and the brightness of the photograph, just take it somewhere so you can actually take a proper photograph?
Because if you keep reapplying the Blue Star, you'll lose the reaction. And so we have to try our best in our reaction time, because if you keep saturating the towel, you're not going to get a reaction at that point.
Well, wouldn't it be a smart idea to do the testing the first time in a place where you know you have the proper light?
We did in our lab.
I mean, obviously not if you got to sit there and change the settings on the photograph to be able to see it. And you don't need to do it on all of them.
And what we did is acceptable.
I didn't ask you if it was acceptable.
Moving
I mean,
and
let's
changing
make it
it.
easy.
It did.
No, but it's not in a written. You have manipulated the photograph by taking out what it actually is so you can see something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You didn't have to do that with the tractor because the tractor is in a proper spot to be able to see what you're trying to see, right?
Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to say something about like, oh, you guys had to use Lightroom in order to see these blood stains.
It has enough light to be able to see it.
Yes.
Okay, but you're testing the towel in a place that you're intentionally testing it there. And you can move it. I mean, it's a towel. You can pick it up, move it
That you're intentionally testing it there.
wherever you want to, and you can move it somewhere else so you would not have to manipulate the photograph. Correct.
Well, I could see the reaction in my camera, and I could see it in my lab.
But we just can't see it in any of your non-manipulated photographs. Right? Like 268. You see any luminescence?
I do.
Okay. Judge, if we can, I'd like to stop there. I don't want to let him go just yet, so I may come back tomorrow and cross if that's all right.
All right. Anything else? Just tomorrow.
Okay, I think that's it for today.
By the
Day
folks
2.
that are going to be monitoring your parking spaces, wherever they were. I think I was wrong. They were outside, right? But anyway, or out, not underneath the parking deck, but wherever they were. Apparently, y'all found them. They're not going to be there before 8:30 to man it. So y'all get here between 8:30 and 8:45. There'll be a parking space for you, so you don't have to get else. All right, y'all can be excused. I'll talk to the juror who sent me the note about I'll talk to the lawyers about it, but I have an appointment, and I need to make an appointment too because I missed mine from last week, so I'm going to do the same day. So we may tell everybody to schedule all their things, and we may take an extended lunch break that day.
Yay.
Right now we're looking for October 17th. If someone has an appointment that they can't change, so I'm going to schedule something that same day. We'll see what we need to do.
Okay, well, Jesus, I was going to do a recap, but I'm starving. I don't think I could do a proper recap because I am very hungry. But again, we mostly just went over the crime scene photos. We had people that processed the scene. Some people saw with their naked eyes some blood driplets near the top of the staircase leading to the basement where Gary lived. The theory is that maybe Melanie shot him, attacked him in the kitchen, and then Gary retreated to the basement, and then maybe that's where she eventually shot him again a second time. They did find a a bullet on the ground, but however, it's like there's no marks or like it's not lodged in the floor, it's not lodged in the wall. It was just chilling on the ground next to a damn ottoman. The jury got to see the very gruesome pictures of the burn pile with the ashes, with the remains of Gary. You get to see like his hand pretty much. Yeah, it's wild. See the skull. They got to process the tractor, the RTVs, because that's the theory again that maybe Melody used farm equipment, tools to move Gary's body from the basement or near the basement area into the burn pile. And that's just pretty much the recap of that. Yeah. That's the recap right there. All right, that's it. Yeah, day 3. We'll see what happens with day 3. I think they're going to continue with his testimony. The state is going to continue with their direct, and then the defense is going to continue with their cross-examination. The state ended their direct early because I think they needed something or something. I'm not too sure. That's why there's a disconnect there with the state's direct examination. So I will see you guys. Enjoy your Friday. Today's Friday, right? It is Friday. Yeah, enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend. Maybe I'll see you guys this weekend. Maybe we'll continue streaming some more days of this trial. And yeah, I will. I'm not sure we're going to do this weekend or next week, but we will see. And other than that, take care. All right, y'all. Have a good one. I'm just so fucking hungry. I need to go eat. I'm hungry. And I will see you guys later. Bye, everyone on Twitch. Bye, Go Lucky. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Aaron, thank you so much for dropping in all the information about this case. I do appreciate it. I do get a little bit impatient. I'm like, oh, do we get to know this? We get to know that. And so thank you so much for helping answer. Yeah, go eat, go lucky. I'm starving. Bye, Bleep. Thank you for hanging out. And we should totally play Marvel Rivals. All right, my stomach's growling so much. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Take care.